drop them in the chat, and I will answer them as quickly as I can. This has been a pretty good week, guys. The lawn is recovering nicely. For those of you guys that were watching last week, I did that top dress, that level, with carbonized PN using just strictly an organic mix. And because I was just as an experiment, someone asked me if I'd ever done that before. So we tried it out last week, and the lawn has been doing really, really well. So I'll share some pictures of that with you guys in a little bit. And some other cool news that I'll get to here in a little bit. But let's see who's in the live stream tonight. So who do we have here? We got Tony Valdez in the live streams going on, sir. Jamie, Timothy Wolf. Let's see what else we got here. Mr. Helmut Ruckers, Mr. Porsche from Florida, always showing off the hardware. Very nice, sir. Thanks for coming to hang out tonight. I appreciate it. Timothy's in. Let's see what else. Dimitri, lots and lots of people in the live stream tonight, man. Awesome. Thank you guys for taking the time to hang out tonight. All right, well, let's get right to it. We got a lot of questions already queued up, so let's see what we got going on here. So the first question of the evening is from Jamie Blackburn. He says, what is your go-to fertilizer to use just before or after sand leveling? Great question, Jamie. So there's a couple of schools of thoughts on this. You can use something balanced, like a 12-12 or 10-10, something along those lines, but before you're doing your top dressing work. In my case, my soil is fairly balanced, meaning that I've got plenty of phosphorus in it already. I mean, I'm kind of on the low end of the optimal range. So I could either go with a 12-12 or I could use the Humic Max. I haven't fully decided as yet. I probably will end up using a Humic Max and just spray something that has some phosphorus in it because my soil's already got plenty of phosphorus. But as a general rule, if you want like one that you can go with that you're going to get a good result with, anything that's balanced, so anything like a 12-12 or 10-10 is going to be just fine. So like that Yard Mastery, the one that's in the store, is a great option. There's tons of them. So something like let's see if I got it here. Yep. So something like this would be a great option for a starter fertilizer. And the idea is if you are going to top dress, you're gonna want to put this one down a little bit before. So you could aerate and then put this down the day of top dressing. But because this is a slower release, you might want to get this down a little bit sooner. So if you aerate 3-4 days prior to the top dressing work, and then you just get this fertilizer down, that's probably would be more ideal. But yeah, that's a great option for leveling. In my case, it's either going to be that one I just showed you or the Lebanon Turf Humic Max. Haven't fully decided yet. Probably going to be the Humic Max, the more I think about it. All right, so let's see. What are the questions here? We got a second question from Jamie. Jamie, you're hogging up the live stream already, man. You got the first one, you got the second one too? All right, well, let's see what you got here. He says, it's great. He says, I can't stay for the whole live stream. Got birthday plans? Well, that's a good reason. He says, one more question. Carbon Pro G before or after leveling? Great question. So I would recommend you put it down prior to top dressing. So in other words, if you, let's say this is your soil or your current turf, right? Whether you aerate or not, I would do Carbon Pro G or Essential G and then top dress on top of that. Reason being, right, is it's got to get down into the soil to begin really working. So why not just fast track that a little bit? There's no reason to like go through and do a whole job of top dressing and then lay it on top of it, because then it's got to break down. It's got to get through the top dressing mix, right? So you may as well just lay it down first and then top dress on top of it. Because again, commonly before we started using it a lot in the DIY community, a lot of people that use Carbon Pro G was for expensive sod projects. So when they're doing like sod on a nicer home, people got a lot more money to spend on the sodding project. That's where it was used. So it would typically be right on the soil and then the sod on top of it. Or if they're doing, again, high value ornamentals, that's when Carbon Pro G was commonly used. So, I guess a little, I guess I can let you guys in on a little secret. So Alex and I were out today. We were looking at the vanity strip. The vanity strip is the part of the lawn that has to look good. It's got to be tight. It's got to stay tight, right? So we noticed that there were some little bumps, a little bit of washboarding in a little bit. So we took it upon ourselves to do a little top dressing work. We filmed it. I still got to edit it, but it will come out, if not Sunday, maybe the first part of next week. We'll see. But you guys will get to see some top dressing work with sand this time. So I already did one with soil on a slope. The next one will be like spot top dressing using sand. So you get to see that because we are going to be putting down, we did put down Essential G. We didn't use Carbon Pro G. We used Essential G on before the top dressing mix. So to hope that helps answer your question, Jamie. And you'll get to see all of it in its glory here coming up pretty soon. All right, on the note of Essential G, if you guys don't realize already, if you haven't been following me on Instagram or the YouTube groups, Essential G is now on sale. So the nice folks at Miramichi Green were kind enough. I spoke to them and said, listen, I really got to get this in the hands of people. And They were kind enough to lower the price on it. They wanted to see how it would work out. So now, if you take a look here, Essential G, if you look at the golf course or lawn store, through the end of this month, you can pick up Essential G. It was $64.99. Now it is $54.99. So that's right at a 15% discount through the end of this month. So that's as cheap as I could possibly get it. So if you're on the fence, feel free to take advantage of that. Load up on it because at the end of the month, there's nothing that says that it's still going to be around. So there's something for you guys to consider. Wanted to share that with you guys. Awesome. All right. Let's see what other questions we've got going on here. We got Daryl saying he's getting set up for leveling. Very nice, Daryl. It's definitely getting to that point where we can start doing that. There's already a lawn in the neighborhood that's already at their full top dress done already. So I like to walk the neighborhood, kind of see what people are up to, see what they're getting into. And I'm seeing a lot of lawns with aeration already done, and there's one lawn already that's already got fully top dress. So some people aren't messing around, man. They're getting serious about getting going this year. So that's pretty cool. So you're on track for getting ready to do that soon. All right. Timothy chimes in. He says he received a shipment of Country Club 1608 Cumic Max. Awesome, Timothy. I know you're gonna have really good results with that fertilizer. Let me know if you have any questions. But I'm glad to see that this stuff is getting out and is getting in the hands of you guys. I can't wait to see the results you guys get with it. All right, let's see what else we have here. Dimitri, yes, I know. Dimitri's the guy that gave us the spreadsheet on calculating like your nitrogen. I still have to get that posted, so that's totally on me. I need to get that done, so I'm putting it out here publicly. That's my mess up. I need to get that done. I'll carve out time this weekend to get it on a blog post, Dimitri. So thank you so much for that. I have not forgotten. All right, so he has a question. He says, I've got some serious compaction issues even after aeration from March 30th. Should I do this again in a couple of weeks? It won't hurt. It wouldn't hurt to do it again. The thing is, if you did a really, really good job with the aeration, that should have relieved a lot of that compaction. So a lot of times people will aerate and they'll make a single pass and call it good. Like whenever I aerate my lawn, I will make passes, like you guys looking at the back lawn, I'll make passes lengthwise, and then I'll make passes, like the short end of it, of the lawn, and then sometimes diagonally. There's no wrong answer when it comes to aeration. You're not like you're trying to lay stripes or anything. You're literally trying to beat up the lawn and just, open up voids, get a bunch of cores out to really do what you're talking about to kind of break up compaction or reduce compaction. So if the first time when you did it, and you said March 30th it didn't go so well, and the lawn's already recovering, and you want to go ahead and do it again, yeah, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just another really heavy workout. But yeah, I would, there's no negative to that. But next time you do it, I'd say really go at it, like don't just make a single pass, like make multiple passes in multiple directions. And that should do a lot towards really opening up voids in the soil to really, break up that compaction, help, if you decide you're going to fertilize or put down some, Essential G or something else, like that's a great time to do it. So, but yeah, to answer your question, no, there's no negative really to doing that again if you want to in a few weeks. I would let the lawn recover a little bit first before we go out and beat it up again. But yeah, so short of the answer is no, you're good to go. All right, let's see what we got here in the night. We got George always giving me a hard time. He says, Princess Cut Lawn Care. He says, what's up, Ron? Ready to pull another all-nighter. Well, we'll see, man. I don't know if this week will be as long as last week. Last week was almost 4 hours, so we'll see how it goes. Depends on the questions you guys ask. It's literally up to you guys. If you guys take the time to come and hang out tonight, I feel bad because I feel like there's other things you could be doing on a Friday night. If you're hanging out talking about lawn care, I feel kind of obligated to at least do my best to try and answer your questions. So that's why I don't want to run off. And thank you, sir. Yep. Today the channel passed a milestone at crest 15,000. So clap it up for the channel. Thank you guys so much for your support, for your subscribing, for your trust, and I really, really appreciate that. So 15,000 and beyond, guys. Right? We got to keep going. So thank you guys so much. I really, really do appreciate the support. Papa Mo Load in the house. And let's see who else we have here. We got Wind Chariot, Erica. Hey, so Erica, I think you're new. I don't remember ever seeing you in the live stream before. So welcome. Thank you for coming to hang out in all the with all the craziness, all the lawn care hardcore people that just can't get enough. And let's see what's got going on here. Mr. Putt sings the favorite part of his shift. And so a question we got now from Cedric Thompson. He says, hey, Ron, how's that Miramichi front lawn doing? So yeah, I can show you guys that. I think I've got a picture here somewhere. I think I've loaded it ahead of time. Yep, so to qualify this, a week ago, the entire lawn was, I hate to say top dress, but it was top dressed and leveled with a product called Carbonized PN. And a week later, this morning, I mowed, and this is what the lawn looks like this morning. So you can still see, in some areas here, like the location, the line closest to us, you can still see a little bit of dirt still showing there, a little bit of the carbonized PN there. But overall, for like, 7 days a week, that's not been bad. I mean, and what's cool about this, and I'm really happy about especially, is that we've had rain for 2 days now, and it's still, we've had rain twice, I should say, not 2 days in a row. We've had rain twice. The first one time was very heavy, and it's held on really, really nicely. So the work that I did as far as like working it in and then moving over it with the Greensmaster to kind of roll it in seems to be working, which is awesome. So I'm really happy about that. I was a little bit worried about it running off whenever it got wet, but it's recovering really nicely. I love the color. It's really, it's got a really deep green. We're not even really into the growing season yet. Like this time next month, it should be looking really, really good. So I'm happy with where things are going. Great question, Cedric. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. And the Lawn Father says, happy Friday. Congrats again at Ron Henry. Thanks again, Lawn Father. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir. We got another question here. Great one from EB. He says, can anyone recommend to me how to get my potassium levels up in my soil? Great question. So there's a couple different products you can use for that, EB. One that jumps to mind is one that Yard Mastery puts out. They call it their stress blend. So I can find it here and I can show you. I can pull it up. I can do this live. Let's go. Yep, there it is. And yep, so this is the product that I would recommend. So let me put it in link in the chat for you at EB. This is the one that you'd want to use. So this is it's a 7020. So it's 7% nitrogen, no phosphorus, and 20% potassium. So that's a great product to start the season off with. Great product to bring your potassium levels up without influencing the other macronutrients too much, right? So it's got a little bit of nitrogen because, as Alan always likes to say, nitrogen drives the bus. It's always helpful to have a little bit of that, but then that potassium to I guess address whatever deficiency you've got in your soil. This guy would be the one that I would recommend. So yeah, hopefully that helps out. All right, so let me move this down and get this back. All right, great. So yeah, so go with that. Go with this stress blend, that 7020. That's a great option. All right, and Troy Ridley is saying, I said, is this for Bermuda? I guess if you're asking for the live stream, yes. It's Bermuda, it's really any kind of grass. But that particular product I was just showing, the stress blend, yes, will work on Bermuda, work on cool season grass, it'll work on any grass really. I'm pretty sure it's designed for all grass types. But really, as a product to wake up to start the season, that's an excellent choice. But also if you do a soil test and it shows that you are potassium deficient, I don't really see too many of those, but if your soil is potassium deficient, that's a really good option. Great option. All right, Lisa Cage is in the house. What's going on, Lisa? Thanks for coming to hang out this evening. And Kevin D saying, hey, rushed in from mowing just to catch the show. Time Master mowing right now. That's awesome, Kevin. Thank you so much. I always forget it's 7:00 here in Georgia, but I forget that, like the rest of the country, it's still a lot of like day stuff going on, right? So people are still out mowing and doing other things, but I don't want to start the show too much later than it is now. But that's pretty awesome, Kevin. I really appreciate the support. Appreciate you coming to hang out in the live stream. Pretty awesome. All right, let's see what else we got going here. Timothy Smith is saying, hey, Ron, great to see you back online. Got my soil test back. Grass is green, but tests say I'm struggling. Can I share the results with you? They're recommending triple 12 among other things. Yeah, Timothy, absolutely. Yeah, you can send them in to me. So here's the thing you have to realize, Timothy, is that you can have, your grass can look good even in suboptimal soil, especially if you got Bermuda. Bermuda has like very low standards for soil. I mean, it'll grow in crevices between concrete, right? But really, soil testing is good from a standpoint of when you're trying to really optimize things, and you're just trying to decide what fertilizer is best to put on your lawn. So if you're just starting out, if you're starting out the season, you get to the golf course lawn store, you're going to Yard Mastery or wherever you happen to get your fertilizer from, and you're trying to decide, what do I want to put down that matches what my soil needs. That is the power of soil testing, and especially when you're really trying to push it and get like that last percentage, that little X factor. Soil testing really becomes even more important, that you're matching what you apply to any deficiencies in the soil. So yeah, absolutely send them to me. I'm guessing if it's recommending a triple 12 that like all your macros are a little bit low. The nice thing with that triple 12 too, Timothy, is, and it's not really spoken about that much, is that it contains a complete micronutrient stack. So everything, your iron, manganese, your boron, copper, zinc, like all those micronutrients that are sometimes hard to come by, especially in a granular, it has that. So that I have to look at your soil test and see. But as far as sending them to me, my email is right here, ron@golfcourselawn.com. Feel free to send them there, and I will help you out the best I can. Great question. Mark F is in the house. What's going on, Mark? Thanks for hanging out. Let's see what other questions we got here. LG's in the house. What's going on, sir? I appreciate it. Thanks for coming to hang out. Again, I always say, YouTube live stream royalty. Him and JG's are always in the live streams. And Timothy, yeah, the question you just asked, yeah, do we ask questions now? Yes, absolutely. So just post your questions in the chat. And as I scroll down, I will get to them. So get on earlier. It makes it easier to make sure that you don't get missed. I tend to not miss anyone. I try not to. But yeah, get your questions in, and we will get to it as soon as I scroll down a bit more. All right. So Chris Balducci, I always like saying your name. Balducci's in the house. He says, "Hello, Ron, and hello, everyone. Friday Night Lights is done, and I'm back. Looking forward to some informative info from you." Yeah, absolutely, sir. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out in live stream. That's cool. Yeah, we'll see what we'll get into tonight. And let's see what else we have. What other questions we've got going on? Pac Emrad is saying, just finished some lawn care. Now to watch some, I found reel rollers. That's really cool, man. Yeah, as far as like, if you're in the Georgia area, the Northeast Georgia area anyway, like reel rollers is a really good resource for just asking questions about reel mowers. So I think they have, I mean, outside of greens mowers, I know they obviously have Swordman. They have Swordman, they have an Alette, they have several True Cuts. They've got California trimmers. They've got a McLean. I don't think they have any greens mowers yet, but I think Lee keeps saying he's working on getting that. So as far as a cool place just to hang out, and if you want to try out different mowers to see what's best for your particular grass type, because they've also got like the Turf Park, which has 2 types of Zoysia and 1 Bermuda. It's really worth checking out from that standpoint. So it just depends on if you got time. But yeah, Reel Rollers is really good, and the guys are really friendly. And are super easy to get along with, and they're always looking to help people out, especially if you're trying to move away from rotary to a reel mower. So definitely look into seeing those guys. All right, let's see who else we have here. Ryan Williams in the house. What's going on? Eric Garcia. What's going on, Eric? I hope that irrigation is treating you well. I know last week you got some irrigation put in, and I think EB we've already answered the question about potassium levels. I got that taken care of. And Erica, you said you are from McDonough. Thank you for coming to hang out in the live stream. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, and let's see. So Papa Moslow has a question about carbonized PN. He says, "Hey, where do you get your carbonized PN? Ewing quoted $30 a bag, and Miramichi website shows $33. I think that's shipped though. I mean, if you're getting it from Miramichi on their website, that also factors in shipping, I believe. Papa Moslow. I got it from Site One. If you go there, they should be able to get you pretty good pricing on it, because the carbonized PN is actually a little bit cheaper typically than the Carbon Pro G, and Carbon Pro G is $25 a bag. I think that's like fixed pricing. Doesn't matter if you're a contractor or just someone just walking in off the street. That is the pricing that they have for it. So you should be able, if you have a Site One nearby you, Papa Moslow, they should be able to get pricing definitely better than $30 a bag, because it's supposed to be a little bit cheaper than Carbon Pro G, if that helps. So yeah, I'm not sure why Ewing has it at $30 a bag, but yeah, Site One has it cheaper than that. All right, let's see what else we got here. Dalvin Larry stopping in just to say hi and drop a like. I appreciate that. And guys, I know it's a little bit early into the live stream. I haven't quite earned the like as yet, but if you can extend me a little bit of grace and touch that like button ever so gently, I would really appreciate it. Sends good vibes to YouTube and lets us know that to send more people over, because we're having a great time here talking about lawn care. All right, so next question we have here is about top dressing, I believe. So Paris Drew says, what sand do we use? Okay, great question. So the video that's going to be coming out here soon, Paris will answer that question. But as far as top dressing, what you want to use is masonry sand, or sometimes when you go to places that have sand material, they'll call it river sand, masonry sand, river sand. What you want is a coarser sand. So what you don't want to get is go to like Home Depot and get like a 50-pound bag of like their play sand. That's too fine for top dressing, for leveling your lawn. So you want to use a coarser material like it'll be labeled as play sand or river sand in most places. As far as your choice of how to use that, a couple different ways. You can go 100% sand, which if your goal is strictly just to level along, like all you care about is I want to get all the bumps out and I want it to be as smooth as possible. That is where going the 100% sand route can work. The probably what I am most fan of, assuming you can get sand and soil that's clean, so you're not going to get a bunch of weeds in your lawn, is to do a blend. So you can do like a 70-30 mix. Like there's a lot of places that will sell sand for leveling, and they will mix some of it with 30% topsoil or compost. That's really good because when you're spreading this stuff all over the lawn, you also want to take the opportunity to introduce some organic material, because sand, while sand is great for leveling, it doesn't have a ton of nutritional value for the turf. So, you got a couple different options, but I'd say if you want to go 100% sand, you can do what you're going to see here in the video coming out soon, where you apply some either some Carbon Pro G or Essential G. I can show you a great product you can put down prior to top dressing. So something like this is what I would use if you're going to go the 100% sand route. So you say you aerate your lawn, then I would put down like Essential G or Carbon Pro G, something that's rich in organic material. And then if you want to top dress with 100% sand, you're good to go, right? But while you're doing it, take the opportunity to feed the soil in addition to just making things level and smooth, if that makes sense, all right? So great question. Stay tuned. You will see a video that's going to talk about that. It's a shorter video, so it's going to be easy for you guys to watch, so you can watch the entire thing. And that will answer that very question. I'll show you exactly how I did it and product I use and everything. Super, just stand by, give me 48 hours or so, thereabouts, okay? Promise I'll get it done for you. Great question. All right, so we have a question here from Keith Sechrist. He says, I'm in renovation and I'm wanting an Arden 15 lawn. I don't blame you. It's an awesome looking grass type. Really good. He says, the slopes getting to my house are steep and there's seemingly no way to bypass sodding with Tifway or Tif Tuff. Which do you prefer? I like Tifway 419. Tif Tuff is nice too. Like Real Rollers has got Tif Tuff in their turf park. Either one of them looks well. So the thing is, Keith, if your slope, I'm not sure what kind of slope you're dealing with, because I don't have a picture of your lawn, but this is a slope of my lawn, right? So that's a pretty good grade. If you actually go look at the video that I did on top dressing that was released earlier this week, you can see how steep it is. Literally, I'm pouring this stuff on the lawn. You can see little balls rolling down the hill because it's how steep it is. So if you're going to sod, which honestly, if you want my honest opinion, sod is the easiest way to establish Bermuda. Like trying to establish Bermuda from seed, it can be done, but it's expensive and it's just a lot of work. Most people don't realize how much water they're signing up for whenever they do that. Literally, to establish Bermuda from seed, you've got to do really good prep work. You got to make sure that the soil is nice and healthy. You got to make sure soil temps are above 65 degrees, thereabouts, or higher. And then you got to keep, after you put the seed down, you've got to keep the area moist for 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Arden 15, they say, will germinate in 2 weeks, but I just say 3 weeks to be safe. So if you think about that, you're watering 2 to 3 times a day for 3 weeks. So that's going to be expensive. It's going to be an expensive watering bill. But out of the two, I can only go with what I've dealt with. I like Tifway 419, because here's the thing. If by some stretch of the imagination, sometime down the road, you decide, hey, I don't like Tifway 419, or I love Tifway, but I want to make my life harder and overseed it with Arden 15, the two look very similar from a standpoint of grain. Color wise, Arden 15 is darker green, and the way they fall off in dormancy is different. But as far as a Bermuda type that from a appearance standpoint, as far as growth, the rate of growth, and also just how the blades look, they're very similar. So if it were me, I would go for the Tifway 419. Tif Tuff might be close, but I've never done anything like that with Tif Tuff, so I can only go with what I know. So Tifway 419 would be my vote, and I think you are making the right choice when it comes to dealing with that slope. Just get the sod down, get it established, feed it, mow it a lot, get it going really good. And then, you probably like the way it looks. And then what I would do, before I ever considered any kind of overseeding, anything like that, I would top dress it and just make it look really nice and smooth. And then, you can decide whether or not you like the look of it or not. Because Tifway, if you ever look at who's got a nice Tifway lawn, you look at Sonny Bermuda's channel, go check out his channel. His lawn is Tifway 419 and it's gorgeous. He does a great job with it, right? So it can look really, really good if you take care of it. All roads of beautiful Bermuda does not end with Arden 15. Arden 15 is, there's a lot of pain and suffering and crying and expensive water bills involved in doing that. So I'm not telling people not to do it, but it's just, you have to really, really know what you're signing up for when you get into that. All right. Let's see. Princess Cut is signing. He says, I use the most unbalanced fert when I level 3204. So he's just, George is just trying to straight push growth, man, which I get. I mean, that's one way of doing it for sure, right? I mean, but yeah. I mean, anything with a little bit of nitrogen in it is going to do fine. And here's the thing: you don't even strictly have to put something down, right? Like if your nutrient levels in the soil are good, you don't have to, to put another fertilizer down whenever you top dress. But I mean, most people like to do it because it just gives extra food, gives a little extra surge growth to kind of help the grass recover a little sooner. But yeah, it's cool to share that. You see the extremes. I'm like 12 or 1608, and George is like 3204, baby. Let's go. All right, so let's see what else we have going on here. Always occupies another question about lawn leveling. So it's like the lawn leveling show tonight, looks like, guys, which is cool. I like to talk about that. Great subject. That and real mowers, always fun. He says, is 50-50 good for lawn level or just topsoil? A 50-50 blend can work really well too. Always occupied. So with the 50-50 mix, what you're going to find is you are skewing more towards feeding the soil versus like going for just a pure leveling project. So if your goal is to like just level the lawn and have that leveling work hold really well, you probably want to have a little bit more sand than 50% sand in it. But that's better than going 100% organic. So you can that will work well. It's definitely going to work better than 100% topsoil. So yeah, that's a good option too. 50-50. 70-30 is more like where I'd like to get you if I could, but you're going to get great results with that. That's a good. It's 50-50. It's a good balance, right? As far as leveling. And the thing is, if you are ordering it from like a like the place where I've gotten my top dressing material from in the past, Landscape Plus in Gainesville, Georgia, they'll ask you, like, he'll say, well, what do you want? Do you want like 70-30? Do you want 50-50? And they'll blend it. Like literally when you order it, they will mix it prior to putting it in the dump truck and bringing it over to you. So, if you want that, you can get in a place that offers that, then you're good to go. Depending on how big a lawn you're doing, I would look into a place that will mix it for you and deliver it already mixed versus mixing it yourself. Because if you're doing an entire lawn, it adds a ton of work to actually have to mix this stuff yourself. So just something to keep in mind. Great question. All right, Paris, I think I answered your question about sand. Yeah, again, for anyone that's joining the live stream, masonry sand, also known as river sand, is what you want to use for top dressing. We got Stan G in the house. What's going on, Stan? Thanks for coming to hang out. Thank you so much. All right, so let's see what other questions we have here. So Ned G is in the house. He says, Ron, I'm fixing a few bare spots in my lawn. Very good. Just seeding and are about to pop any day now. But we're going to get snow on Tuesday with a high of 40. Think it'll be okay? George, how you feel about it? That's probably a George question, because I guess if you're about to get snow, Ned, you are not in the Southeast United States. You're probably in George's neck of the woods. So George, I will defer to you on that one. I don't know how resilient cool season grass is that once you seed it, if it gets a cold snap, if it's gonna, how well it's gonna hurt things. I'd imagine it's gonna be okay, because a lot of cool season grass does well through winter months. Like it gets snowed on and it wakes up fine in the spring. So if it's just like a dusting and it's gonna be here for a little while and then melts and it's gone in a couple of days, I imagine it's probably gonna be fine. But I'm sure Princess Cut Lawn Care, aka George, will chime in and will get you an answer. I'm sorry I am not more use for you on that one, sir. Here's the thing: my goal is to not to be able to answer those kinds of questions, because I don't want to live anywhere where there's too much snow on the ground in April. But thanks for asking, Ned, and I think George is going to be able to help you out. All right, so let's see. Kevin Sheehan says, I can't find Carbon Pro G. You're telling too many people about it. I should have stocked up last time when I bought it. I'm sorry, man. It's not my fault. I mean, tell your local site one to carry it more, to carry more of it. I mean, they can typically get it pretty quickly, Kevin. And again, shameless plug, like Essential G is now on sale. So yes, I know it's still more expensive than Carbon Pro G if you have to go get it, but now you can get it for, it was $64.99. It is now $54.99 shipped to your door. So, and that's the best I can do, man. That's all I can do. And it's until the end of this month. So, if you want a substitute that will work really well, Essential G is a good option. It's got everything that Carbon Pro G's got in it. Plus, it also has a little bit of silica. So, they're both great products. If you can't get your hands on Carbon Pro G, Essential G is an option, and it's on sale now at the Golf Course Lawn Store. All right. So let's see what other questions we have here. Lenny says, what is the benefit of leaving? I think you mean the benefit of leveling. So lots of benefits, Lenny. So the biggest thing, at least for me, I'll tell you what my experience was, right? So my back lawn, if you've seen any of my content, whenever it used to rain, and when I say rain, not even like a heavy rain, I'm talking about like, I don't know, an inch of rain, maybe that much, not a ton. Literally that back lawn would turn into a swimming pool for well over a day. Like, it wasn't uncommon for, 48 hours come roll by and it's still wet and like just a gross mess, right? So while the primary reason for me top dressing my lawn or leveling my lawn was to get it smoother so I could mow lower, and I just love the look of it to kind of get that golf course lawn look, a benefit that I didn't anticipate and that was really huge is drainage. Like how much better the lawn it just pulls moisture away from the surface. It does a much better job than it ever used to in the past, right? So, I mean, my lawn's been top dressed at this point 3.5, 4 times. I can't say exactly because there's been times when I've done like part of it, right? But it's had sand on it at least 3 seasons, right? This one will make a 4th, so I'll be doing it again here fairly soon. And the big thing is no matter how much rain, how much water gets on there, it just drains, it sucks water out really, really, really well. So, even when I showed you guys some of those videos where like from Hurricane Sally last year where it turned into a swimming pool for a little while, within the next day, 12 hours later, all the water is gone. It's drained off or it's absorbed it. And then what's cool is that it doesn't get mushy. So I like literally the following evening, I could mow the lawn if I want to. So a huge benefit to top dressing to leveling your lawn with sand anyway, is that your ability for the soil to hold water or to pull water away from the surface goes up a lot. In addition to that, like as far as nutrient uptake and just being able to hold on to nutrients, and then if you ever have like a very, very clay soil where you get a lot of runoff, like a lot of those problems I won't necessarily get corrected, but they get diminished when you add sand to your lawn. I'll tell you how much I've been top dressing my lawn. I've done it like 3 times. And when I send my soil test results into my soil, what's interesting is when I asked them, I talk to them and say, hey, what do you guys think? And they said, your soil actually is looking like a sandy soil now. It's not actually looking like Georgia clay anymore because of all the top dressing that's been done over the years. So, you can not necessarily, you can make a huge alteration of the soil, but you can make a lot of improvement to your lawn by top dressing it. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it looks really cool. It's because it's really smooth. You can mow low, and there's a lot of benefits to like pulling moisture away from the surface. And speaking about that, last week on the topic of my soil, someone was asking me about gypsum, and I told you guys there's a channel that my soil has called Soil Lab, and I was going to post a video because I went and dug it up before the live stream tonight. This is the video they did last week on gypsum, like the benefits of it for like reducing sodium in soils. But they also did another video a couple of days ago that is seriously baller. So like, one of the biggest questions I always get when someone sends me soil test results are around soil pH, right? Like, my pH is not where it needs to be. What should I use to adjust it? Should I use, if it's low, should I use lime, or, what should I use to bring it up? And what they're doing here in this video, and again, don't look at it now, look at it after the live stream. Don't leave the live stream to go watch this. So, or if you want to, you can watch it in another tab. How about that? We'll make that deal. This video they're doing a really cool experiment where they have, I want to say it's 4 soil plots, right? So they have 2 acidic soils and then 2 alkaline soils, and they're doing some testing on the alkaline soils using, I think it's elementals, sulfur, and citric acid to see how it brings it down or trends over time. And then for the acidic soils, they're using lime, and they're just tracking how it brings it up to that natural, that Goldilocks zone, that mid-6s that we're after. So if you guys have not checked that out, I posted the videos in the live stream there. Be sure to go check out like Soil Lab. Subscribe to their channel, give them some love, because they're doing some of the work they're doing is really, really cool, and it's really beneficial to DIY. Like it's literally well done, well produced. And it's really helpful for us that are really trying to take our lawns to that next level. But hopefully that helps answer your question, Lenny, on the benefits of leveling. It's something you absolutely should do. I can tell you it's a pain. If you're going to do it by yourself, it's a pain to do by yourself. Get some buddies to help you out with it, or pay a service to do it. But it's one of the best things literally that you can do for your lawn. Even if you don't real mow, it's something that's awesome and worth considering to do. I personally think. All right. So see what the questions we got here. So Chris Balducci's back at the house. He says, okay, not sure if I missed this while I was out, but why Essential G over Carbon Pro G? The big thing is it's not really Essential G over Carbon Pro G. They're like sisters, right? Like Carbon Pro G and Essential G are both made by Miramichi Green. The big reason why you see me having Essential G in the store is because I can. Like Carbon Pro G is a product that is exclusive to Lesco, meaning the only place that you can buy it is at Site One. So the thing is that I have viewers that have asked me saying, hey, you always talking about Carbon Pro G and I can't get it. I don't have a Site One nearby, or the one closest to me is several hours away. And last year, Miramichi Green came out with Essential G, which is, again, very comparable product. It has carbon, has the compost. It even has some things that Carbon Pro G does not have, which is like the addition of silica. That is something that I started to make available because I wanted to have something that, no matter where you are in the country, you had an option for granular carbon that did not contain NPK. Another reason is because the course, if you guys haven't signed up for the course or looked into it, like here at golfcourselawn.com, there are some modules in there, Chris, on amending the soil. So around like liquid soil amendments and granular soil amendments. And if I, have a module in the course talking about Carbon Pro G and you can't get it, people are gonna be mad at me, right? It's no good to talk about products in a course that people can't get their hands on. So that's another reason why I was able to partner with Miramichi Green. They agreed to make Essential G available. Now they've even reduced the price on it, which is even better. So that's the reason why. Either or is going to be fine. If you have a Site One nearby and you want to go get Carbon Pro G, get that. If you don't have a Site One nearby, or you feel like you want to try out Essential G, you can go with that too. Both products are excellent. They're both made by the same people. The only difference is Essential G you can get from me, you can get from Miramichi Green. Carbon Pro G is a Lesco product, so the only place you can buy it is at Site One. So that's the reason. And if you're interested in seeing a comparison, there's a video that I have on the channel. If you go to YouTube and go Ron Henry, just do Ron Henry Essential G. I actually did a video that will show the comparisons between the two. I'd go into full detail talking about the benefits and of each one and all this kind of stuff. So that question's been answered, Chris. If you want to see a video on it, I've already got you covered. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Chris says, yeah, the price difference between the bags is pretty significant. It is, because mainly it's shipping. With Carbon Pro G, you're picking it up at Site One, so you're not paying to ship it. With Essential G, like that price includes shipping, so it's free shipping to you, and the price of shipping is rolled into that. So that's where some of that is coming from. All right, so let's see what other questions we got going on here. R. Colson, what's going on, man? Mr. Dallas, Texas in the house. Thanks for coming to hang out. I appreciate it so much. And Lisa saying, yeah, the front lawn looks amazing. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thanks. I appreciate the kind words. And Kenneth from Norway. Dude, I remember you from the show. It's been a few times. Maybe it's been about a month. But thanks for coming to hang out, man. You said it's 1 a.m. here, so I'll watch the show tomorrow. Love your channel. Well, thank you for at least chiming in for a little bit and just coming in to say hi. I appreciate having viewers from all over the world. So we got Norway, and I know there's a couple from Australia that chime in now and then. So I really appreciate it, Kenneth. And the show will be up tomorrow, so you can definitely check it out after the fact, and you'll see you have an honorable mention in the show. So very, very cool. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see here. R. Colson has a question about granular ammonium sulfate versus spraying. I gotta ask, any preference of granular ammonium sulfate versus spraying? If you spray, is it a completely different product to water ratio? So I would probably go with granular, R. Colson, and then just water it in heavily after you put it down. That is what I would go with. I am not as far as spraying it. That's an option too, but because the idea of when you're applying ammonium sulfate, a lot of times is to try and lower pH. Like the amount of time that a granular product or a granular is gonna stay in the soil is gonna be longer than most liquids or most foliar applications. So I imagine that you're using ammonium sulfate because you're trying to lower pH. So for me, I would lean more towards a granular, water it in really well to make sure it gets down into the soil and begins working, and that would be my option. Great question. Great question. All right, so let's see what other questions we got going on here. Let's see. Helmet Ruckus says he just ordered a 48-inch leveling rake from R&R Product. Hope it's not too big, but getting ready. Awesome, Helmet. Yeah, R&R Products makes a really, really good leveling rake. The one that I'm using is from them. But it's also a little bit more expensive. There's a really good one from Standard Golf that's also on Amazon. That's why I linked to that one. I don't think R&R Product sells on Amazon, so that's the other one is a little bit cheaper, and it's also on Amazon, so it's available for people to be able to get it easily. 48 inch is going to be interesting, sir, because I'll tell you, like, mine is a 40 inch, and that's about, for me anyway, that's like the sweet spot, because I think if you have a really, really big flat lawn, 48 inches is probably going to do a great job. But if you have any kind of contours, like there's not that many spots of my lawn that are are flat. Well, I should say that the back lawn is fairly flat, but like there's a lot of areas that have contours, like the swale area and the front lawn, where having something that's a little bit narrower, granted it's only 8 inches, but having something a little bit narrower is I find an advantage to that. But I think you're gonna have good results with it, man. Especially for a big, wide open space, like a 48 inch is gonna do a really good job, identifying any little spots that are not even. So I think you're gonna do really well with that. Congratulations on it. That's a really nice, it's a nice rake. Nice job, and they're built really well, so it's gonna last you for a really long time. All right, so Joseph Roberts chiming in and says, "Is it they have 2 inches of rain here in Tulsa? Free water, yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's my whole thing with like top dressing. Like I like top dressing, and I like if you're going to overseed or seed your lawn, like doing it earlier in the spring as soon as temps are where they need to be. Like spring rain, you can't beat free water. You know, you can run irrigation as much as you want, but there's nothing like actual rainwater to feed the lawn. So congrats, 2 inches of water is pretty cool. And Jeanette's in the house. Thanks for coming to hang out, Jeanette. Thank you so much. And then EB is filling us in. He says, yeah, so EB was the one that asked earlier about the potassium. He says, yeah, he did a soil testing, discovered he had very low potassium levels. So yeah, in that case, EB, that Yard Mastery, their stress blend, it's a 7020, is what you're going to want to go with. It's a great product. You're not going to burn your lawn with it. I think pretty much all of the Yard Mastery fertilizers, all of them are relatively slow release. So as long as you apply them at the recommended rate, which I think for the most part is 3 pounds per thousand is what Alan goes with. You're gonna get a good result. So yeah, go ahead and do that. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Frank Wright says, I got grub issues. Oh, Frank, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That is no fun. That is definitely no fun. So a couple of options for dealing with grubs. There's a couple of insecticides that you can use. So if you're looking for like a combination product, there's one that Syngenta makes that's called Caravan G. I've used it a lot in the past, had really good results with it, but it's a combination insecticide and fungicide. If all you care about is just the insecticide, probably the best product that you can go with for dealing with grubs and bill bugs and other like nasties in your lawn is a product called Acelepryn. I actually did a video on it that Syngenta asked me to make a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to see all about it, like what the benefits are, that it doesn't kill pollinators, and it's just a really, really good product, you can look into that. And I will put a link to it in the live stream here. So that's Acelepryn, and I will also do Caravan G in case you decide that that's what you want to go with. Again, either one of them is going to work well. If it were me, though, if all you care about is grubs, I would lean more towards the Acelepryn. If it were me, it's a little bit more expensive, but it's a great product, and you're also not going to kill bees in the process while you're putting it down. So just something to consider. And you want to take care of that sooner than later. Like I would be ordering something today to take and get that down, and to start preventing that, start killing what's currently there to prevent the spread and limit the damage. If you go with a Acelepryn, the rate you're going to want to apply it at that just from reading the label, what I like is a rate of 1.8 pounds per thousand. That is a good rate that has good control for grubs and for other lawn pests as well. So you can go a little bit higher, but 1.8 pounds is like the sweet spot where you get up to 14,000 square feet of coverage, or just under 14,000 square feet of coverage out of a bag. It's a good rate that's going to help you knock out the grub issues. And the bag is resealable. So if you have like a 5,000 square foot lawn, you can always reseal the bag and just save it for next year. So one application should take you throughout the entire season. So sorry you're dealing with that. Grubs are no fun. I've dealt with them before. They can ruin your lawn, and it can take a while to recover from it. But at least you got some options now for insecticides to knock them out. All right, so we got a question here from Daniel Robinson. He says, hey, Ron, I'm cutting a tree in my front lawn. What is the best way to get that area to grow? Should I leave the grinded stump chips or have them removed? And then what should I add? Okay, so if you're removing the tree, what I'd recommend, Daniel, is to get rid of as much of the tree as you can. So if you cut it down, I would getting the stump ground down, and also try and get as much of the root out as well. Because here's why, right? If you've cut the tree down and you've killed it, and you leave, and I don't know how big this tree was. You didn't say how big it is, but say it was a larger tree. like the roots that are in there that are going to die, they're eventually going to rot and break down. And that's how you get, like, if say you're getting hardcore about your lawn, right? And you go through and you level it, you do a lot of work to get it all nice and smooth. Well, like if the roots are fairly big and they break down and rot, like you're going to start getting depressions and uneven spots in your lawn from where like that once living material used to be. So I would try and get as much of it out of your lawn as you can. I would not leave the grinded stump chips. I would remove them. And then as far as getting it to grow in, I don't know what kind of grass you have. I'm going to answer it as if it were Bermuda. If you have Bermuda, you want to get your hands on a plugger. So like get some parts of your lawn, like a, that's growing really well. And in that case, you will you'll take plugs from those different locations and plant and transplant them to that location where the tree used to be. 1 second here. Yep. So where the tree used to be. So that would be my option. And then here's the thing: it's going to take a while for it to grow in. But here's why I'm saying to do that instead of like putting down sod or even worse, like seeding the area. Like if you want to ensure that the area where the tree once was, it continues to, like the grass that grows in there matches with the existing grass, like plugging is going to be the best way to do it. Like that way you're guaranteed that once it grows in and fills in, it's going to look like what the lawn looks like now. If you go and you get sod, I can tell you, even among different types of sod, I've experienced it myself. Like my lawn is Tifway 419. There's a tree that was removed and I put I had some Tifway 419 sod put in and it didn't match. Like it literally, the color was different. So the best way is to plug it if that's what you're going for. So hopefully that helps answer your question. To answer your question, I would remove as much of the tree as possible and I would plug it if your main goal is to have it match. If you don't care about that and you just want it to be green, then you can sod it. But there is likely to be slight color differences. So great question. Thank you so much. And let's see here. And Super TA, oh man, I have to apologize, sir. He says, Ron, you skipped right over me. LOL, Sappy, happy Friday to you, sir. I am so sorry, sir. I did not mean to do that. Apologies. So sorry for skipping over you. Thanks for coming to hang out, Super TA. Hopefully I think you have the Aeration, right? The Aeration real mower is doing really well for you. My sincerest apologies, sir. I am sorry. And I appreciate you always coming to hang out in the live streams. I don't want to especially my diehards are always here. I don't want you guys to get mad at me being like, you see, I show up and he doesn't even acknowledge me. So my bad on that. I'm sorry about that. All right, so let's see what other questions we got going on here. Trinday, my island brother, he's like, I'll be sending pics. Soil temp at 70 degrees. I have 2,000 square feet of bare level soil with a new irrigation system, 3 pounds of RN15 per 1,000 and 20 pounds of Essential G per 1,000 for top cover. Good to go. I think you're going a little heavy on the Arden. So I would go at 2, but let's back that down a little bit. For the RN15, let's go at 2 pounds per 1,000. Everything else looks great. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you got bare soil, you got irrigation, you got RN15, you got the Essential G. You are good to go, sir. I would just back the rate down because, again, with seeding, like, how can I say, kind of like with herbicides, it's a bad analogy, but like with seeding, too much, more is not better, right? If you put down seed too heavy, and it begins to germinate, what you end up happening is the new fresh grass that's germinating is working against itself. You know what I mean? So in many ways, too much seed is not good. I think on the bag for RN15, they recommend 1 pound, 1 to 2 pounds. So really 2 pounds is as high as you want to go. Like whenever I've done seeding in my lawn, all I've done is 2 pounds. I've never gone any more than that because you really don't need to. You really don't need to, and you're just hurting yourself. And RN15 is expensive, so there's no reason to throw down and waste a lot of it. It's always good to hold a little bit back. You never know if you get throughout the season, and there's an area that's a little bit thinner. You want to have a little extra seed that you can, a month or two from now, you can throw that seed down and water it, give it some extra attention, and get it to fill in. So I would everything else in your plan, Trin Dave, looks perfect. I would just back the seed down by just a little bit. And what I would also do, a little hack. You don't strictly have to do this, but I've done it and I like it because it gives the seed a little bit of substance. Is get yourself some play sand, like go to Home Depot, get like a 50 pound bag of like play sand and mix that with the Arden 15 seed. And what that's going to do is, because the seed is so fine, it's almost like dust, it tends to blow all over the place and you might lose some of it. So by mixing a little bit of sand with it, you're kind of ensuring that like when it goes out, it's going to be a little bit more even. Again, not strictly necessary, but it's something that I've done, and it's not a ton of extra work, and it does materially improve the distribution when you put the seed down. So it's just something to consider. And definitely send me pictures. You see you're sending pictures? I'm going to hold you to that. I want to see pictures of how it looks. You got my email right here, ron@golfcourselawn.com. I want to see like the whole process. Like once you're done, when you put the seed down, let me see what the lawn looks like with it just being bare, and then as it grows in. So awesome, sir. That's really, really cool. Really cool stuff. Really cool project to take on. I'm a little bit jealous. All right, let's see what we got here. Kevin Sheehan says, can't use carbonized PN in a spreader. Tried it and it didn't work. Yeah, no, you can't. I've tried it too, Kevin, because it's the thing with carbonized PN is that it's really, really rich. And I mean, when I say really rich, like it will clump really easily. Like it absorbs water really well. And it just, like I tried it in my earthway. I went full open and it went out for a little while, but then it just clumped up and blocked the spreader. So carbonized PN, I can tell you, if you want the answer, here it is, full stop. I'm stamping it. It is not compatible with at least with most broadcast spreaders. There might be some that are like manual compost spreaders that it could work in, but most of us don't have those. So if you want something that can go down in a spreader and work really well, go with either Essential G or Carbon Pro G. Those are the better options because they're essentially carbonized PN with slightly different formulation in prill form. So that's what I would go with. But carbonized PN for like top dressing or for like spot leveling or fixing like some problem areas in your lawn, great product. Great product. I can't, I would not, I don't want you guys to get into the idea of like, this one versus this one versus this one is better. They all really serve different purposes, really, Carbonized PN is really designed for if you want something to mix with topsoil for like just putting like really rich organic material into the turf. It's great for that. If you want something that's spreadable, Essential G, and there you go, right? And Essential G is really because Carbon Pro G you can't buy it other than at Site One. So they had to make something that the rest of us can get our hands on without having to go to Site One to get. Awesome, great question, Kevin, and thank you for also validating my research. I appreciate that, sir. All right, let's see what else we got here. So Danny has a follow-up question. He says, "I'm also clearing the backyard, cutting about 25 trees. Yikes, boy, that's a lot of work. Wow." Should I seed or lay sod or wait till the front grows back toward the back since they connect? So I would, again, just to kind of like segue into what I was saying there, Daniel, depends on your patience, man. Like if you want it, if you're like a stickler, like I have like one viewer, like Frankie Kenneth, who's like he's a photographer. So he's like a really critical eye when it comes to color. So someone like him, like if you mix sod or mixed grass types, it would drive me absolutely insane. So depending on you, if you want the fastest way to get it to look green and for it to look decent, sod's going to be the answer. However, you are taking a gamble that it's not going to match. If you are fine with being patient, I would get some plugs and just simply plug those different areas. It's going to take longer. It might be, Bermuda, depending on how big the areas are. Bermuda grows in really quickly. It might take the entire season for it to grow in, but it will happen. Bermuda is a very aggressive grass from like how aggressively it spreads. So if that's what you got, that is what I would go with if you want an even look. So great question. And 25 trees, not an inexpensive project, sir. But yeah, that's really cool. I guess you're getting very serious about getting your lawn in order. All right. Jeanette Brooks, similar question, says, how does one address bare spots? So it depends on why they're bare, Jeanette. Couple things. There could be a couple of reasons why if it's bare. If it's bare because of shade, we have to eliminate the shade because like Bermuda will take a lot of abuse. It'll grow like in cracks in concrete. It'll grow in horrible soil. The one kryptonite, like its kryptonite is shade. Like Bermuda cannot have shade. Like shade tolerant Bermuda is not really a thing. So if your lawn is bare, you have bare spots due to shade, we need to do something to correct that. If you have bare spots due to something else, like so you have a pet and it's urinating in the lawn and it's causing damage, the best bet I can tell you is to try and train the dog to urinate like in one designated spot. Like Alex they have a dog, Stella, and they've just trained her to pee, or for the most part. Sometimes she gets out of pocket and makes a mess somewhere else. But for the most part, they've trained her to pee in one corner of the lawn, like a sacrificial area. And sometimes I'll have to take a picture of that for you guys. You can see it. That part of the lawn looks like scorched earth, like nothing. It looks like barren desert. So if you want to see what like dog urine repeatedly can do to a section of the lawn, I'll actually do that. I'll actually take a picture of it and I'll send it to you guys. You can see what that looks like. So we've covered shade, we've covered pet urine. If it's also thin, let's say it could be thin due to a fungus issue, or maybe you have some spring dead spot going on. If it's Bermuda, Jeanette, the one thing that's going to help it to fill in is if you start mowing it a lot. So mow it a little bit lower and mow it frequently. That's going to encourage Bermuda to spread and fill in those bare spots. Like I've got one bare spot in my lawn where I have an issue with spring dead spot. And I'm just gonna, I put a little bit of carbonized PN down on it, but really once heat gets here, like by this time next month, when things are in full swing and the heat hits and Bermuda's like taking off, it's gonna fill in. But the thing that's gonna help with that to help stimulate that is mowing. So the more you mow it, the better and faster it's going to fill in, assuming that the problem isn't those other two things I was talking about, which is like, pet urine or shade. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, let me know if I can help with anything else. And if, one thing too, it could also be a nutrient deficiency. If you've not done a soil test on your lawn, it's something worth doing, at least just to find out where you are. Because as far as getting a soil test, the one I like is this one from My Soil. You can pick it up at the golf course lawn store, but that's something else we can do as well, just to take an overall picture, overall snapshot, health check of the lawn to see how things are going. But if it's just individual bare spots, it's probably due to one of those three things that I spoke about: either some fungus issues, probably spring dead spot, a pet, or shade. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Thank you so much. All right. Next up, we have Wind Charity saying, getting ready to aerate and top dress next week. You're not messing around, sir. Good man. This is planning oversee the first week of May. Timing is important. I need about 4 good days of no rain when I top dress. Yeah, I guess you have a big property, Wind Chariot, but yeah, you want like a day when it's not going to rain when you're doing your top dressing work, but then you want rain afterwards, right? So that you can get like that free water and kind of get the lawn to come back a little bit faster. So unless you're dealing with a slope, in which case you might want rain to stay away for a while until the grass grows in. But yeah, sounds like you got a good plan, man. We're definitely in the season for top dressing. There are people in the neighborhood that have already done their lawns, or at least one person I know that's already done their entire lawn already. I've already done my front lawn with like the carbonized PN, and as you can see, it will recover really, really quickly, given the heat that we're starting to get here in Georgia. So just something to consider. So yeah, let me know how your project goes, sir. This sounds like a really fun one. All right, let's see. Josh says a question. He says, how would mixing sand with peat moss do? I've never done that, Josh, to know. I mean, you probably could. I mean, here's the thing: if you could get it mixed already, if you could get it delivered with sand and peat moss mixed, that probably would work okay. I don't know how much nutritional value there would really be in the peat moss compared to, like, say, compost or topsoil. But yeah, that could work well if you could get it delivered that way. I've not known any places in my area that offer that particular blend, but it should work all right. I've just never tested it myself to know how well it would perform. But great question. All right, so Cameron Vance is just checking in. What's going on, Cameron? Thanks for hanging out. And let's see what we got here. Daniel Ferris has a question. We're on the aeration train. He says, is it too early to get an aeration service done? Normal highs in the low 70s daily now. No, not really, Daniel. Here's the thing. I've aerated my lawn as early as March. It's early March. So I've done that with no real negative results. See, the big thing and the big reason why most services that do aeration tell people to wait till really not even this month, till like into May or even June, is because if you do it whenever the lawn is aggressively growing, it's going to recover faster. Like, most people don't want to look at their lawns look like someone like a porcupine rolled around on it, right? They don't want to see like the plugs and all the holes in the lawn for long periods of time. So that's why aerating whenever the grass is growing aggressively, for most people, tends to make a little bit more sense. So that's what most people tend to lean towards doing. But there's really no negative to doing it now. I'm actually a fan of doing it in April, doing it a little bit on the earlier side, because right now is when a lot of people are starting with their fertilization programs. They're starting to put down that granular. For those of you guys that are on that carbon train, or trying to also add like a biostimulant package to your soil, like you're putting down that Essential G or something comparable. When you aerate, that's a great time to also introduce that as well too, right? So no, it's not too early. There's people around here that have gotten their lawns aerated. Alex and I will probably be doing our lawn here soon. Certainly by May. I would be shocked if May rolled around and we had not aerated our lawn. I'll say that much. So yeah, no, it's not too early. As long as you can deal with the knowing that it's going to have holes in it while the grass recovers, you're good to go. Great question. All right. Let's see what the questions we got here. So Chas Bishop says, hi, Ron. I'm surrounded by weeds on every side and they are encroaching on my property. Can you suggest products that I can use to keep the weeds at bay? Yeah, Chas. So there's a couple different ways to go about this, right? So the cheaper way, and the way that I am more a fan of, is to use pre-emergent, right? So if you've not gotten pre-emergent put down yet on your lawn, you want to do it like now, like get it down. I mean, you may not get the full benefit of it as you would have had you done it like last month, but there's still going to be some benefit, because all the really nasty summer weeds like the crabgrass and all those are not really coming in fully hardcore as yet. What I might do too, if you've not put down pre-emergent, we might go for something like, instead of prodiamine, which is a little bit cheaper, you might want to use dithiopyr or dithiopyr, depending on how you pronounce it. And the brand name that's you often see that under is called Dimension. The reason why I would at this time of the year I'd probably lean more towards that is because if you have a little bit of crabgrass growing in already, Dimension has some reach back in that it can kill like young crabgrass without issue. So prodiamine is going to work fine, but if you've already got maybe a little bit of crabgrass going down, Dimension is probably a little bit better product. Negative is it's more expensive, right? Anytime something does something better, it's going to cost more, unfortunately. So yeah, that's what I would recommend going with. I don't think I have a link for that one for you. Actually, yeah, no, I don't. So, but just look it up. Dimension, pre-emergent / herbicide. And if you want to go with prodiamine, on the golf course lawn store, I carry it. So if you look, let's see, I think I have it here. Yeah, if you go to the golf course lawn store and just search for prodiamine, it's available in a couple different sizes. You got like you have it in a smaller container that looks like this. So if your lawn is Bermuda and it's under 6,000 square feet thereabout, this is a great option. But if you're looking for something that's if you have a bigger lawn like mine, then you can get like the 5-pound jug for doing it. So that's the pre-emergent route, right? If we decided we're not doing that and we're going to go post-emergent to knock the weeds back, a good option is like that's inexpensive is that Spectracide that you can find at Home Depot. So it's Spectracide orange bottle, orange label. It's got like a hose end sprayer on it. So I can find it here for you. I'm not sure if I'll have it if I can pull it up here, but yeah, this guy is a good, yeah, this is a good option here. So assuming you have a warm season grass Bermuda, this is what you can try out. And you can usually get this at Home Depot. So, but here's the thing, right? This is it's like temporary. So you're going to knock back the weeds. You're going to kill the ones that are on the fringes, but they're likely to just grow back. So, for your lawn, the best method of action is going to be to get a pre-emergent down, even though it's late, because that's going to make it more difficult for the weeds to grow on your property. And then along the borders, or where you've got some weed pressure already, you can use that product that I showed, that Spectracide goes on a hose end sprayer. And that will kill most weeds. That's kind of like a two-pronged approach that's going to prevent new weeds and also take care of the existing ones. And I'm sorry, man, I deal with that too. Like along the fringes of my property, there's lots of weeds there. And I'm out there because I haven't put down pre-emergent this year. I'm out there with my weeder every time I'm out like mowing the lawn, and I'm just like literally just pulling them up and throwing them out. So it's something you're just gonna have to deal with, unfortunately. But I gave you a couple of good options: pre-emergent and a post-emergent. Should do the trick. That's what I would recommend that you do. Between those two, you should get a pretty good result. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. We have a question from Orlando Alvarez. He says, what type of grass do you recommend for 70% shade area? They are telling me there's a new type of Bermuda that will work. Please advise. I live in Georgia as well. The type of Bermuda they're probably talking about is called Zoysia. Your best, I mean, all jokes aside, your best bet for a warm season grass that will do well, or will do okay in shade, not even thrive, but do okay in shade, is Zoysia, right? And when I say okay, it still is going to want 5 hours, 6 hours of direct sunlight to do well. When you say 70% shaded area, is that like 70% shaded, like 70% of the day it's shaded? That's going to be hard. Even with Zoysia, that's going to be hard. If you don't mind, Orlando, if you're comfortable with it, send me some pictures. Like, here's my email address, ron@golfcourselawn.com. Send me some pictures so I can see like what you're dealing with as far as like the area that's getting a lot of shade, and we can come up with a plan. But I absolutely would not put down Bermuda in a shaded area. It is just not going to work well. There's no, like, shade tolerant Bermuda, unless there's been some new breakthrough that I'm not aware of, just isn't a thing. It just does not exist. The one thing that will kill Bermuda is shade, unfortunately. Your best bet is going to be something like Zoysia, and that really also depends on how much shade you're dealing with. So, sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but if you send me pictures here, I'll take a look and we can come up with a plan of action. Thank you so much for the question. I really do appreciate it. All right. Jeremy White's going on. He says, hey, man, good day, big bro. Checking in. Took third of the jiu-jitsu tournament. Awesome, man. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool, man. Jiu-jitsu is pretty hardcore. Would have took first if not for thinking about a new reel mower delivered this week. I sure hope you weren't on the mat rolling and thinking about a reel mower. But I mean, I guess that's a good consolation prize, right? A reel mower and third place in the tournament. So still, good job, man. Congratulations on that. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. All right. So next point up here, Dimitri's helping me out. He says Tiff Tough is a pretty grass, a fine blade, tight growing when in good soil. So there you go. So that it might be one that's another option too. If you live in the Georgia area, go look at Real Rollers. They've got it. They've got like a Tiff Tough plot. You can look at it yourself and decide if that is the grass for you. You know, I don't think you're going to go wrong with it. As long as it's Bermuda, you're going to be fine, right? That's just as long as you pick like one of those good strong alpha grasses. All right, so let's see what else we got going on here. We have a question from William Stewart, again about leveling. It says, Ron, now that I'm real mowing low, I want to focus more on leveling. That tends to happen, tends to be a thing. I was thinking about doing an 80-20 versus pure sand because I heard once you sand cap, you should keep using sand. Yeah, I mean, 80-20 mix is fine, William. Here's the thing, you're at least you're putting some organic material in. I might do the 80-20 and I might also add like some that Essential G or some rich organic material. At least you're gonna get some of that from the 20% that you're gonna have in there, and that should work well. As far as what you're saying, as far as sand capping, like once you go to pure sand, you should only use that. I've done a mixture of both, right? I'm sure there are some reasons behind once you go sand that there are some benefits to staying with 100% sand. But I've done a mixture of both on my lawn. My lawn's been top dressed, kind of like what you've been doing. The first time it was a 70-30 mix. Actually, the first 2 times it was 70-30, and then it's been 100% sand. And I've also done like since then 70-30, like a blend as well. So, and I've had really good results on my lawn. There's not been any issues with growth or anything like that. So yeah, but I mean, which your plan is a good one. You want to, if at all possible, whenever you top dress, especially on a home lawn, you want to introduce some organic material if you can, because it's a great time to feed the soil. So why not? I think you got a good plan, and it's funny how whenever you start real mowing, the next thing is if I could just go a little bit lower, it'd look even that better, and it is true. But then you end up with leveling, and it starts to consume your life. It becomes a thing, right? So thank you so much, sir. Great question, Grace. What's going on, Grace? Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. We also got Metro Retro in the house. What's going on, bud? Thanks for coming to hang out. Cool hair. I like it. And let's see. Well, we have another question here from CJ Martin, again, about leveling. He says, hey, Ron, I just had a concrete slab put down. To get my Bermuda to spread around the edges of it, should I mix sand and topsoil as if I were leveling? Yeah, I mean, that's not going to hurt. I think here's the thing, C. Martin. Once heat gets here, like once that like the summer heat really arrives, the Bermuda is going to gravitate towards that heat. Like literally, Bermuda loves heat. Like the first part of my lawn to really turn really vibrant green and look like the best looking part of the lawn pretty much all year is the vanity strip, right? Is that little strip that's by the sidewalk, between the sidewalk and the street. And a big part of that is two things. One, it gets the most sunlight of the lawn. Like from the time the sun rises to the time the sun sets, that part of the lawn always gets sun. It's not blocked by any houses or trees or anything, so it gets plenty of sunlight. But also it's surrounded by 3 sides by concrete, right? So that it acts almost like a warming blanket. And the Bermuda is like, yeah, let's go, baby. It loves heat. So sure, you can actually do a sand topsoil mix. Put that down if you want to help encourage things, because the sand is going to be is going to retain heat more than the soil, so that can encourage some lateral spread too. But Bermuda's once summer heat gets here, the Bermuda's gonna grow in just fine. Like I wouldn't worry too much about it. I don't know how big an area we're talking about. Especially if it's only a few inches, the Bermuda will creep right up to that heat source that you've just put in, which is that concrete slab. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think you're gonna be just fine. Congrats on the new slab. I guess you did a patio or something. It's really cool. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. DG says, what's up, Ron? I just got out and enjoyed the mow earlier. Good times. Yeah, man, I've been doing that a lot out here lately, too. It's kind of crazy. So ever since I got the Greens Master back, I've been doing an experiment, right? For the next 3 weeks or so, I've been getting up every morning and I've been mowing. I'm getting up like around like right before 7. I try and get out there right at 7 o'clock, because it takes me just under an hour to mow the lawn. And I've been mowing the lawn every day for, 10 days now, just to see how well the lawn looks. Like, is there a difference? Like, mowing, twice a week looks good. 3 times is better. What happens if I mow every day? And unfortunately, the lawn looks really good when you mow it every day. I mean, it definitely looks better than when you mow it every 2 days, unfortunately. I'm not gonna be able to keep that up all season, but I'll do a video and I'll show you guys the results of it. And if you guys have been following my YouTube stories, like if you're not doing that, get on, it's only on mobile, But if you get up in the morning, or you just go to YouTube and you see like my stories section, you can see like all the, like in the morning when I get out there and I'm filming, like when I'm mowing the lawn, you can see what it looks like. But yeah, mowing is the secret sauce, man. Again, mowing every day, the lawn looks really, really good for it. And it's fun exercise in the morning. So something I've been doing. All right. Other questions we have going on here. Jeanette Brooks says, "Hi Ron, what's the best method to apply to bare spots in established Bermuda here in East Georgia?" Okay, Jeanette, I think we kind of covered some of that. But if it's established Bermuda, and again, you don't have either of those two issues that I was talking about, so shade or pet issues, you can just mow it lower. So another thing too, right, is if you're mowing the Bermuda at like 3 inches, there's no reason for it to spread there's no reason for it to do lateral spray because it's getting plenty of leaf, plenty of sunlight. There's no reason for it to really spread as much. So to encourage that lateral growth, you really want to be mowing really, I say under 2 inches minimum, but really under an inch and a half is what you really want to get to really encourage Bermuda to really thicken up and spread and fill in those bare spots. Hopefully that helps. Got a simple super chats here I need to go down here and take care of. Let's see. I got a super chat from LG. Thank you so much, sir. Super chat received. He says, "You are first. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much." And one from Papa Mo's Low. Super chat received. He says, "I appreciate you so much sharing all this knowledge for free without bashing others' opinions and saying your way is the only way." Yeah, my way. Here's the thing, Papa Mo's Low. My way is the only way. My way is that there's multiple ways to solve the problem. So you see, my way is the only way. There's just multiple ways to do it, right? I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. And then super chat from LG saying he agrees with Papa Mo's Low. It's just fun, guys. Again, if it doesn't come across in the live stream, literally, I do this because I really enjoy it. I really enjoy helping people out with their lawns. And I just like seeing, when I get an email from the best thing. I mean, when you guys go and buy something in the store, I obviously appreciate that because it helps support the channel, helps me buy camera stuff and products that I put on the lawn. And that's obviously always awesome. But the best part is whenever I get an email from somebody or a comment in the video and they say, "Hey, I started following you last year and my lawn has never looked better." That's literally the best because it validates all this work and it just shows that you guys really appreciate it and I like it. I am a teacher at heart. Like even though I work professionally in information security, like I've taught like exploit development and so it's something that I've always, no matter what I've done for work, it's like instructing and teaching is something I've done. So it makes sense that now that I've gotten really hardcore into my lawn that this is now a thing. So I'm not surprised. All right, so we have a question here from Apollo Prime. He says, "Senor, I'm in NorCal and I'm seeding with Arden15 next month." All right, sir. Nice. Very cool. What's the best way to prevent weeds? Thanks, Ron. Okay, so here's the thing. We have to qualify Apollo Prime. Now, whenever you're putting down seed, I'm assuming that you are going with bare turf. You didn't say overseeding, so I'm assuming that you've got like you're clearing the area. Maybe it's a fresh lawn. You're putting down seed. Unfortunately, you can't have it all at the same time. So if you're deciding that seed is your thing, like you want to put down seed on the lawn and you want to try and grow in Arden15, you're going to have to tolerate a few weeds here and there while the Arden15 is growing in. And what you can do is, depending on how much time you have, you can get out there and you can simply you can pick it. I need to start keeping my manual weeding tool in here so I can actually show you guys what it looks like. But I would just manually weed the lawn while the Arden15 is trying to get established. If the weeds are bothering you that much, what I would not do is I would not spray any herbicides on the lawn. Like you're trying to get the grass to grow, and while Bermuda is pretty alpha, like it can take a lot of abuse. Like spraying any kind of herbicides, even if it's safe for warm season grass, is just not something you want to do on a brand new lawn. It's just not something that I would recommend. So you kind of have to pick your poison, right? Like this year, I decided I really wanted to get a really good result with overseeding my lawn with Arden15. So to that end, I did not put down any pre-emergent. So what that means is I'm probably going to get a little bit more weeds in my lawn during the summer than I normally would, but I'm okay with that because my main goal is to get Arden15 nice and even throughout the entire lawn, right? So just realize that you have to kind of give and take. You can't have everything all at the same time. Once the Arden15 grows in and it's established, the best weed control with Bermuda is to simply mow it low. I mean, we can put down a post-emergent herbicide once the lawn is established, but really, if you mow Bermuda at 1.5 inches or lower, that is like natural weed control. Like most weeds hate being mowed or being cut that short, and Bermuda is like all day, every day, bring it on, go lower. That's what Bermuda is like. It loves being cut short. All right, great question. And guys, if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far, if you guys wouldn't mind, we got 120 people or so in here right now. If you wouldn't mind touching that like button ever so gently, sends good vibe to the YouTube algorithm, lets them know that we were having a great time and sends more people in here. And I would really appreciate it. I got some super chats I got to scroll down to get to. So if you guys would do that, I would really appreciate it. I'll take a sip of my coffee. All right. So let's go down here. Let me get some of these super chats that came in. So we got a super chat for Scott O'Hare. Thank you so much, Scott.
Super chat.
He says, I'm with Papa Mo's Low and LG. Thank you so much, Scott. I truly appreciate it. And then we got one from Josh Habib. He says,
super chat received.
I'm with LG, Papa, and Scott. And speaking of Josh Habib, you talk about somebody. So here's the thing, guys. I go out of my way to try and, put some merch together, and I think I do a decent job. Like, I mean, I know I'm not like a graphics designer, so maybe you guys don't necessarily like, my merch as well as like someone that's an actual pro at it. But Josh has to take it upon himself to always one up me. This hat that I've got here, he went out and he designed this and got it to me. And then on top of that, my man before the live stream says, "Hey, Ron, you're getting ready to go in for the live stream. I want to show you my new hardware I'm working with." My buddy went out and got the logo, made his own hat, and put that on there. And the thing is, it looks fresh. It looks clean. I like it. It looks really, really good. I'll have to get one of those, Josh. I may have to commission you to design a line of merch for the store, because you're much better at it obviously than I am, and that looks really cool. That's a really, really cool looking hat, man. So I can't wait to get my hands on one of them and start repping it. So I appreciate it. Really, really cool. I appreciate the support and that you're a raving fan. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. All right, so next question we got here is Soupy. He says, how did your carbonized PN top dress experiment go? Very well, Soupy. I'm not sure if you just joined the live stream, but here's a picture of the front lawn. You can see what it looks. That is the front lawn as of this morning. This is probably at 7:30 in the morning is when I took this picture, and that is a week to the day from when carbonized PN went down on the lawn, and you can see it grew in really nicely. The green is really dark, really beautiful. And when the heat gets here, I can't imagine what it's gonna look like. It's gonna have that fake Bermuda grass look, which is exactly what I'm going for. So it is definitely not the most inexpensive way to top dress your front lawn, but it was a cool experiment. You guys wanted to see it, and now it's been done, and it looks like it's gonna work out okay. I was a little bit nervous, but it looks like it's going to go just fine. Very, very cool. And then Lenny, the question he's asking, what do you use to top dress? A sand soil mixer is typically what I recommend. So using a mixture of river sand or masonry sand and then some organic material is a great way to top dress your lawn. And I've got tons of videos on that. So if you go to youtube.com, you go to Ron Henry, and then go to YouTube and say Ron Henry top dress. There's tons of videos. There's videos of top dressing just manually, Alex and I doing it. There's videos of doing spot top dressing. There's videos of doing a full blown out top dressing of Alex's lawn with all kinds of equipment. And there's one of just doing it with on a slope. So I've got tons of videos on top dressing. Go check those out, and it's you'll see a lot of different options there. And I'll probably be doing another one this year because I'm gonna be top dressing the lawn again, because I can't leave well enough alone. So you'll be able to see that, Lenny. But yeah, go check out those videos. You'll see tons of great options for top dressing materials. But the short answer to your question is sand soil mix is what I would recommend for most people when they're first starting out. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Daniel says, in keeping with the leveling theme, I guess that's what we're going to be talking about. Let's retitle this live stream, the leveling live stream show. How does a leveling top dressing negatively affect the subdivision lot drainage, if at all? Do the HOA typically have to be involved for a lawn leveling project? If anything, Daniel, it improves it, right? So it does. So the soil itself, the lawn itself, absorbs more water, so it absorbs and holds on to more moisture, and then in the ability of it to get rid of water is just better. So with my lawn, it's been top dressed a bunch of times, but that hasn't really changed the drainage flow that was put in whenever the property was built. It's the water still drains the same way, just less of it leaves in drainage. The soil actually is holding on to more of the moisture. As far as an HOA, I tell you what, I've top dressed my lawn a bunch of times, and the HOA's never said anything. I mean, but the last year, if you looked at the lawns last year, again, go look at the YouTube video of the leveling project between Alex and my lawn. Last year, both of our lawns were literally a beach. You thought you were I don't know, in Savannah or something, or somewhere in Florida for 3 weeks when it was growing back in. So there's several people in the neighborhood that top dress their lawns. I don't think our HOA has anything really to say about it. They've not really. If they have, they've never said anything negative to us about it, because normally it's a short-lived process, right? If you do it the way I recommend doing it, which is to not put like an inch and a half, 2 inches of sand on your lawn, like actually just do a light top dressing so it recovers faster. It's normally a 3 week to 4 week tops, 4 weeks tops, that the lawn looks poorly before it grows back in, right? So in our case, Alex and mine, it's not really been an issue with that, and there's no negatives to it from a drainage standpoint. There's only improvements. So hopefully that helps. Great question. I've not been asked that one before. All right, let's see what we got going on here. So 4X Recon says, do you like Carbon Pro G or L better? They're comparable. It's like saying, do you like coffee or coffee better? Yes, I like them both. They're both great products. The cool thing about Carbon Pro G is that it has the micronutrient package in it, right? The cool thing about Essential G is that it has a little bit more compost. So as far as like, if you want like almost like an organic way to really put even more rich just compost into the soil, Essential G is a little bit better than Carbon Pro G for that. If you want to add a little bit of silica to your lawn, which is like an additive that helps improve the physical strength of the grass, like physically makes the grass a little bit harder. Not hard that it's like you're walking on glass, obviously, but like it improves the strength of the grass. Essential G has that. Carbon Pro G does not have that. So to say that one is better than the other, they're comparable. It's like, you're going to get great results with either of them. This year, I'm really going to go heavy with Essential G. I'm going to try it out a lot and be using it. And the results I've seen so far have been really good. Like mainly on the front lawn and the back lawn. This season, it's gotten more Essential G than it has Carbon Pro G. So I've been going pretty heavy on the Essential G, and that's going to continue throughout this season. So you're not going to go wrong with either one of them. You can save a little bit of money on Carbon Pro G if you got a site one nearby. It's going to be a little bit cheaper. With Essential G, you can now get it for like $55 a bag delivered to your door. But some of that's because you're dealing with shipping. You're shipping like a 40-pound bag, right? So there's just a cost associated with that, unfortunately. But they're both excellent products. You're not going to go wrong with either one. They're both great. All right, let's see what we got here from Helmet Ruckus. He says, I got 4 bags of Carbon Pro G as you recommended for putting down in before receiving my Zoysia sod, about 1,000 square feet. What do you think? 2 bags, 80 pounds before and 2 after, or all 4, another 4 bags after? Now, that's a loaded question. That's a loaded question, Helmet. What do you think I'm going to say? I mean, you asked the question, but what do you think I'm going to say? What do you think my answer is going to be? I'm going to say you put down all 4 bags on the soil prior to the sod going in, and if you want to put some more on afterwards, that's fine too. But like literally, you're getting an opportunity to literally sandwich this. You're getting the opportunity to sandwich a bunch of biochar and compost in between your existing soil and the sod. Like you don't get that very often. So I would go super heavy. I would load up on that, and then after the fact, if you want to add some more on top of it when you're done, sure. But I mean, like what you're describing, that is like the perfect use case for Carbon Pro G. Like when you're putting in new sod, like lay it down heavy. Like you guys are going to see in the video that we did, even I did, we weren't sodding, but even like for top dressing, as adding it, using it as an organic, adder to the top dressing process. I don't apply it at rate when I'm using it like that. Like I put it down really heavy because I'm trying to get a lot of organic material into that area that I'm about to cover it with a bunch of sand. In your case, you're covering it with sod. But the long and short of the question is, put all 4 bags down, put the sod down. Afterwards, if you feel like you want to add more, by all means proceed. But I would not hold any back. I wouldn't do that. Would not do that. Great question. Chris, you are very, very welcome, sir. Thank you so much. And let's see what else we got going on here. B. Gaines says he's excited for his upcoming top dress / aerate by Sandman. Previously, you recommended that I put down Carbon Pro G heavy the day of top dressing. For the sake of time, can I put down Carbon Pro G the evening before? Yes, absolutely. You can put it down a week before. I mean, the big thing I'm saying is that I would put it down prior to the sand going on the lawn. It doesn't have to be the day of. It's just, when I say the day of, I mean prior to. As far as like sequencing, I would aerate Carbon Pro G at some point prior to the sand soil mix going on top of it. That's really what I'm saying. So I apologize if I made it sound like it all must happen the same day. It's not true. It's really more so that it happened before the leveling mix goes down. So I think you're going to be just fine, B. Gaines. Congratulations on getting the lawn top dress. Richard and the crew do really good work. And I'm sure you will be in love with your lawn when it's done. Pretty awesome. All right. Hilltop Kilson K says, great info. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. And Jason A says, hey, Ron, I got off in time to check in. Thank you, sir, Jason. I appreciate you, Jason, hanging out. It's cool to see viewers that often comment on the videos to also be in the live stream. So I really appreciate you guys, you can't get enough, right? The videos aren't enough, so you also come in and hang out in the live stream. So that's really cool. Thank you so much. Kevin Sheehan says, Ron, have you ever heard or know anything about Soil 3, or I think it's Soil Cubed, level mix in the big yellow bag? Here's the thing. I've not used that before. However, I can't share it yet, but you know what? I can. All I'm going to say is I am going to be trying out that particular product you're talking about this year. So we'll say that. You're going to get my opinions of it because I'm going to be using it this year to level my lawn. So there you go. Cat's out of the bag. I wasn't going to share what the leveling mix was going to be, but you know, I told you guys don't go off and tell the entire world. Right? So there's only 121 people in here right now. I expect you guys to keep the secret to yourself. Right? So yeah, I've heard only good things about it, Kevin. The nice thing about their leveling mix is that, or at least that I've heard on paper, is that the organic material they use is very, very good. But what I care about even more than that is the sand they use is apparently USGA grade sand. So it's like you're not gonna have any trash in it, no rocks, chip, any garbage in there. I should be able to put it down and just spread it out and get a really good result. So it should be like how carbonized PN was, like really pure, super clean, but a sand and soil mix, which would be really awesome. Because every time I've top dressed prior to that, I've always had like a little bit of trash in the lawn I've got to go clean up. So if their stuff is really clean, or just cleaner than what I normally deal with, it's going to be a win. So yeah, you're going to get to see firsthand that go down on the back lawn this year, because I'm gonna see about getting some of that, and it should be really cool. I'm excited to try it out. All right, next question we got here going on. We have let's see. Cedric says, question, mad scientist, many lawn enthusiasts suggest that cutting your lawn in the same direction could be counterproductive or may introduce negative effects on your lawn. Please share your thoughts. So here's the thing I would say about that, Cedric. The big thing I would say about that is you should vary your mowing pattern. If you looked at my video or my YouTube story, either from this morning or yesterday morning, I forget which one it is. It all kinds of runs together now. I was actually talking about the 4 different directions of mowing. So every time I mow my lawn, I mow it in a different pattern. So there's technically, if you think about it, there's like 8 ways you could mow your lawn. So if you guys are sitting on the patio and looking out, which is the picture way I always take the pictures of the back lawn, I typically will, from that left side, I will mow going away from the house. And then I'll also mow lengthwise, and then I'll mow diagonally this way, and then diagonally this way. So there's 4 directions as a base to go. But then what I'll also do is I'll switch it up. So if I started out mowing like the stripe that's closest to the patio going out the last time, the next time I will mow that way coming in, and that prevents grain issues. It helps. What you're doing is it helps that you're standing the grass up in multiple directions, so you're ensuring a cleaner cut. Like the reason why my lawn looks really nice and smooth, and you don't get like any I don't know, like buildup issues or just weirdness in the cut of the lawn, is that it's cut in a different direction every single time. So is it super negative? Is it going to cause life-ending issues or going to destroy your lawn? No. Can you potentially get ruts in your lawn if you cut the exact same way every time? Yes. Will you get a better cut from varying the mowing directions? Absolutely. To give you an example, not to use Augusta National as an example, because not that I do anything like near on the level that they do, but when they mow their greens, they use a process. I was looking at a blog post on it that they call double freaky. So they will mow one pass down, and then on the same line, they'll come back up that line. And then they'll have another greens mower, mow perpendicular to that down one way, and then back up the same line. They do that until they repeat that process until they mow the entire green. And the reason for why they do that is all about preventing grain issues. So the ball rolls really, really true on the green. So granted, that's kind of an extreme way. I don't think anyone that has a home lawn is probably going to do that. But there is something to not mowing the exact same way every single time. Even if you're mowing a certain line, there is something to varying the way that you mow that line. So if you always mow away one particular pass, start mowing back towards yourself on that same pass, and your lawn's going to look better. You're still going to get really good stripes, but in general, the cut is going to get better because you're cutting the lawn in a bunch of different ways. Almost like when you get a haircut, like if only you cut your hair forward, right, you'll get one cut, but if you really want to get it cut low or very even, they'll cut forward one way. They may cut sideways. They'll cut different parts of your hair different ways to get fading, right? So it's the same thing with your lawn. Like varying the mowing direction, there is a lot of benefits to doing that. So great question. All right, moving on. Next question we got going on here is Harold. I think he has a question. He says, hey, Ron, love the videos and live channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. Is any long-term downsides to overseeding with annual rye to keep the lawn somewhat green during winter dormancy, thatch, or other issues? Okay, here's the thing. I have not personally done that, but I can tell you and give you my opinion on it, right? So again, I normally don't want to give my opinion on things that I haven't done myself, but having observed, that particular thing you're talking about as far as like overseeding Bermuda warm season grass with rye, I am not a fan of it for a couple of reasons. There's a couple people in the neighborhood that have done it, and the big problem with it, and you are right, let's talk about the pros first. The pros are that the lawn does look gorgeous in the winter months, in the early spring, looks absolutely wonderful. Like, if you talk about stripes, like nothing stripes like rye. Like, it stripes really well. I mean, KBG stripes really well too, but like cool season grass stripes really well. It looks gorgeous, right? The problem is now around this time of year when Bermuda's trying to wake up, and if you got annual rye in your lawn, like the annual rye isn't gonna die off just yet. Like when the summer heat gets here, it'll be stressed. But what most people that overseed their lawn end up having to do is they have to get some kind of a herbicide like Katana or something else, something that's designed to kill cool season grass, and spray that out in their lawn in the spring to try and get rid of it. So what you ends up happening is you have, during the time when the Bermuda is trying to grow, it's trying to come out of dormancy, you've got this other grass that is competing with it for resources, and on top of that, now we're going to put a herbicide on it to kill it off. So you're putting a herbicide on the lawn that, even though it's supposed to be safe for Bermuda, it's not going to hurt the Bermuda. You're doing that at the time when the lawn is trying to transition. So I am not a fan of overseeding with annual rye for that reason. I don't want to put herbicides on my lawn every spring. That's one. And then probably the biggest reason, and you may not know this, is that I'm from the Caribbean and we do not like cold weather. So although rye looks gorgeous in the early spring and winter months, I don't want to be out there mowing it when it's really cold. So that's probably one of the biggest reasons. But the secondary reason is I don't want to have to also commit to having to spray herbicides on my lawn in the spring to get rid of it once Bermuda starts to come in. So that's the reason why I don't do it. As far as issues with thatch, I've never really heard there's really thatch issues associated with using annual rye. Or perennial rye, but the big thing for me is got to mow when it's cold, and herbicides. You have to use that in the spring to get rid of it at the time when you want the Bermuda to begin taking over. So it's kind of your choice. Some people do it and love it. I'm not a huge fan. All right. LG saying he's wearing his blue stripe option shirt. You got to send pictures, LG. If you guys send a picture of you guys wearing the Ron Henry merch, I will put it up in the live stream. That is a promise. Or in the case of Josh Habib, you make your own merch, and I'll show that too. So, because obviously my artistic talents for making merch is not good enough, Josh. Thanks. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Mike Skis says, "Hey, buddy, I picked myself a new to me. I guess I said a new to me. I guess a real mower. I think that's what you're saying. So we're gonna clap that up, Mike. I think that's what you're saying. Cool. All right. Well, congratulations, sir, on the new real mower. I'll look down and see if you have some more details on it. But thanks so much. Appreciate it." And let's see what else we got going on here. CJ Breeze says, would you represent using a fungicide as a preventative on Bermuda, like Eagle 20 EW? So I'm not familiar with Eagle 20, CJ. I've mainly used the Syngenta fungicides on my lawn, but yes, I actually would I would recommend it. So here's the pros and cons of using fungicide as a preventative, right? If you're trying to prevent problems with things like something I'm dealing with now, right? Like spring dead spot, and some large patch that can happen whenever the lawn is transitioning. It tends to be kind of a spring thing. If you use fungicides as a preventative, if you put that down like for dead patch or for spring dead patch, you'd have had to do that in the fall. But like if you put down like a fungicide earlier, like say in March, to try and prevent some of the issues that I was having in my lawn now that are, again, relatively light ones, like that would help prevent that. So there are some benefits, some merits to that. The one thing with fungicides you have to keep in mind too is that fungicides are very hard on the microbial activity in your lawn. So that's a consideration to make. So you have to kind of pick your poison. Is like having the lawn come out of dormancy and be completely clean, no fungus or no patch, some little weak areas that have to kind of grow in, your primary concern? If that is, then fungicide makes a ton of sense. And also, if you have a way to replenish the microbial activity, like I'm putting down a ton of carbon, tons of microbes. I'm using that this product here, the Biospectrum, which introduces a lot of microbes to the soil. So in my case, using fungicide both in the fall as a preventative and in the spring is something I absolutely could do and probably will do this fall. Mainly because I don't want to have to deal with spring dead patch again next year. I'm just going to do it this fall. I didn't do it last year, but this fall I'm going to do it. There are some benefits to that. So yes, to answer your question, there are benefits to doing that. And I can't speak to Eagle 20 EW because I've never used that one to know for sure. The fungicides that I have direct experience with are Caravan G, which is a combination fungicide and insecticide, and it's also great value for money as far as like a single product. If you want the absolute like best, in my opinion, in a granular fungicide, then you want Headway G. because it contains two active ingredients. It contains azoxystrobin and propiconazole, which will make sure it takes care of like the most common ones, like your brown patch, large patch. But then I want to say it's the propiconazole will also take care of dollar spot if you happen to have that issue. Whereas the other fungicide that Syngenta makes, which is their older one, it's Heritage G, I think is only the azoxystrobin. I believe that's correct. But Headway is the one that contains both active ingredients, two active ingredients. A Heritage is the one that only contains one. So if you're looking for options on that, as far if you want, like, in my opinion, the fungicide I would be using on my lawn this time of year, especially if you've had fungus issues and you just want a good preventative, at CJ Breeze, this is what I would go with. That's the one that I would recommend. The Headway. Great question. See what else we got going on here. 2 shots of Bacca. He says, hey, what's going on, Ron? Currently working on my vanity strips, plugging Celebration, laying some Black Cow, Carbonized PN, and Anderson's Humic DG, trying to get like you. That's right, dude. Remember, you said you promised us, you promised a live stream. We're all here to notice, to hold you to it. You got to film that. You got to film each one of them and show us what the results are, with the testings. I have not done that test. That's a pretty cool test. You're trying like 3 different types of organic additives, so we'll see how they all perform. Very cool. Thanks for letting me know, sir. What's going on? Travis and the Bermuda Yard saying, what's up, Ron? And the Golf Course Lawn Squad. What's going on, Travis? That's an awesome name, Golf Course Lawn Squad. Love it. Okay, yeah. So, and now we got LG saying, that Tahiti blue stripe action shirt is hot. I don't have the blue. I got to get a different one. I got green right now, but I got to get another shirt. And then my good buddy Joanne Lampron is chiming in, saying that we hope we get some rain here soon in Georgia. Very cool. Thanks for hanging out, Joanne. But so back to Mike's question. He had a question about a mower, or talking about his mower. He says, what's up, Ron? I picked up a new to me 05 Toro Greensmaster 1600. Nice. Took it directly to the guys at Jerry Pate to check out. Joey and Bruce say hello. Excited to lay some stripes with it. That's awesome, man. So the nice thing with those guys is that they will, again, you're taking it there. It's not going to be super inexpensive to get the work done, but when you get them over back, it's going to be right. They're going to use all genuine Toro parts in it. They're going to go through it. It's going to be right when you get it back. Both Joey and Bruce are really good guys. They do great work. And that's kind of cool. What that really tells you, it shows you a lot about like a greens mower, right? So you take like that mower you just bought, that 05, which is it's a 2005. So it's a mower was that 16 years old at this point. And those mowers still cut just fine. I mean, you can take one of those in, take it to Jerry Pate, have them tune it up, put a new real bed knife in it, freshen it up, and it will cut for years. So the thing is, real mowers are more expensive, but with good care, they can last. I mean, for homeowners, a lifetime. Like they're really good as long as you take good care of them. So awesome, man! Congrats on the real mower. Got to clap it up again. I got to give you some extra love because you got a Greensmaster, and I'm glad that Jerry Pate and the guys there are taking care of you. Awesome stuff. All right, let's see what else we got here. So Timothy, he's chiming in. He says, "Hey, just a thought. I just replaced a couple trees about 5 years ago, and I have Tipway 419. Bought the sod from Ace Hardware, and it matches perfectly. Not disagreeing with Ron, but quality matters. No big box. That's a good point, Timothy. And you're right. There are times when you can put down sod and it matches fine and it's Tifway, and there's times you can put it down and it doesn't match. So it just depends on what you go with. But great. I'm glad that you were able to do that and you got a good result. So that's pretty awesome. It's just more of like, it can be a gamble is all I'm trying to say. But yeah, thank you for chiming in and showing that, yes, there are times when you can do it and it works out just fine. Great stuff. All right, Jay Clark, thanks for coming to check in, sir. I appreciate it. Just checking in to say hello. And what else we got going on here? JG's answering Daniel's question about using, he said after they cut down a tree, they went out and used a shop vac to clean up wood chips. It worked awesome. So there you go. You got another option. It's funny. Like JG and LG are like these people, like they're like the Neil deGrasse Tyson of like grass. You ask some really weird, obscure question. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, you can just use this product or do this thing and it will work. And like, I keep telling them they need to start a YouTube channel because they have so much knowledge between the two of them that they really should start one. I'm telling you guys, you should. Something to think about because you guys know a whole lot about, just all these obscure things. You could be like, lawn care obscurities or whatever you want to call it. It'd be kind of cool. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Tony Valdez says, I'm still new to reel mowing and I can't seem to get my true cut to cut paper across the entire reel. It cuts in the center of the reel, but not both sides. Recently had it sharpened. Okay, so it sounds like whenever they did it, well, if it's cutting only in the center, that's weird. It sounds like a not good grind job because it's either normally what you find, Tony, is like it'll cut really well, it'll cut paper on one side of the reel and the other side it won't, because what can happen is depending on just how the wear happens on the reel, you can get coning. So instead of it being like a cylinder anymore, it becomes kind of like a mild cone, and that can cause the kind of issues you're talking about. But with it not cutting only in the center but not the sides, that sounds like either a bed knife issue or a real issue. I might take it back to them if you've recently had it done and have them look over it, adjust it, maybe redo the grind, because that's weird. Normally what I find is that it will cut on one side of the reel or the other, but I'm not really commonly seeing it where it cuts only in the center and the edges do not cut. Because if you think about that, right, that would mean that the center, either the reel or the bed knife, are like physically bigger, or like the tolerance is closer in the center than the outside. And what that means is that the reel is not really canted. It's like that section is just literally like thicker. So I would take it back to them and have them take a look at it and see if they can figure out why you're getting that weird cut, because you're going to have some issues with getting a good cut if that's the problem you're having. Great point. Thanks for chiming in. Sean says, hey, what's going on, sir? Keep up the great content. Thank you so much, Sean. I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir. And let's see what else we got going on. Jay Clark is also saying he just applied his first fertilizer of the season on Sunday, a 1605 Earthworks. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see what other questions we got going on here. The Longineer chiming in. What's going on, man? Happy Friday. And let's see what other questions we have. Eric Garcia says, hey, I've been cutting at 1 inch since it's the lowest I could go and still has the dead stuff. Now that I have an Alette, should I go down to 3/4 of an inch and bag? So if your lawn will tolerate being cut at 3/4 of an inch, so you're not gonna have any issues with scalping, and more importantly, you can commit to the mowing frequency that's gonna be required to maintain a 3/4 of an inch height of cut, then you're good to go. Yeah, I would absolutely. If you're asking me, should I mow my lawn lower with a real mower? Yeah, my answer is always going to be yes. But really, it's Eric, it's based on how much time you have to put into mowing. Really, once you get down to like 3/4 of an inch, you can still get by with twice a weekish thereabouts if you're using some PGR. But it's once you start going lower, you're going to have to start mowing more frequently, and start introducing plant growth regulator. And no, I would not bag it. I would not, because here's the thing, right? If you are mowing at 3/4 of an inch and you're mowing, say, every 3 days, right? The clippings that are going to come off are going to be very small. They're going to break down really quickly. And there's just really no reason to bag it. And also remember too, when you bag your clippings and you throw them out, you're throwing out nutrients. Like a lot of the nutrients you put in the soil are being absorbed by the grass, and some of those nutrients are in that clipping. And if you take the clippings and you're throwing them out, literally you're like throwing out free fertilizer. You're throwing out free organic material. So the negative is, if you wait too long to mow, you're gonna have like a little bit of like brownish and yellowish on the lawn. That's a negative. But I am a huge fan of mulching. I think outside of scalping your lawn or doing a cut for whenever you have company coming over and you want the lawn to look its absolute best, outside of that, like normal maintenance mows, I absolutely always mulch. I don't ever bag clippings. I just don't think there's a good reason to do it, because you're just throwing away perfectly good fertilizer, right? But yeah, you should absolutely mow low. You should absolutely mow lower if your schedule allows for it. It's a tongue twister. Let's see. Lenny says, hey Ron, are you core aerating or just regular aerating? I've always done core aerating, Lenny. I've never done spike aerating in the lawn. It's always been core aerating. So it's going to be the same thing this year. A great question. Greg Lyon says, hey, happy Friday. What do you use to edge? I'm struggling to get a nice edge on my vanity strip. So what I use is I use a stick edger. Like, I'm not good enough like those guys. You see those guys that are like the pros that will get like a string trimmer. Like, have you ever watched like, what's the guy's channel? He's like a lawn care professional. Like Jason Creel's channel. I think it's Lawn Cure Life. You watch that guy, man, with a string trimmer, and he can lay like a beautiful edge with a string trimmer. If I do it, it looks not. You guys don't want to see me edging my lawn with a string trimmer. It is not pretty. So I realize that I am not good at that. I don't edge enough to get good at it. So I use a stick trimmer to do my edging, or stick edger to do my edge. And I use the Still combi system. If you want to see what I use to do my edging and blowing and that kind of stuff on the lawn, if you go to go to YouTube, go Ron Henry and do like equipment overview or equipment review. There's one video I do where I lay out all the stuff I use on my lawn, and it's all there, and I talk about all of them in detail, and you can see exactly the system and the model that I'm using. It also in the course in golfcourselawn.com and the Golf Course Lawn Academy, there's a whole module on this subject, on different types of edgers, blowers, backpack sprayers. I mean, I cover all that in detail in the course, the pros and cons of them, what I recommend, all that stuff. So if you're interested in something that's a little more concise, not having to weed through YouTube, be sure to check out the Golf Course Lawn Academy. You buy it and it's lifetime access. So whenever I add new content, it is free to you as well. So if you are interested in that, I would definitely appreciate it. And you get access to the cool Facebook group where all the really super crazy lawn care nerds are all hanging out and talking about lawn care stuff. So that's also that too. Great question, Greg. All right, what other questions we got going on here? Josh is saying, if I'm plugging my yard, should I still use pre-emergent? I have Empire Zoysia. I probably wouldn't, Josh. Here's things, a couple of reasons. Zoysia in of itself is also a slower growing grass, and putting down pre-emergent does hurt rooting. It does hurt the ability of the grass to grow roots. With Bermuda, I might say you might get away with it. With Zoysia, I might hold off on that. Especially if anything, if you could not put the pre-emergent in the area you're going to plug, that would be kind of like a great compromise. So like put pre-emergent everywhere else, but the area that you're going to plug, just don't spray any there and just realize you're going to have to deal with weeds. You're going to have to manually weed that area. That's like the best combination that's going to allow you to still get like some weed control throughout the rest of your lawn, but the area that is being plugged, you're going to give the Empire Zoysia the best opportunity to grow in from plugging. So great question. All right, Michael Holder. What's up, Ron? What's good? What's going, Michael? Thanks for coming to hang out. Thank you so much. And then Nestor, also a frequenter of the YouTube comment section. He says, what's up, Ron? Joining late, just got home from work and about to enjoy the mow. Good man, I like it. So if you want, put the live stream on while you're mowing. You can do that. You can listen to us talk while you're mowing. Always good stuff. I'm good to listen to while you're out there doing battle with the lawn. That's always a good thing. All right, so good question. This is a great question here from Greg about cleaning up your reel mower. He says, after mowing with your reel mower, what do you do to clean it off? I hear water can make things rust out if you don't blow it completely dry. Great question, Greg. So I do rinse my mower off with water after I mow every time, and I don't really have issues with rust. But then again, my mower gets used a lot. So if you were going to like rinse it off and then it was going to be like, a week or two before you mowed again, you're probably not going to be liking a reel mower very much if you're not mowing that often. But in my case, literally, I can tomorrow morning, if you guys want, I can do like a YouTube story and show you guys what the bed knife looks like. And the reel, there's no rust on the reel, no rust on the bed knife or anything like that, because the mower gets used a lot, right? So for me, I do rinse it off. I do rinse like the grass clippings and any little, dirt and soil that gets on the reel and the bed knife. I rinse those off. I don't leave that on there after I'm done mowing, and I only use water. At the end of the season last year, what I did is when the mower was all freshened up and put up for the season, what I did is I put like a light coat of like WD-40 on the reel and bed knife, and then I just put like a blanket over the mower to protect it so that there's no prevent rust issues. Probably not even really strictly necessary, but I would only use any kind of lubricant or any kind of preservative if you are going to put the mower up for a long time. But as far as like your during the growing season, you're going to be using the mower so often enough, there's not really going to be an issue with rust causing damage. At least it hasn't been the case for me. Greg, but that's a great question, but I would recommend that. Absolutely clean your mower up after you're done using it, especially if you're mowing like how I am in the early morning, because the wet grass tends to get clumpy and it will stick to different parts of the mower, and you want to get that stuff off. It's just you don't want to leave that stuff on the mower if at all possible. All right, so let's see what other questions we got going on here. Popo and Son Lawn Care says, hey, much love, bro. Check it in. Height of cut is at 0.13 milliliters, millimeters. Common Bermuda, Granite KBG, seeding with RN15 or Highlander here soon. I have ripples on my roadside area. I was saying I need to add 50% sand, 50% topsoil. I can't. Here's the thing. I don't know the conversion of millimeters to inches at the top of my head of like what that corresponds to. It sounds pretty low though. But yeah, if you can use a 50-50 mix if you want to go and level certain areas where you have ripples. We actually did that today. Like what you're discussing about like the little ripples in the lawn that you get every now and then, the vanity strip has some of those, and literally that is what we addressed when we did the leveling work today on the lawn with Alex and I did it. And so if you guys want to, make sure you use, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, and you guys like the 125 of you so that are in here now, if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, be sure to do that, because that way you're not going to miss out whenever that video comes out, because it's a cool video. It's a shorter one, it's not too long, and it shows you like my thoughts and process around doing exactly what he's talking about, like fixing little ripples in the lawn. Great question, Popo and Son Lawn Care. Thank you so much for chiming in. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. I've already took care of the super chats. B Brown says, "Hey Ron, thank you. I'm enjoying the live stream. I appreciate that, B Brown. Thank you so much. And for those of you that are enjoying the live stream, if you wouldn't mind, here's something you guys can do to support the channel that is absolutely free. If you just move your mouse over ever so gently to that like button and touch it, I would greatly appreciate it. It costs you nothing. It's an easy way to support the channel, and it will, tell YouTube to send more people our way to come hang out with us while I take a sip of my coffee. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Papa Mo's Low says, "Hey Jeanette, I learned the hardware that mowing higher the past 3 years, going low is showing how thin my lawn really was." It is true. Bermuda really, the biggest problem with most Bermuda lawns is that it's cut with, and I hate to say the wrong equipment, because really when you start to real mow, it's a commitment, right? But if you want to use the best tool for the grass when it comes to a warm season grass like Bermuda, it really is a real mower. But doing that means you're also committing to mowing twice a week. But the benefits of it is that you're mowing the grass at the height it's supposed to be mowed at, that it thrives at, and then you get that natural weed control. Like mowing Bermuda above 2 inches, it'll look okay, but it's never gonna look as good as Bermuda that's mowed shorter. Like literally, people go by and they look at my lawn. I've had people that drive by and they've asked me what kind of grass I have, and I tell them it's Bermuda. I told them it's the same thing you got on your lawn. Granted, I've overseeded mine with Arden 15, but as far as like your lawn can look exactly like this. It's just most of it is the mower. I mean, granted, I do a lot of other stuff, fertilizing and the carbon stuff and the soil, and just improving the soil as much as I can. Like that also matters too. But if there's only one thing you could change in your lawn, if I could tell someone to do one thing, like get a proper mower, or even if you have a rotary mower, lower it down, assuming you can, and mow more frequently. Like just doing that alone, doing nothing else, your lawn's gonna look better. I promise. Like I don't guarantee very many things, but I will guarantee you that if you mow a couple times a week, lower with Bermuda, it's gonna look good. It just will. All right, let's see what other questions we got going on here. So Daryl has a question about real mower question. He says, "I dulled the True Cut blades 2 days ago, sir. I hit a dirt patch, so I ordered a backlapping kit. Have you ever backlapped your True Cut?" I have not, Daryl. I've never backlapped it. I've never backlapped my True Cut ever. I've never backlapped any of my real mowers really. And normally, if they get dull, I'll just send them in. I just send them in to sharpen. But just check it. I mean, when you say it's dull, if you check it, and if you could take a piece of paper, like a piece of printer paper, and if it's still cutting paper, you're probably okay. I mean, just hitting a single dirt patch should not dull your real mower. 'Cause I mean, I've seen Alex when he's out there mowing sometimes, especially when he scalped his lawn with his True Cut, and he was definitely like hitting dirt a lot of times when he was doing that. And his mower still cuts paper, so he hasn't taken his in to get it freshened up as yet. So I wouldn't be so quick to say that you hit a dirt patch one time and that was enough to dull your mower. Check it with a piece of paper across the reel and bed knife, and make sure that if it's cutting paper, you're probably still good to go. But I would you can try a backlap kit; it won't hurt anything. But if it's really that bad that it's not cutting anymore, it's probably time to take it in and get it sharpened. That would be my recommendation. All right. So the next question here is around overseeding and pre-emergent. So Rohan and Mystery 24 says, "Hey Ron, how long after pre-emergent can you overseed Bermuda? I'm in Dallas." So here's the thing. It depends on the pre-emergent. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on the pre-emergent. It depends on how much rain you get. It depends on but the general answer is four months. I'd say 3 to 4 months at a minimum is what you can expect. So really, if you put down pre-emergent in the spring, you really are giving up your ability to get the best possible result when it comes to overseeding. Now, here's the thing. Last year, I put down pre-emergent on my lawn in the spring, and I did overseed it, and I still got some Arden 15 to grow in. It didn't grow in super well. Like there were some patchy parts of it, and that's my fault because I put down pre-emergent. But I would not want you to do that. So you can get Arden 15 to germinate even with pre-emergent, but it's not going to be as good. And as expensive as it is, I mean, you're talking, I haven't even worked out how much it is per pound, but I know a 25-pound bag of it is like $400. So it's not cheap. And not only is it not cheap for the seed, but even more expensive than the seed is the amount of water that you have to use to get Bermuda to establish is a ton. Like the water bill is going to be more expensive than the seed. So I would almost say if you put down pre-emergent, I mean, you can try it if you really don't, if money's no object to you and you just want to try it and you want to go for it, you can, but just realize it's not going to be as good as if you did not put any down. It can happen, but it's just not going to be as good. And you will probably have some splotchiness in your lawn. So my best recommendation would be wait till next year, unfortunately. But if you want to try it, you can, but just go into it knowing that you're going to have a really expensive water bill and then it might not work, but it's an experiment. You can try it out if you want. All right, great question. All right, let's see what other questions we got going on here. Joanne Lampron says, I really love your logo. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was really cool. A guy, actually, I got it developed on Fiverr. A guy in Bangladesh did it for me. It was really cool. He's like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know, something cool. He's like, well, there's lots of things that's cool. Just find cool. I said, well, I'm all about really teaching people and talking and like being a communicator. And it's also going to be on YouTube. So they said, okay. I said, so do something cool. So if you look at it, the way the logo is, like what it actually stands for is the red and the blue are like chat messages going back and forth because I try and like talk to people in the comments and, interact. And then the blue in the lower right hand, in the lower middle, if you kind of look at it, that's a play button, right? So kind of like YouTube hitting play. So it's kind of like all ties into like YouTube. So if I don't do YouTube anymore, I need a new logo because this is really all about YouTube, right? But yeah, that's the whole, that's the ethos behind the logo. Thank goodness I got an actual professional to do it because had I done it myself, it'd been like a stick figures job. It'd look horrible. All right, let's see what other questions we got going on here. Always Son Pritchard says, I follow you and a few other lawn care guys you came across as the most genuine, great stuff. Thank you. So there's lots of good. I would not say that. There's lots of other really, really good lawn care creators out there. I am not, there's lots of guys that are really out there just trying to help people improve their lawns. One thing I would say is don't take the fact that someone sometimes recommends a product or something as a means that they're not being genuine. I mean, if someone is telling you that like their way is the only way that you can only use my product to get a great lawn, that I might take some pause with. But I mean, here's the thing: creating videos, creating content is a lot of work, and it's I don't blame creators for wanting to be compensated for it somehow because it does take a lot of work to put together a really good video. But at any rate, I appreciate it. Oisan, really, I thank you for that, and I hope you continue to watch the channel. And I will do my best to continue to be genuine because, like, literally with me, what you see is what you get. I mean, you can ask Alex anytime. He tells me like there's something weird going on with his lawn. I'm like, I got something to fix that, man. And I'll run over and help him out with it. So I really, truly just want to help all you guys really get amazing lawns. Granted, I do enjoy the store and the course and being able to turn into a bit of a business to some extent. But really all that is it allows me to spend more money on making better content. Like when I did that video on leveling, good example, right? Like I actually bought that carbonized PN, right? It was like, $400 something and I had to go spend and go buy it. And had I not been monetizing the channel somehow with like the t-shirts and like the super chats, I'd be coming out of pocket to do that. But because you guys support me, I'm able to make the content better. So literally, like the money that you guys put into the channel literally goes right back into making the content better. Like I can do bigger and better content based on what you guys do. Because I'm trying to get the channel to be better, and the best way to do that is to invest in it. So I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys so much for trusting me with a bit of your time. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Dimitri says, Ron, you won't believe this, but probably will. I just broke a hole in my irrigation pipe with a pickaxe trying to relieve compaction in my soil. Oh man. Oh, that stinks. Well, I don't think you've top dressed yet, right? So let's look at the bright side. At least you haven't top dressed your lawn yet, so you can get it fixed. If you know exactly where you broke it, you can get that repaired, but do not, a pickaxe can do a lot of damage. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That stinks. Just get it fixed and move on. I mean, like my real mower, when I hit concrete with it, I was very unhappy. I was, called myself all kinds of really, really not so nice names. I'm like, you're an idiot for doing this. But you know what? It was just turned into a learning experience. You guys got to see some cool content over it, right? So you'll fix it, you move on, and you won't ever do that again, right? So no biggie, no worries about it. All right, let's see what else we go. Yep, LG, you're right. Josh Habib is always one-upping everyone else. That is his style. All right, let's see what other questions we got here. Dimitri says, since you a pick, feel free to share to teach folks what not to do. Thanks so much, Dimitri. I will grab it and I will show it next week because I can't pull up email while I'm doing this because it's believe it or not, like I'm multitasking, looking at chats, doing super chats. It's really hard to like do multiple things at the same time. But I will promise you it will be in the live stream next week. I will do that. Very, very cool. All right, let's see what other questions we got going on here. Josh, looks like you have a lot of desire for your designs, man. I'll have to get like Ron Henry by Josh Habib, having you do all the designing. All right, and Michael, you're very welcome for your help with the soil test results. Let's see what other questions we have coming up. So Austin B has a question about dethatching. He says, any need to dethatch Bermuda when keeping the height of cut at 1/2 inch? If so, when? Okay, so there are different opinions on this, Austin. I will tell you from my experience, okay? I've only dethatched my lawn. Like when you say dethatching, I guess you're talking about like an actual physical dethatch, like a power rake, right? That's what I think you're talking about. I've only done it once. And it was cool to see like 6 bags of other material come out of the lawn after scalping. So I thought I'd done a pretty good job with scalping and removing material. But so the dethatcher did clean up the lawn some. It did. The biggest benefit to the dethatcher, I'd say, is it got rid of some of the thatch, a little bit of thatch that was there, but more than that, it stood up like any of like the dead runners or dying runners from when the lawn was in dormancy. It stood those up, so the next time I mowed, I was able to cut them. So there's the real benefit to that. As far as if you need it when you're at a half-inch height of cut, it's hard to say, man. I mean, again, this is the first time in like 6 years I've ever done it, and the lawn does look really good. It's hard to say whether it would look this good had I not dethatched it, because I did the entire thing. But I don't know. I mean, I think it cannot hurt. Let's just say that, right? It's not. There's no negative to doing it, really. But is it strictly necessary? I can't say for sure. I'm going to kind of lead towards no, but there are people that swear by it. So I'm only offering my experience. Like if you ask Sunny Bermuda or some other people that have the dethatchers, they love it. They do it all the time and their lawns look great. So I think there's multiple ways to get a great lawn. If you have the ability to dethatch it, go for it. But I've only done it one time, so I don't really have a big pool of knowledge to be able to pull from to say, yes, dethatching you must do. I can say aerating, yes, you really should try to do that if you can, because it's really great for your lawn. That I can talk to because I've done it a lot of times. Sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but thank you for the question, sir. I appreciate it. All right. So Scott O'Hare says, love the Carbon Pro G. Put it down monthly, almost a year, probably 9 months a year. Very cool, Scott. Yeah, it is awesome stuff, man. Thank you for chiming in, sir. I started using it last year, and I can only say good things about it. The only negative about Carbon Pro G is that I wish I could buy more of it, right? Because it can be an expensive habit to put down on your lawn, especially when you have a larger lawn, right? But it is an excellent product. Mirimichi Green does not mess around when it comes to making their granular carbon products. The liquid carbon products are even better, but the granulars are really, really good too. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Bucci is talking about Spectracide. He says, I just bought a 32-ounce bottle of Spectracide Weed Stop for lawns, ready to spray the bottle on my lawn. Anything I need to be aware of before I put it down, or just hook it up and start spraying? Not a whole lot, Bucci. The big thing you want to watch out for is don't go too heavy. Like, here's the thing. If we take like this as the soil test kit here as your lawn, right? So this is you're doing your lawn, you got weeds right here on your lawn, right? If you see a weed here, the temptation is a lot of times is to go like back and forth, like, oh, I'm gonna get the weeds really good with the Spectracide. And what you've done when you do that is you've done like that one application, you've done one application, two applications, three applications. So you have to be really disciplined to only go over one part of the lawn one time. Like the stuff is mixed and it's rated to work properly at that rate. You don't need to go super heavy. So I would say just make one pass over an area and then do another pass over an area. Don't go too heavy. Something else I might say is, if your lawn is not fully green, right now for most lawns, they're in a transition period, right? So like for Bermuda, most of them are coming out of dormancy. If you can wait until the lawn is fully green, so if you can give it like another 2 to 3 weeks, so mid-May, and then spray the Spectracide then, you're not going to hurt the green up. Like the one thing, the best time to actually take care of weeds in Bermuda is when it's fully green and it's growing really, like it's thriving, it's really going really super hardcore, or when it's dormant. If you spray when it's coming out of dormancy, when it's trying to come up, the issue with that, you're not going to kill the grass. If you do it now, you're not going to hurt anything. But like, even though that herbicide is rated to being safe for warm season grass, like it still does introduce some stress to the grass. Like you think about it, the Bermuda's trying to green up, it's really trying to grow and start doing its thing, and then you're spraying this chemical on it that, even though it's not going to kill it, is going to stress it somewhat. So if it were me, I would wait until your lawn is, more green than it is brown before putting the Spectracide on it. It's still going to kill the weeds anyway at that point. And it might work even better because when the heat's here a little bit more, the weeds are going to be growing more aggressively. So they're going to take up the herbicide a little bit better than now when we still have a little bit, cool snaps now and then. That's the only thing I would tell you. Just be careful with your application. If you can, wait a couple of weeks until the lawn is fully green. But outside of that, it's a great product. It should work well for you. Great question. All right, let's see what we got going here. Greg Lyon is a question about real mowing when there's dew on the lawn in the morning. He says, are there any issues with real mowing when there's dew on the grass in the morning? I hate waiting until late morning to have dry grass. Thanks. Absolutely no issues whatsoever. If you look at my lawn, again, I don't know how many of you guys watch the YouTube stories that I do, but like if I look at that, it's actually quite a few people actually watch them because there are, let's see, 27,000 views or something on the last shelf. But I mean, if you ever get a chance to follow me on YouTube and the YouTube stories, that's like stuff that you can only find on a cell phone. You'll see video of me mowing my lawn in the morning, like the last 10 days or whatever it's been. I've mowed every morning, like super early, like at like 7 a.m. I'm out there mowing, and there's tons of dew on the lawn. There's no issue whatsoever with doing that with a real mower, Greg. You think about it, like a lot of golf courses when they mow early in the morning, right? Because they got to get the greens mowed prior to play opening for that day. So they're mowing early in the morning. So the only negative I'd say to mowing early in the morning is that there's dew. The dew on the grass tends to make the grass more of a mess. Like, so it makes the mower like just more messy. So you have to clean it up when you're done. But outside of that, you're not, as long as the blade's sharp, you're not going to hurt the mower. You're not going to hurt the grass. There's no negative to it whatsoever. Absolutely feel free to knock yourself out. I have done that for years, no problem. Golf courses do it all the time, no issues. The only negative, like I said, is that it makes them more of a mess out of the mower. So that's the only negative. But yeah, feel free to knock yourself out. Wake up in the morning tomorrow morning and go mow. Have fun with it. You will have a great result. Thank you so much. Great question. All right, let's see what's got going on here. Emmanuel Alvarez says, thank you. You're very welcome, sir. And then Mohammed Amir says, Ron, love all your videos. Thank you so much for watching, sir. I really appreciate the support. And Kevin is saying, he says, I'm snitching on Soil 3 because LG won the last giveaway and my Carbon Pro G is my first name. So you're going to tell the world about the Soil 3, huh? Okay, well, something tells me it's not going to stay a secret anyway, even if I wanted to. But we'll see. All right, so what are the questions we got going on here? Brian Vahan says, I just put in an irrigation and there are rocks everywhere. Any advice to get rid of the rocks, or should I just top dress over the rocks, quarter in size? What effect on real mowing? Thanks. Okay, Brian, please listen to me on this one. I would absolutely do all you can to get the rocks, or the small ones, out of your lawn prior to top dressing it. If they're especially you're saying they're everywhere, because rocks and real. And here's the thing. I have done the research for you guys. I can tell you that concrete, like hard objects, like concrete, like rocks, and a reel mower and like a reel and bed knife, I was shocked, but they just don't play well together. Like bad things happen when you mix those two. And so yeah, I would say absolutely, if you can get rid of them, like get like a very fine rake. I know it's a lot of work, but if you can get a fine rake and rake a lot of that stuff out, it's going to be better, because one, the top dressing job is going to be better, because when you're top dressing, you're not going to be like having the rake run over rocks all the time, which is going to be kind of a pain. And you are going to save yourself a lot of headache and really an expensive repair bill, because you're going to lessen the chance of damaging your reel and bed knife. So absolutely, you want to get rid of rocks. So that's one negative of reel mowing, right? Is that it's like, especially reel mowing, you're mowing low, is that you got to keep stuff out of the lawn. Like you can't have ideally no twigs, no pine straw, definitely no rocks. That stuff is just really, really hard on a reel mower. Whereas a rotary, you can kind of get away with it. I mean, it's hard on a rotary too, but people just don't realize it. But a reel mower, because it's a very high tolerance piece of equipment, like literally it's like a pair of scissors that you're cutting the grass with. Like it just doesn't tolerate getting nicks being, chunks being knocked into the reel or bed knife. It's just not a good thing. So I know it's a lot of work. I would do it before you top dress. I just would. I wouldn't. You're gonna thank yourself if you do that. And your wallet will thank you if you happen to hit something hit a rock with your reel mower. All right, LG says, hey, Ron, what happened to the weekly giveaways? By failure to win, I contribute to my drinking habit. Now that I'm not losing anymore, I'm sober. So here's the thing. The giveaways will probably come back in the fall, I'm thinking. Because right now, there's like 130 people in the live stream. Can you imagine if I said, okay, we're now going to do a giveaway for some stickers, or, maybe something from Richie Green or something like that. And I said I had to ask a question. Like, it's going to take literally like 45 minutes to go through and do it. It's going to be a pain. So I need to actually change the way I'm doing the giveaways, because like the way I was doing it last fall doesn't scale very well, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna have to figure out something for the fall, but in the fall, I promise giveaways will come back. I'll try and do one over the summer, but it's not gonna be in the traditional way, because there's just no way to actually do that without making a bunch of people mad and just honestly wasting a lot of your time while I'm like writing down everybody's name and like running a random number generator in Google. So I've been conscious of that, and I'm going to bring it back, but I got to figure out a way to do it that is not going to waste too much time. Because I know you guys, I'm already taking much of your time by being in here, so I just want to be respectful of your time. But point taken, point noted, LG. Thank you for keeping me honest, sir. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see here. Yes. So yeah, and as far as what Josh said, yeah, send me an email, Scott, with your email, and I'll connect you and Josh Habib, get you guys hooked up. All right, let's see what's got going on here. A good question from EB. It says, mulch or bag during the cutting season? My opinion, you should mulch. I do not bag my clippings. I don't put like the grass catcher clipping on. The only time of the year that I will do, I should say this, I'm saying never, but the only time of the year that I will bag clippings are twice in a season. That is whenever I scalp the lawn in the spring And that is whenever having company over, like say for like the 4th of July, and I want the lawn to look its absolute best. I don't want to even have like any little like dead grass clippings. I want it to be just as perfect as I can, so people can come over and like light fireworks off on it and mess it up. When I'm doing that, I will bag clippings for that mow. But as far as a matter of like practice, I do not bag clippings all the time because I don't believe in throwing out like perfectly good fertilizer. I just don't, there's no reason. Plus I got to get rid of it. It's like another step that I prefer not to do. So if you are mowing frequently, EB, it is better for your grass. It's better for your soil to just simply mulch the clippings. If you're mowing once every 2 weeks, you might want to bag because what's coming off is going to be long pieces of grass and it's going to look really ugly and it's going to look unsightly. But if you're cutting frequently, twice a week, the clippings are going to break down really easily and it's free fertilizer, free organic material for the soil. So no issues with that whatsoever. Great question. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Other questions we have. Josh Habib chiming in. He's saying, Ron, I'm pulling the trigger on that AccuGauge, but there are a billion add-ons. I need your spec so I can order mine. My height of cut is 0.625, so just over a quarter inch, and I don't think my 11 blade likes being that high. Yeah, Scott. Can I pull this off without making a mess of the live stream? Let's see if I can do this. See if I can do this really quickly. As far as specs, hang on here. You guys can see my PJ pants. All right. So as far as what I am dealing with for my AccuGauge, there's nothing really special. I have the gauge guard, and I've got. Let's see here. I can pull this out and show you real quick. Accu products are like this. So this is my AccuGauge. The only option I've really got on there, a couple, I did not go with the electronic gauge option. I have this regular dial indicator. And then I've got this gauge guard, this bar here, so that if you were to drop it, heaven forbid you're able to drop it, the dial indicator is protected, right? You've got something here, and you've also got a handle to hold it against the bed knife. The only thing I would do if I were gonna do it all over, they do make an attachment, like a hands-free attachment, so it will kind of like, I think it's magnetic. I would get that addition as well, Josh. That's the only thing I would change about this, but other than that, this is what I'm rolling with. This is what I use to check the height of cut on my my Greensmaster and TrueCut. And the only thing I'd say is get the magnetic hands-free attachment and be money. Good to go. And I think you're right. Bring it down the height of cut a little bit more will probably be good. I mean, 11 blade will work for that height of cut, but it really, like half an inch or a little bit lower is where 11 blade is going to really do well. Great question. All right, so let's see. We got a super chat here from Apollo Prime. Thank you so much, sir. Sorry for taking so long to get to it. I apologize. I'm blanket spraying perennial ryegrass. It's mostly weeds right now. I plan to aerate, level, and seed. I was using McLean and recently purchased a Greensmaster. I cannot wait to take it to the next level. Thank you so much, sir. You're very welcome. Yeah, I'll tell you, nothing, not to throw shade. I'm not saying anything wrong with there's anything wrong with the McLean or TrueCut or any other mowers, but like there's nothing, if your only criteria is best quality of cut, nothing cuts like a greens mower. Like Baron, like that's like full stop. Nothing cuts like a greens mower. It's a whole nother level. But again, it should cut really good because they're super expensive when they're brand new. So it's, it does a good job, but it's not really surprising that it does a good job because it should, given what they cost, right? But awesome, sir. Sounds like you got a great plan. If I can help with anything else, feel free to reach out to me. There's my email address, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I'll do my best to help you out. Awesome job getting a Greensmaster. All right. Peg Junk has a question. He says, at Ron Henry, I'm out here in Northern California fighting this salad bar. I know Bermuda is in there, but what should I focus on this season? Okay, so what I would do is kind of what we did with Alex's lawn. So what I would do, Peg Junk, is if you know you got Bermuda, if it's the dominant grass type in your lawn, when the heat gets a little bit better, which is it probably is in Northern California. I'm not sure where in NorCal you are, but when the grass is growing or growing well and the weeds are growing really well, like meaning they're trying to take up nutrients, that same Spectracide product that I recommended, I would blanket spray the entire lawn with that. So at that point, the Bermuda is going to be trying to grow. It's going to be trying to do its thing. And the weeds, especially, are also going to be trying to grow and take in nutrients or take in whatever you spray on their leaves. So at that point, it's a perfect time to put down to blanket spray with like that Spectracide. That's going to knock the weeds back. At that point, what I would do is if you have a rotary, this is one of those times where a rotary is actually pretty good to have. If you have a rotary, I would mow the entire lawn with it and bag the clippings. So bag up all the weeds as you're cutting it, right? And at that point, do it as low as you possibly can. So if you can get down to 1.5 inches with a rotary, assuming that's what you're using, that would be ideal. And if you can start maintaining that, to start cutting the grass at that height, the Bermuda was going to be encouraged to grow, and that is going to help a lot with with weeds. I mean, Bermuda is excellent weed control when it's mowed short. But that would be my prescription. That is what I would do. Once the lawn is greening up, blanket spray it with like that Spectricide, get the weeds to die off or knock them back a little bit, mow it with a bagger, bag up all the clippings, and then start mowing your lawn a lot. And the Bermuda is going to do what Bermuda does. It's the reason why it's banned in many subdivisions is because it's just so aggressive when it's mowed short. So that's what I would recommend that you go with, sir. But wait to do that until a little bit later in the season when the lawn is growing and everything is like greening up more, because that is going to be more effective. The herbicide is going to be more effective against the weeds, and the Bermuda is not going to be hurt by it as much as it is if you were to do it right now when it's coming out of dormancy. Great question. And I'm sorry you're dealing with that, but you know what? It can get better. Don't worry about it. You absolutely can get it better. You got the best grass for taking care of weeds. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. Kelsey's talking about the giveaway saying, I dominated the loser circle last winter. I think Ron intentionally rigged it so he'd have another living subscriber. That's not true, man. It's RNG. It's Google. It's not me. You guys saw it. I did it live. I did nothing to mess with the results whatsoever of the live stream, of the giveaway. Not at all. Let's see. JG, you can get past it. Everybody has squirrely moments on camera. You get better at it. I mean, if you guys want to see how terrible I was, go look at some of my older videos, and they were absolutely awful. I mean, even my videos from earlier last year were not that great. George reminds me of that. Whenever Princess Cut Lawn Care looks at my videos, he always tells me, hey man, you got to bring back your intro. It was really funny. I always crack up laughing whenever you did that. So you get better at it from doing it. Like, being on camera or talking to like an inanimate piece of glass is not normal for people. But you get better at it the more you do it. So just work at it. You can do it. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Guillermo Bonilla says, how do you fix ponding? I'm not sure what you mean by ponding. I don't know what that is, Guillermo. If you're talking about like a drainage issue, if the lawn is set up to where the water has somewhere to go, meaning like there's not a part of your lawn that's actually a bowl. If you have a part of your lawn that's actually a bowl, then we got to do something else. In that case, I'd say like probably bring in like a drainage professional that can put in like a catch basin or maybe a French drain, something to kind of divert the water away from that low spot. You may have to do something like that. If it's not that case where you don't have like where the lawn is physically like a bowl, like water's trying to pool in one area. Something that worked really well for me, it's kind of an extreme way, is like top dressing, like adding a bit of sand to the upper part of the soil. Does a lot for drainage issues and for water retention at the surface. But it's hard to know exactly without knowing. By ponding, I'm assuming you're just talking about like a drainage problem. I'm not sure if it's something else. But if it is that, my only recommendation would be to like do some top dressing or add some sand to the lawn. If that's not the case, bring in a drainage professional and see what they say as far as taking care of getting rid of the water in that area. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, but I don't want to lead you in the wrong direction. Great question. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Robert Mahoris chimes in. He says, Ron, got on really late. No problem, sir. You're here. So I hope you all are having a good night. We are surviving, sir. So I'm thinking about overseeding Arden 15 on my Xeon and Mayer Zoysia this summer. I am currently scalping and sanding the lawn. I would not do that. I would not mix Bermuda and Zoysia. I don't think, here's why. So like, here's the thing, overseeding Bermuda with Bermuda in most cases is a bad idea. Most cases a bad idea, primarily because one, it's hard to do because it takes a lot of water, a lot of prep. You have to get everything right to make it work. It's normally a bad idea because most people don't have the irrigation to pull it off properly. And then the second thing is that if you get a Bermuda that grows really slowly versus one that grows faster, the lawn is going to look weird. Like the parts where the Arden 15 took are going to look weird from the other parts of the lawn that are growing at different rates, right? The nice thing with Tifway 419 and Arden 15 is that they grow at relatively the same rates, and from a texture standpoint, they look similar. Zoysia and Bermuda, regardless of what people say, they look different. They look different, and most importantly, they grow way differently. Like Zoysia grows at a much slower rate than Bermuda does, and Bermuda is a much more aggressive grass than Zoysia is. So I would not recommend doing that. I would not mix Arden 15 with your Xeon, with your Zoysia lawn. I mean, you can, if you want to get rid of the Zoysia and put in Bermuda, like that's doable because Bermuda, again, if you got the irrigation to pull it off, seeding it That's a thing, but I would not like overseed Zoysia or with Arden 15. I think you're not going to like the results. Even if it takes, you're not going to like the way it looks because they just grow so differently. It's going to look weird. So I wouldn't do that one. That's one I'm going to try and steer you away from. You can try it if you want, but I want to go on record saying that I think it's not a great idea, mainly because of just the appearance wise is different, and then more importantly, the growth characteristics are different. Like Bermuda grows way faster and than Zoysia does. So just something to consider. Let me know what you end up deciding. After all, great question, and we will go from there. Let's see what else we got going on here. Gumero says he has some brown spots on the Bermuda. That could be for a couple of things. Could be fungus. Could be if it's thin. It could be that it's if it's shade. Shade will cause Bermuda to be thin. Like, and it doesn't take very much shade to get to be thin. If it's long, if you're allowing the Bermuda to grow really tall, that will also cause it to be thin. So mowing height could do it. Shade is in most cases it's a combination of the two. Most people that have really thin Bermuda are doing two things. They're mowing it too tall and they have shade. If you have either one of those, it can be thin. If you have both of those, it's going to be really thin. So we need to correct that if that's what's going on with your lawn, Guillermo. So great question. Let's see what else we got going on. What are the questions? Let's see here. John Doe says, "Hi Ron, what do you think about mixing fertilizers to get a high nitrogen and iron count? Think about using Scott's Max with I guess CIL, like his chelated iron. Thanks, Steve." So I would not put down fertilizers with the goal of getting excessive amounts of iron or excessive amounts of nitrogen. Out of those two, if you want to have a little bit more iron than is optimal in your lawn, that's fine. I mean, that's not going to hurt anything. But like a ton of nitrogen, like excess nitrogen, is only going to cause problems. Like you're going to have to be mowing it all the time. It can contribute to thatch. There's just no reason to give the lawn more than it needs. It's almost like you, right? I give the example of like what I do is for my lawn for fertilization is spoon feeding, meaning that I put down a granular once per month and then I put down a liquid twice per month. And both of those are relatively low rates. Like I use like about just under half a pound of nitrogen for the granular, and I use like a tenth of a pound of nitrogen for the foliar spray. So I'm in many cases under that pound of nitrogen per month that most people recommend for Bermuda. I'm under that, and my lawn still looks great, and I don't have a ton of surge growth. So really, you want to use I'm gonna say as little nitrogen, but you want to give the lawn what it needs and not more, because outside of that, it's not going to really use it, and you're just creating headaches for yourself. It's just going to grow like crazy and look unsightly, and there's just no reason to really to do that, John. So I would not do that. I'd encourage you to not do that. I would give the lawn, if anything, I like a lower. I like to go lower on the nitrogen. For if it's Bermuda, like under a pound, is what I like to do. Some people say more, but I like to go lower than that. And if you want to go a little heavier on iron to get the lawn to pop a little more green, that's not going to necessarily hurt anything. But high nitrogen, I would avoid. There's nothing good is going to come out of that. All right, let's see what other questions we got going on here. Let's see. We got Robert says, "Give me some traveling tips. I'm wondering as who's going to win. My yard is southern exposure, and some areas are filtered with sun for 4 to 6 hours." I'm not sure if you're talking to me, Robert, but 4 to 6 hours of filtered direct sunlight is not a lot for Zoysia. It might be okay. That's yet another reason to not do Arden 15, because Arden 15 is not going to do well in 4 to 6 hours of filtered sunlight. That's just simply not enough. Like Bermuda needs 6, 7, 8 hours of direct, the more direct sunlight, like literally from big glowing ball in the sky directly to the lawn, the better. Like not even passing through trees, like direct sunlight is what Bermuda loves to do really, really well. Zoysia will do better with filtered sunlight, but not so much Bermuda. All right, let's see what other questions we got going on here. Let's see. What do you do? This is a great question. I always get this one, and I don't know where this comes from. There must be somebody on YouTube that's always seeing to pick up course. I need to figure out who it is and ask and watch their video and figure out why. But it's saying, what do you do with the course after aeration? My first live stream. So Troy, I leave them on the lawn. I've never picked them up. A lot of people will ask me saying, why don't you pick up your cores? Because I can't think of a really good reason to do so. Like I've people that have asked me why I do it, why I leave the cores on the lawn, and I always respond with why not? Like, I mean, here's my reasoning behind it. Okay. Like it makes sense for golf courses. Like you watch a golf green, whenever they aerate those, They sweep all the cores off. They get rid of the cores because they want to get the lawn, they want to get the green sanded, and they want to get the green recovered and back to play as soon as possible. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for them to pull a bunch of cores out of the out of the green and leave like dead grass and soil all over. It just makes a mess, and it's going to slow down the process, right? But for a home lawn, which in many ways what I'm trying to achieve is not necessarily a golf green, is more like a really tightly mowed fairway, or like maybe even a tee box, maybe, right? Like I'm not hitting golf balls off my turf, but also like out of those cores, you've got soil, you've got grass clippings. So there's soil there. There's got some nutrients in that soil. There's organic material in those plugs. And literally when you pull cores out after 3 or 4 days, if it's dry, they dry out, and the next time you mow, they explode. They're gone, right? So I've aired in my lawn every year we've been here. It's been like 6 years we've been here, and I've never picked up cores, simply because I don't see a really good reason to do that on a home lawn. So I leave them down there. So there you go. I know there's probably people that say differently, but I've never understood why you would pick up cores on a home lawn. But there you go. And I will tell you that if you hire like Sandman top dressing, like Richard, you hire them to come out and do your top dressing, they will do like, they have like the Toro Pro Core, like a really like heavy duty core aerator. They will aerate your lawn and they will not pick up the cores. Like literally they'll leave the cores on the lawn when they're top dressing it. So good enough for a professional, good enough for me. All right. Great question though, but I get that one pretty frequently because I guess there's a big thing about not leaving cores on your lawn, and I'm not sure why. Green, yes, but your lawn, doesn't matter. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Lawn to Learn says, when are you going to break down and buy some rotary scissors? They're amazingly good. Here's the problem with those, man. Everyone I've heard sounds like a banshee. They sound like they are incredibly loud, and I just don't want, I probably annoy my neighbors enough as it is with me mowing all the time. I don't need to be cranking up like a rotary scissors on the lawn to add to that. Plus, outside of the area between Alex and me, like that little the swale area, there's not really a lot of places where I would really use it. Maybe around the mailbox, but outside of that, I can get that with a string trimmer, and it's just like another piece of equipment I got to buy, another piece of equipment I got to maintain. They're really loud, so that's why I've not done it. Now, granted, if I ever get to try one out one day, I might try one and be like, oh my goodness, this is like the greatest thing I never knew I always needed. You never know. But I've not tried one myself, and all the videos I've seen, I've been like, really loud. I'm probably gonna make a bunch of people mad if I get one of those, so I have not gotten one. So that's the reason why. All right. Daniel Ferris, no. Is morning dew not an issue at 7 a.m.? How does the reel blades and bed knife take the moisture? No problems whatsoever, Daniel. They because literally they only stay wet while I'm mowing. So I mow with it, and then I rinse the mower off, and then I dry it and put it up in the garage. And it's good to go. Yeah. So it's not not a problem. So I mow when it's wet, and I don't take it and put it back in the garage wet and got grass clippings and junk all over it. I rinse it off. And then it's fine because then it dries really quickly. You don't have what would happen is if you mowed your lawn and left big dense grass clippings all over it, like those grass pockets are gonna like hold on to a lot of moisture, and I could see rust becoming a thing if you did that. But if you mowed your lawn early in the morning when there's dew on the lawn, and then when you're done with it, you rinse all the dew off, meaning there's no grass clippings, there's nothing really to retain and hold on to all that moisture, there's not really a problem. And I've done that for years and there's never been an issue with it. So there's no problem whatsoever. As long as you're rinsing the mower when you're done, you should be good to go. All right. Manny Cheva says, hey, love your content. Curious, what do you do when you're not on the lawn? So when I'm not on the lawn, I am working. I do information security. I work in information security for, if you look at my LinkedIn, you can find out who I work for. So I don't need to say it here, but you can figure out, it's not hard to figure out who I work for. But what I do is I prevent bad guys from breaking into networks. That's probably the best way I can describe what I do for work. So whenever threat actors are trying to break into organizations to steal information or run ransomware, just in general, just create havoc and just do what bad guys do, my job is to prevent them from doing that. So that is what I do for work. And outside of work, I train in martial arts. So I am a Samdan, which is a third degree black belt in Tang Sudo. So outside of mowing my grass and karate and work, takes up pretty much all my time. Outside of that is just hanging out and going out to eat with the fam and doing fun stuff like that. So that is my life. Pretty boring. Grass, karate, and work. That's pretty much the extent of it. Let's see. Let's see what else we got going on here. Donnell Burrell, he says, what's up, Ron? Golf Course Salon Academy in the house. Yep, Donnell's in the academy. Thank you so much, Donnell. I appreciate it. He says, you may have already answered this. How is the new project going in the lawn, adding a carbon product and mowing every day? So yeah, it's doing really well, Donnell. This is what the front lawn looks like. So this is 1 week after doing the carbonized PN on it. A lawn is coming back beautifully. It's growing in really nice. That was literally taken this morning, early in the morning when I mowed it. And then mowing every day is going really well too. I mean, it's been fun, extra exercise, and the lawn looks great. So unfortunately, what I thought would happen is exactly what happens. If you mow your lawn once a week, it looks good. If you mow it twice a week, it looks better. Mow it 3 times a week, it looks even better. And if you mow it every day, it looks incredible. But I'm not going to be able to keep that up all season, but it's going to be a fun experiment for the next few weeks here. So we'll see. I'll definitely report back and see. And if you guys have been watching my Instagram and looking at the YouTube stories in the morning, you see what it looks like. The lawn looks really, really good. And it's not even into the growing season yet. It's not even like really popping really as yet. And it still looks as good as it's ever looked this time of year. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Some people talking about Greensmaster costs, and with a groomer, Jose saying $3,000 for a 2015 Greensmaster 1600 or 2400 for a 2014 thousand with a groomer on it. Wife says I can buy one for my 40th birthday if I lose 5 pounds by July 15th. Of the two, I'm probably going to go with the 2015 $3,000 Greensmaster, because for most people, they're not going to be able to take advantage of a groomer on their lawns. It's just going to be something that you're going to either end up like raising it up really high or taking it off completely. So I would just go for the 2015 unit. A little bit more money, but that is what I would do if it were me for most lawns. Unless you're mowing like well under half an inch, you're not really going to take advantage of a groomer, and it's just like one other thing to have to maintain and break and buy parts for and this kind of thing. So that would be my recommendation, Jose, if you were asking. All right, Manny Chavez says, have you ever considered trying the next products? I've not tried any of them. I can't say I've never considered trying them, but I have a stack that works for me, and I'm pretty happy with. Like I do a lot of the work with Miramichi Green, and I like their products. Before then, I was using like the some of the Lesco products, and then as far as fertilizers, I like the Bio Pro, like this one here. This is what I use for my liquid fert, mainly because this guy is also fairly quick release. It works well. It mixes really well. Because the big thing for me, right, is whenever I spray my lawn, I spray a lot of stuff at the same time. So when I spray my lawn twice a month, literally the mix is that Turfplex, and then the stuff that's in the carbon kit, which is available here at the Golf Course Lawn Store. But the 3 things that also go down with it are Release Zero, which is a micronized liquid carbon, NutriKelp, which is a very, very light fertilizer, but primarily what you're putting that down for is 24% kelp, and then a biostimulant, which is called BioSpectrum. So literally like 4 different products are being mixed in my sprayer at one time and going down on the lawn. I want to make sure that when I put all that stuff together, it's all going to mix nicely and work nicely. And I have a combination that works, so I just don't see any real need to change it. That's why when you guys notice, you'll never see me say really anything negative about most any other products, because if you find something that works and you're getting good results with it, there's not a whole lot of reason to change. Like a lot of people will every year they'll change fertilizers, and if what you're using is working if you're using the next products that are working great, John Perry, the guys that run Greene County and make those products, they stand behind them. They're really good products. A lot of people have really good results with them. So if you're using them and they work great, stick with them. I just have a set of products that work really well for me, and I've not seen a reason as yet to really change from them. So that's the whole reasoning behind that. Great question. All right, let's see what other questions we got here. Doug M says, Ron, what's the difference between Essential G, Carbon Pro G, and Carbonized PN? You top dressed with the other day. Pros, cons of each. Okay, great question. So I have a video on that actually answers the question about Essential G and Carbon Pro G, but here's the quick answer. So Essential G and let's start over. So Carbonized PN and Carbon Pro G are very, very similar. Like literally, like they are the same product with the exception of Carbon Pro G. You can think of it as carbonized PN in a prill form and with a micronutrient package added to it. So that's the big difference. So carbonized PN is 50% biochar, 50% compost. Carbon Pro G is 47% biochar, 47% compost, and it has a micronutrient, like a biostimulant package added to it. So Carbon Pro G is a really, really good product for something that you want, if you want something you can apply in a spreader, right? Something you put down on your lawn and easily cover your entire lawn with. So for top dressing, carbonized PN is probably a better choice. Or if you're just trying something you want to mix with sand, carbonized PN is a better choice for that. If you want something to monthly feed your lawn that's in a prill that's really easy to apply evenly, that's where Carbon Pro G comes in. And then Essential G is like the new kid on the block that has the compost, it has the biochar, but it also has silica in it. So they've stepped up a little bit, saying, hey, let's try a new formulation. We're going to go with compost. We're going to go with biochar. We're also going to add a bit of silica to it to try and see if we can improve the physical strength of grass. So Essential G is the new kid on the block. As far as availability, Carbon Pro G you can only buy at Site 1. Like it's a product that Mirimichi Green makes for Lesco. So the only place you can buy it, Site 1. That's it. Carbonized PN and Essential G you can buy. Essential G is available at the Golf Course Lawn Store. You can literally go here, and it's actually on sale now at $55 a bag, shipped to your door. And then carbonized PN you can also find in other places too. So that's the big thing. That's the big difference between them. They're all excellent products. They're all made by the same company. I can't really pit one against another. Say they're all one is necessarily better. They serve different purposes, but they're all excellent. You put any of them on your lawn, you're going to get a good result. So there you go. That's the comparison between all the Mirimichi Green granular and soil products, the non-liquid products anyway, in like a few minutes. All right, great question here. Let's see what we got going on. Launch Learn says I'm in $300 on my 11 blade for my 2004 GM. Great stuff. Yes, you got a really good price on it. That's an awesome price. All right, so Calvin Winston says, thanks for the great content, Ron. I live in Marietta, so I'm following up your tips closely. Awesome. Yeah, it's always good to find people that are local in Georgia because it's true. Like whenever I'm doing on my lawn, you can do on yours. But the big thing, and I have to kind of qualify this too, right? Like a lot of times you guys see me do things on my lawn, and I do them a little bit earlier in the season for a couple of reasons. One, my lawn tends to be a little bit further ahead than most people's lawns because I baby a lot, and it gets pampered and it greens up sooner. But I also put out content a little bit sooner, so it's out and available. So that when your lawn gets to where it looks like how my lawn is looking, you've already got the content available, right? So that's the reasoning behind it. So even if you see me doing something to my lawn, the big thing I'd say is don't necessarily say Ron's doing this now, so I should be doing this right now. Look at the color or look at my lawn and compare it to how your lawn is currently looking. And if they're not comparable, I'm not saying it's going to look exactly the same, right? It doesn't have to be as deep green or that kind of thing. But in other words, if my lawn is 100% green and your lawn is still fully in dormancy, you probably shouldn't be spraying the level of fertilizers that I'm doing on my lawn on your lawn at that time. So you want to make sure that your lawn is kind of tracking along. And if it's a few weeks behind, look at like the content that I put out like a couple of weeks ago, because that will tell you like what you probably should be doing for a lawn that is just coming out of dormancy. But yeah, great point, Calvin. I really appreciate you following the content. Always nice to see another person in Georgia that is serious about their lawn. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for following the content. I really appreciate it. All right, so we got Love is talking about leveling. Another leveling question. My favorite type. He says, I am trying to make my backyard lawn that has hard clay soil to grow Bermuda. I've already ordered my R15 seeds, and will order my topsoil and will put down 1 inch depth of topsoil. Okay, so here's the thing, Love. If Bermuda is not, Bermuda will grow in clay. Bermuda will grow in anything. I mean, unfortunately, it could almost grow in concrete if you let it. So the thing I wonder, if it's not growing in your hard clay soil, if you're getting enough sunlight, so there's no shade issues, and you're mowing it, so you're mowing it low, Bermuda should grow there. So if it's just like, the lawn's been abused, it's got no nutrients, and it's maybe that's what's causing the grass to not grow well there, and you're trying to put down the soil and you're just going to go through and just seed the entire lawn. That's really cool. I mean, if you're not, you didn't say you're overseeding. It sounds like you're going from scratch. That's a really cool option. But the thing to keep in mind when you are seeding Arden 15, like here's what I would do based on what you just told me. Here's what, if you want my opinion, given that it's super hard clay soil, a couple things. One, if you've not got a soil test done as yet, get one done. Because if there's something else going on with the soil other than it being hard clay, we want to correct that or start working on correcting that before you spend a bunch of money bringing in topsoil and putting down R15. As far as the soil test that I recommend, it's this one. The one is called My Soil, and you can get it at the Golf Course Lawn Store. When you pick it up, I'd highly recommend you get one of these guys. This is like the soil probe tool. There's like a kit that they have. I think they call it the starter kit that's on the Golf Course Lawn Store. And that is what I recommend. So let's soil test your lawn as it is now. Once we do that, and before you put down that topsoil, it sounds like you're a prime candidate for core aeration. So not just the liquid aeration. This is when we're gonna have to go out and you're either gonna do it yourself or you're gonna pay someone to come out and aerate the lawn. Like literally have them beat up the lawn, like punch a lot of cores, pull a lot of cores out of the lawn, beat it up, really break up a lot of that compaction. And then when we get our soil test results back, we'll know, hey, this is what we're gonna put down. We know what kind of fertilizer we need to apply. If we need lime in the lawn, which you probably will if you're in Georgia, you'll know exactly what to apply to it. And then you put your topsoil down, you put your Arden 15 down, and you're gonna give yourself the best chance for success. That is what I would do given what you are describing. And again, the soil test kit you can get on the golf course lawn store, and they ship really fast. You get your results back in like literally a week from the time you send them out. That is what I would do. And the only last thing to close out before we move on to the next question is if you're seeding Bermuda, make sure you have irrigation or some way to water it, because the hardest part about getting Bermuda established from seed is it takes a tremendous amount of water. Like literally for 3 weeks, the lawn cannot dry out. So like literally that's going to mean 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, evening time, you got to be watering the lawn. So if you don't have irrigation, you're going to need it, or you're going to need some way to get water in the lawn. Something that can help with that as well, also on the golf course lawn store, is a product called Hydrotain. That's like a product that helps the lawn hold onto moisture. Like that is something you can add to this as well. That will help. Actually, I'll show you here. I'll show you the products I'm talking about. This product right here, Hydrotain. You can get that. Like that's a really good product for helping reduce the water requirements of the lawn. Like it says, it cuts water requirements to 50%. This is something I would also add as well to your seeding project. I'm going to be doing it when I overseed this year. And then as far as the soil test kit, when you go to the golf course lawn store, this guy here, the starter pack is what I'd recommend. The one that has the probe and the soil test kit. And that's the most advice I can give you. I think it's going to give you the best chance for success. Yeah, I think that's it, man. Water it a lot. Make sure there's no shade, and good luck. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to look awesome when it's done. All right, and I have already answered your question of how do you prep your backyard. I just gave you the entire recipe of how I would do it. Aerate, all those things I talked about. If you can spring for some essential G, do that too. Anything you can do to build up the soil and really, help it become really healthy is what I would go for. Great question. Let's see what else we got going on here. You said, does weed and grass killer take care of it? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I would not spray herbicides on the lawn when you're going to, well, you could probably do it before you seed. If you're going to spray like a post-emergent herbicide on the lawn, you can do that prior to seeding, but I would not, once you put the seed down, no herbicides on the lawn until the lawn gets established. But yeah, if you want to try and knock down the weeds now that are there, you can do that as long as you're not using pre-emergent, should be good to go. All right, let's see what other questions we got going on in the live stream. You guys are having a lot of fun. Looks like LG is giving Jose some advice on getting greens masters. Yeah, I agree with you, LG. Like getting a GM 1600 just for 25 pound weight loss in exchange, that's a fair trade. I would absolutely go for that. All right, let's see what other questions we got here, guys. Looks we are winding down. Actually not. Matt's got a great question here. He says, Matt G says, hey Ron, what's your normal height of cut and what rate do you apply the Lebanon 1608 at? Great question, Matt. So my normal height of cut right now, for both the front and rear lawn, the entire property is 0.495. So just under half an inch is what my bench height is set at. So it's cutting just say under half an inch is what my height of cut currently is. And the rate that I apply Lebanon turf, the 1608, is at the lowest rate, which is 3 pounds per 1,000. If you want to see a video that explains exactly how I apply it, the rates and all this stuff, I actually did a video earlier last week that will answer that question in detail. It is this one right here. I will link it in chat for you. Let's see, at Matt G. Yep, so at Matt. Let's see, get here at Matt G. There you go. That one there, it talks about the spoon feeding program. But the long and short of it, on the rate when you get the 1608, the humic max, it's going to have a rate for like 0.5 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet and one for 0.9. You're going to use the lower rate, and that's what I use on my lawn. I use the lower rate for the Lebanon 1608 because I supplement that with the Turf Plex with liquid fertilizer. So look at that video I just linked in the chat, and it's going to explain all of it really quickly, exactly of what I do on my lawn. Great question. All right, and Brian says, thanks, Ron, you're awesome. You're very welcome, sir. I appreciate the question. And let's see what else we got going on here. Love has a follow-up question saying, can I use Spectracide post-emergent along with grass and weed killer to kill the entire backyard? Can I use them at the same time? I'm trying to start a lawn and grow Bermuda from seeds. If you use just their grass killer, that should do all of it. Like if you use like Spectracide also makes a grass killer product, like it's a non-selective herbicide that will kill grass, kill weeds, kill everything. If you use that, you really shouldn't need to use the selective, because the grass killer is going to it should knock out everything. It's going to take out the grass and it's going to take out the weeds. So you probably don't need both, love. But yeah, if you're going to do that to prep for it, that's a good plan. Great question. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. We are winding down. You guys are having some good talks about using grease and applying stuff to your lawn. And Love is asking for a follow-up question. He's saying, in growing Bermuda seeds, do I need to put down a 10 fertilizer on the 1-inch depth of fertilizer at the same time as the Bermuda seeds? What other stuff should I be doing along with the seeds to germinate fast? Okay, great. So I answered what else I told you that you should do. You should core aerate. You should soil test your lawn. You should core aerate. Put down like some granular carbon, like an Essential G or Carbon Pro G. And the way I would do the 10, Love, is I would after you core aerate the lawn, I would do the 10, do the topsoil on top of that, and then do your seeding. And with Bermuda seed, remember with Arden 15, you don't need to bury it very deep. Do not bury the Arden 15 under an inch of seed. Like I think the label calls for something like a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch. So not very much. Literally, you can put the topsoil down, put the seed down, and like if you have like a leveling rake, like drag that all over it to kind of press the seed in and rake the seed in. If you've got like a roller or some way to kind of press the seed into the lawn, that's going to do really well. If you want to put peat moss down or something like that, you can do that too. I've never done it, but that's still another option. But do not bury the grass seed too deep. It's literally an 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch. It doesn't take very much as far as how deep you need to bury Arden 15. And then again, the big thing, and you didn't ask about that, but I'm just going to tell you, is water. Literally for 3 weeks, the lawn cannot dry out. You must keep watering it for 3 weeks. That is the hardest part of what you're describing. Everything else you talk about, like the aerating, there's fertilizer, everything else, that's easy mode. It's the watering that is the hard part to do to get Bermuda to establish. All right, great question. Hopefully I got you all squared away, but if I didn't, if you have any other questions, Love, feel free to email me here, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and we can talk about it some more. I think I covered pretty much everything, but if not, email me here and I'll do my best to help you out. So I want you to have a good result with it. Just know you're signing up for a really, really big watering bill to do this, but it's gonna look really cool when it's done, right? So totally worth it. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Let's see. Brian Laura says, an AccuGauge is $200. You don't need to spend if you're not cutting below 1/4 of an inch. Change my mind. I still want one, LOL. So yes and no. Here's the thing. I like using the right tool for the job, right? And literally with an AccuGauge, I can get both sides of the bed knife, the height of cut, like dead nuts. I can get them within like a couple thousandths of each other. So I can get them super close, right? Now, can you just use a straight bar and a ruler to get a very, get pretty close? Yeah, you can get close. You get a pretty good job, a pretty good cut out of that. But like anything else, right? Like with adding carbon to your soil, doing biostimulants, doing the soil testing, making sure you use the right fertilizers. It's not any one thing that adds up to a lawn looking phenomenal. It's like once you get to the point where you're starting to nitpick and you're really trying to get the lawn to look as good as you can, like it does make a difference that one side of the bed knife, like that one side of the bed knife is not lower than another. Like that's actually a huge deal. Because you think about it, like the thing you do more than spraying fertilizer on your lawn, than aerating your lawn, than top dressing your lawn is mowing it, right? Mowing is the thing you do more than anything else. So the thing that you do the most of, you really want to do as correctly as possible. So yes, an AccuGauge is $200. But it's like that's a great investment because it allows you to set up the piece of equipment that you're going to be using the most, and that honestly is going to have the biggest influence on how your turf looks as good as possible. So that's why I think it's completely worth it. I mean, you could be cutting it 3/4 of an inch. You'd be cutting it 1 inch. I would still use an AccuGauge if you're using a greens mower, because it's going to make sure that both sides of that bed knife are exactly the same height. So when you cut, you're not like literally cutting at an angle in every single pass and have the lawn just looking weird. So like, the thing you do the most, make sure you're doing it as correctly as possible. So hopefully that changes your mind. Brian, I'm not sure if I did, but that's the best I can do in a few minutes. How's that? All right. Okay. Jason is saying, he said, yes, it's not strictly necessary, but I have one to mow the green, so I may as well set it accurately for 1/2 inch. Yep, I agree with that. I mean, not strictly necessary, but like I said, if you're gonna do something, there's never a shame in doing a thing well. If you're gonna do something, do it as well as you possibly can, right? Because in the end, those small things add up to like a really good result. All right, we got a super chat here from William Foster. Thank you so much, William.
Super chat received.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. Thanks, sir. And let's see what else we have got going on here. Chris Furlong is saying, hey, my apologies for jumping in late until now. No problem, Chris. May I know if you would choose a swordsman or a let? My apologies if this was already asked. It was not asked tonight. And I've never used an allet, so I can't really say. So it's a hard question to answer. I will tell you that either one of them you're probably going to get a great cut with if you set them up properly. A lot of the allet guys really love them. They say they think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then and if you talk to the Swordman group on Facebook, those guys are pretty diehard too. So I think that either mower you're going to get a great result for. Here's how I would decide. All right. Here's how I'd make my decision. I would look in your area and see as far as getting a Swordman serviced or getting an allet service. Well, Swordman, you can send this stuff into Real Rollers and they'll sharpen it for you. So that one no matter where you are in the country, Swordman kind of has an advantage there. So I don't think you can do that with allet, right? So no matter where you are in the country, in the continental United States, a Swordman, you can get the real sharpers. That's a plus for the Swordman. But if you get the allet, you want to make sure there's someone in your area that can work on them if something breaks, because eventually something is going to break. Unless you're really handy with tools and you're gonna do it yourself. So I would make the decision based on which one I can get parts for easier and which one I can get maintenance done on easier, because to be completely honest, both of them are going to cut really well if they're set up properly. They're both good. It's not like one's going to cut like, way better than the other one. Like if all we're talking about is the best possible cut, buy a greens mower. But if you're anything below that, really just setting them up properly. If they're set up right, they're going to do a good job. And both mowers, I've seen like Sunny's lawn, which is cut with, I think, an allet, and I've seen lots of lawns cut with swordsman, and they all look really, really good. So you're not going to go wrong with either one. Just make sure they're set up properly and make your decision based on which one you can get parts for and can get fixed when it breaks in your area. That is what I would do. And thank you for chiming in. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. Molecular scientist is saying, molecular scientist, well, thank you for coming in, sir. He says, hey guys, I'm late. I had to apply fungicide to my fungustine. Oh, I wish Alan were here to see that. He might find that funny, maybe not. AKA St. Augustine. I'm in Texas. I also have Bermuda grass. I'm going to convert to Bermuda soon. Okay, so not really a question, just kind of saying a statement. Yeah, it's funny. I get a lot of questions around fungicide and St. Augustine. And even Alan, who has like a really good St. Augustine lawn, even he deals with fungus issues now and then. I mean, I have a light fungus issue in my Bermuda lawn, but the thing is, even if I didn't do anything, once the heat gets here and the Bermuda starts growing, it's going to heal from that little bit of damage and just do just fine. So the nice thing with Bermuda is that it just takes, it's a hard grass to keep down. It's hard to keep Bermuda down. Outside of shade, you really can't kill it. Even fungus is not going to, not going to permanently keep it nasty, especially once heat arrives. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Austin B's chiming in with a super chat. Thank you so much, Austin. I appreciate that, sir.
Super chat.
You said thank you for all the content accessibility. I try my best, sir. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know how long this will actually work. I mean, the channel is growing. If the channel grows to, people keep watching and I get to, whatever, 100,000 subscribers or bigger or whatever the channel grows, it is going to get harder to apply to every single comment like I do now. But I'm going to keep doing it as much as I can, and I'm going to try and keep helping you guys out as much as I can because it's fun. The way I always look at it as I'm looking here for the next question is, YouTube, there are hundreds of hours of content literally uploaded to YouTube every single minute, hundreds of hours, right? So the fact that you guys have a choice to watch, other lawn care content, or you could be watching something else, the fact that you choose to watch my content, and then even more than that, you choose to leave a comment to either say, hey, Ron, thanks, this was really helpful, or hey, Ron, you suck, this was not very good, or hey, Ron, you could do this better, whatever you happens to be, the fact that you take time to, one, click and watch the content, and then two, to even leave a comment, if I have the time to respond to you or help you in any way, it's the least I can do for you taking time out of your day to help me out or to watch the content. So that's why I do it. I mean, I try and think if I were on the other end, what would I want? I would want someone to answer my comment or at least acknowledge that I took the time to talk to them, right? And I can do that at this scale. As it gets bigger, it might be harder, but that's the reasoning behind it. So don't think that YouTubers that are much bigger than me, when they don't answer your content or answer your questions, that they're being rude. It's just if you have like hundreds of thousands of viewers and you have you get 50, 60,000 more views per piece of content, it's hard to answer every one. But right now I can do it, so I do it. And yeah, that's what it is. But thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that so much. All right, let's see what else we have going on here. And then Chris, I think I already asked your question about the swordman. And to keep off of the grass live cast, they are in the house. They're coming to chime in. What's going on? Happy Friday. Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. or sirs. I know it's like a squad of you guys, right? It's not like one. Thanks for coming to hang out. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And let's see. I've actually answered your question, Chris, about mowers. Let's see. So Maurice Anderson said, "Hey Ron, I emailed you a link, a description to an easy online tool you can use called Live Polling. It will track the names and points automatically. Check it out." Thank you, sir. If you don't mind, email me here. I think you said you emailed it. Yeah, you emailed it and linked it. Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out after the live stream. Thank you so much, sir. Because I am going to need something to figure out how to do, giveaways. So, I can't have LG, and between Moro and Josh and all those guys, man, they're hardcore, man. They want their giveaways, and I got to figure out a way to make this happen. But I also want to do it in a way that's not going to take up too much time in the live stream. All right. Brian has a question about what are some good resources for used reel mowers? Resources for used reel mowers. There's a couple. So Brett Grasscapades has some really good content on what to look for whenever you're buying a used reel mower. He's done a lot of great work on that. If you want, call up Reel Rollers. Call the guys at Reel Rollers and ask them run some stuff by them. They know a ton about reel mowers, and they can tell you what to look for, what issues you might run into. As far as where to get a used reel mower, like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, OfferUp, the Weeks auction. There's some auction sites where you can buy used reel mowers. So there's a lot of different places to get one. But as far as what to look for, there's already content. I don't have anything on my channel on what to look for when it comes to used reel mowers. But yeah, I think Brett Grasscapades has got some good stuff you can check out, and just look around some other creators and see what they've got in that space. But also just call Reel Rollers and ask them. Those guys will definitely help you out. They're really good guys in that space. All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. Let's see. NV Closet Bed Grower says, "Do you have any advice for growing turf grasses for residential use with only organic practices without chemical pesticides and herbicides?" That's a great question. So here's the thing. I do use chemicals on my lawn. Milorganite is an organic fertilizer. That's pretty organic as far as they go. I think Milorganite, Ringer, those are organic options. As far as a way to keep weeds out of your lawn, if you're going strictly organic, a lot of that, if you have a warm season grass like Bermuda, is mowing practices. So here's the thing. My lawn doesn't have any pre-emergent on it this year. And if you guys look at it, there's not like a huge weed outbreak happening. And a lot of that is due to mowing practices. So if you're going to go the organic route, you got to be okay with doing some manual weeding. You've got some options like Milorganite, like Ringers, like some of those. I'm not sure if Ringers strictly organic. I know Milorganite is. But Milorganite is as an organic fert. And then as for weed suppression, a lot of that's going to come from your mowing practices. So mow the lawn. If you have Bermuda, buy a reel mower and mow it short. Mow it at, if you can get it under an inch, like if your time allows you to mow the grass at like under an inch, you can get out there a couple times a week. That's going to do a lot for natural weed control. But there's not a whole else I can really give you to keep weeds out of your lawn outside of like relying on the grass type that you're using to be like natural weed control, if that makes sense. So that's the best I got for you. NV Closet Med Grower. There might be some other channels out there that people that do a lot of organics, but just to the top of my mind, if I were going to try and grow a Bermuda lawn and try and keep weeds out of it without using herbicides, I would just mow. I would do what I'm doing now. I would mow it a lot to keep it nice and short and dense. And I would probably use something like Milorganite as my fertilizer and just call it good. Very, very good. Great question. Let's see what else we got. And then Himwe says Kaboot for giveaways. Okay, I'll look into that one. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Chris Sobek, I've already asked this question. Says, do you pick up your cores after aeration? No, I do not. If so, what's the easiest way to pick them up? I don't know because I don't pick them up. You know what? One way I'd say if you have a rotary mower, that's a good time to use a rotary. Like you use a rotary and you can put the bagger on. You can use it as a vacuum cleaner to kind of suck up the clippings, to break them up and suck up the trash. Like that's a case where a rotary mower would probably work pretty well. But I don't have any direct experience with that because I don't pick up my cores. I never have. So yeah, that's a great question. I'm going through here, kind of burning through what other stuff we got going on here. I'm not sure what else we have. Papa Mo's listed as an FYI, Doc preaches to pick up cores or they will get smashed in the lawn and create dead spots. I don't know. Maybe that's been the case for him. I've not experienced that in my lawn. I don't have dead spots in my lawn after aerating it. I've heard that. That might be completely true, and I'm completely doing it wrong. But for 6 years, I've done it that way, and I've not really had issues. I've not really had issues with dead spots. Not that I would attribute to core aeration. I've had like some spring dead spot from fungus, but not like as a across the lawn kind of thing. So yeah. But thanks for chiming in, Papa Moslow. Now I know understand why he does that. But again, I've not experienced that for me. And it's just more work that I don't feel like doing, so I don't do it. See, and Night Fox, how you ask a question, just like what you did right now. Just ask it. So just type in there whatever your question is, and I will and I'll show up in here and I'll get to it and I'll answer it. Yep, there you go. Okay, let's see what other questions we've got here. Let's see. Daniel Ferris says, Ron, my last question of the night, I promise. Somehow I doubt that, but it's okay. You can ask another one. He says, what was your lawn at your previous home and golf coursey? Did you get it before the current place? No, it wasn't. So before here, I lived in a townhouse, so someone else just mowed the lawn. I never had to deal with that. And prior to that, the last lawn that I had to work on, let's see, last time before this one, when I lived in Texas, when I was in there in the early 90s or mid 90s when I went to school, my aunt that lives in Houston has a St. Augustine lawn. So that's my idea behind a lawn. But I was not really into mowing then. I only mowed just enough to, not get yelled at for the lawn getting too long. So I wasn't really into it. So this is the first lawn that I've really gone full tilt, done a ton of research, and have gone all out of learning the process and watching lots of great creators and learning from them, and just doing a lot of experimenting on my own to build this lawn. So no, this is the first lawn that I've done this on. Then it was replicated. My process was replicated last year on Alex's lawn over the course of 3 months. So I took the process that I used on my lawn and took it over to Alex's lawn, and in a much shorter period of time, because I knew what not to do with his lawn, and we were able to do it a lot faster. So there you go. And if you want to learn about that process, like the distilled process, two things. You can either go watch the Fix My Ugly Lawn series. So you literally can go and you can go here. I think I've got it. Yeah. So if you can go here and watch this series, it's like a 15-part series that talks about, of what to do to get a golf course lawn over 15 videos. Or you can sign up to this Golf Course Lawn Academy, which is there, golfcourselawn.com. That is the course that I built that is a very compressed recommendation, or all the details, everything I know around soil testing, soil pH, my entire process in a very compressed format, so you can get the results without a bunch of fluff. And it also gets you access to the private Facebook group where we have a great time. You get more access to me if you have other questions or just want to show me videos of things and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, to answer your question, this is the first time. It's been a 6-year process in the making, sir. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And somehow I think this is not going to be your last question, but we'll see. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. So Jay Gray says, I'm new. Can you go over if I'm able to use granular fertilizer in conjunction to liquid fertilizer? Thanks, love your videos. Yes, I can, Jay. There's actually a video that I released, literally the last video I released on the channel discusses that very subject in detail. So I'm gonna send it to you so you can put it in your to watch later. Right there, that's it. But in a nutshell, here we go. In a minute, how to spoon feed your lawn. And to do this, you're going to be using the products that I recommend, because the products that I mentioned, because the release rates of them, like the amount of slow release that's in them and that's quick release in the liquid, you need to use, at least, if not the products, the exact ones I recommend, ones that are very similar to it to get the correct result. All right. So the type of fertilizer you use actually doesn't matter if you're doing this. So for the granular fertilizer, what I use is a product called Humic Max from Lebanon Turf. It is a 35% slow release, which means 65% of it is quick release. I apply that once per month, the beginning of the month, one time at the low rate, which is 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet. All right, on an earthway spreader, that's going to be a setting of 14. All right, so you can do that once a month. To follow up with that, on the same day that I put down the granular fertilizer, I spray this product. It's called Turfplex 4. This guy, which is my liquid fert. It is also quick release. I spray that at the lowest rate possible. I spray that at 6 ounces per 1,000, which corresponds to about 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen going down on my lawn. I mix that with the Miramichi Green Carbon Kit. So these 3 guys here. So actually, I can, you know what? Let's do it this way. I can actually go to the store and show you exactly what I'm using. So I use this fertilizer, the Country Club 1608. This guy goes down at 3 pounds per 1,000 once per month. And then I mix that for the liquid fertilizer. I use the Turfplex 22.3. This goes down at the lowest rate. And guys, I cannot stress enough, literally the rates I'm telling you, they are low. You do not need to go heavier than that. Literally apply the Humic Max granular at the 3 pounds per 1,000. You don't need to go any heavier. Apply the Turfplex at the low rate, 6 ounces per 1,000. You don't need to go heavier. You can even back the Turfplex down a little bit, even below that to 4 ounces per 1,000 if you want. You don't need to go heavy. In addition to those 2, it also goes in my backpack sprayer are my carbon products. And what that is this. So this is the kit that I put together with Miramichi Green. It contains 3 products. It contains Release Zero, which is 10% micronized carbon. It contains NutriKelp, which is a kelp product. It's 24% kelp and has a little bit of phosphorus, a little bit of nitrogen, a little bit of potassium in it. And then finally is the Biospectrum, which is this guy. And what that is a microbial package that I add to the backpack sprayer that goes down on the lawn as well. So that happens, that liquid concoction happens twice per month. So the granular happens once per month. So I say, we'll use May as an example, okay? So the beginning of May, Humic Max would go down on a Saturday. The carbon kit, along with Turfplex, would go in the backpack sprayer, would go down on a Saturday, same day, all right? You're gonna wait till the next day to water the Humic Max in. Reason being is because the liquid products that I'm using are foliar absorbed. What that means is that they're absorbed by the leaf in the grass. So you don't wanna like spray them and then run irrigation really heavy and wash it all off. You wanna give it enough time to be absorbed. And really all it takes is a couple of hours for it to be absorbed by the grass. But I'll just say let's give it 24 hours. So you'll put down the Humic Max, you'll put down the liquid fertilizer, same day, wait till the following day, water the fertilizer, the granular fertilizer in. At that point, the liquid's already uptake, you're already good to go. And then 15 days later, in the middle of the month, you're gonna repeat that with just the liquids. So just the Turfplex, just the NutriKelp, the Release Zero, the Biospectrum, and that's it. That is how I fertilize my lawn. So I cover that in detail in the course, but you guys are getting to hear that for free tonight because you're on the live stream and you asked me, and again, I'm all about helping people out. So that is what I do on my lawn. Again, I cannot implore you enough, follow the rates that I'm giving you to the letter. Do not go heavier. There's no reason to go any heavier than that. Like literally the lowest rates for the Humic Max and the lowest rates that I specify for the carbon kit and for the Turfplex are gonna get you an excellent result. I promise you. Like literally, when you look at my lawn, that is exactly what I spray on my lawn. Like I'm not doing anything else outside of that. Like literally that is what I'm doing on my lawn. So yeah, it's a great question, Jay Gray, and now you know the secret sauce. You know exactly what to use. And you can substitute different products if you want, but you have to know, like you can't just go out and buy like a Scott's fertilizer and do this because like the release rate of the granular matters and the type of liquid fertilizer you use also matters, right? It's like because there are liquid fertilizers that are slower release and there are granulars that are slower release and that doesn't really work too well for what I'm doing in spoon feeding because I want the nutrients, I want the stuff to become available to the grass over the course of a month, right? And that's why I'm applying such low rates. So if you swap out the stuff that I'm using, you can probably put something together that works, but I can't guarantee the results you're going to get. And without actually you telling me what you're using, I'm not going to be able to tell you, yeah, that will work or that will not work. So if you want to do what Ron Henry's doing, buy Humic Max, buy the carbon kit, and buy Turfplex, and there you go. Now you know how to apply it. Great question. All right. Next up we got here is LG's talking to Hemi WK. He says, we've got some Mazama in one section of my lawn in Northwest Iowa, beautiful bluegrass, and Soto Sabish. Yeah, LG's got an amazing lawn. LG, I actually was going to show that. You sent me some pictures of your lawn. I was going to show people. I didn't ask you for permission. That's why I didn't show it tonight. But if you're cool with it next week, I'll show them the pictures of your lawn because his stripe action is on point, you guys. I'm telling you, nothing stripes like cool season grass. Bermuda looks pretty good, but cool season grass is just a whole nother level when it comes to that stripe action, man. It's something else. All right, let's see. Robert Jones has a question. He says, what's easier, bag sand or sand per scoop? If you're doing a large top dressing job, Robert Jones, getting a scoop or getting like a yard or like however much you need delivered to your driveway is going to be more cost effective. Like buying the top dressing mix in a bag is going to be more expensive and more work, and you're going to generate a ton of trash in the process because you're going to have all these bags you got to get rid of. As far as how much sand to use, for most people, a rate of 1 yard per 1,000 square feet for the initial top dress tends to work pretty well. Once your lawn is established and you've top dressed it a couple of times and then you're just trying to do some touch-up work, you can back that down a little bit. But for the first time, 1 yard per 1,000 square feet is what you're going to want to use because the worst thing with top dressing is to get started and then run out of sand. So that's the quick answer to your question. All right. And he says, so how's the lawn career superhero? No, not really. I'm just like a geek and karate guy. That's what I do. And I used to do a lot of competitive shooting, but ammo's gotten so expensive now that I can't really do that as much anymore. And I'm spending too much time doing YouTube and doing lawn stuff, so I don't have time. So there you go. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, and Brian Laura says, yeah, great point. The golf equipment gets hosed off every day after mowing through heavy dew. You got to leave them clean so they'll dry between uses, and that's exactly what I do. I mean, I have some friends that work on golf courses that are like greenskeepers, and literally, if you look at some of the YouTube videos on how golf courses take care of their mowers, they literally rinse them off when they're done, and they put them up because they're going to mow again the next day. So as long as you're not leaving lots of trash on the mower, like lots of grass clumps and stuff like that, that's going to encourage rust, give rust a place to form, you should be just fine. Let's see here. David West says, any tips on getting your neighbors to allow you to mow at 7 a.m.? Maybe several quick crates of beer. Thanks for all the content and for learning a lot, sir. So my neighbors have actually asked Alex, hey man, does it bother you guys when I mow early in the morning? And he said no, because they can barely hear it. So the one thing I will say is choosing the right mower matters. Like the Swordwind is pretty quiet. The Greensmaster is even quieter than that. It's a very, very quiet mower. You can barely hear it running when you're inside the house. You can barely hear the Greensmaster outside. It's a very, very quiet mower. So I would not crank up my True Cut at 7 a.m. Like that thing is like cranking up a battle cruiser, like you're ready to do war with the lawn. So part of it is your choice of mower. A greens mower, you think about it, like most golf greens, like especially in places where the courses are like interwoven with housing communities, so there's houses on the golf course. They still mow those greens in the morning, and you have to think part of the design criteria that Toro and probably John Deere have is we got to keep these mowers quiet because people that live in these really expensive, nice communities don't want to be woken up at like 6 a.m. when the guys with the mowers are out there mowing the greens, right? So that's probably part of why the greens mowers are also quiet. So part of why I'm able to do it at 7 a.m. is the mower that I use to do it is very quiet. I don't start up the True Cut until well after 8 a.m. if I'm doing like trim work. I don't start that mower up super early because it's just loud and obnoxious. But the Greensmaster, no issues whatsoever. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. Let me take a sip of my lemonade. Brian Laura says, hey Ron, when are you going to do a perennial rye overseed with the winter? Probably never. I don't think I will. I keep saying every year I'm going to try it, but I just don't want to have to put herbicides on my lawn in the spring, man. I'm too afraid of the mess. I mean, I think it'd look great in the wintertime, but then two things. One, I got to mow in the winter, and then I have to put like herbicides on my lawn in the springtime, and I don't want to do that. I am like anti-herbicide really outside of pre-emergent on your lawn. You want to limit how much herbicides you put on your lawn. And it's a great way to save money because think about it, pre-emergent, of all the herbicides, pre-emergent tends to be cheapest. I mean, granted, there are some boutique ones like Spectacle Flow that are a lot more pricey, but like prodiamine and even like Dimension, not super expensive. You start getting into some of these really exotic post-emergent herbicides, man, you better bring your wallet. They are super expensive. So, just using a good pre-emergent and mowing a lot is a great process that works well for me. Let's see. John Gotch says, how do I keep my Bermuda, how do I keep my lawn, which is Bermuda, my neighbor's lawn, which is St. Augustine, separated, especially on the front property lines? John, mow your Bermuda lower. That's going to be the best thing because there's not really, to my knowledge anyway, there's not really a herbicide that you can put on on St. Augustine that is not also going to hurt the Bermuda. But the one thing you can do is mow Bermuda shorter. St. Augustine does not like being mowed like at an inch and a half. Whereas Bermuda is like all day, every day, right? So if you mow the Bermuda, mow your part of the lawn shorter, any St. Augustine that grows in that section of the lawn is going to be seriously stressed, and the Bermuda is going to be able to put the smack down on it and make sure that your part of the lawn stays nice and thick with Bermuda grass. So the way I would do that is just use the grass what the grass likes to its advantage. St. Augustine likes being mowed tall. Bermuda likes being mowed low, so mow your Bermuda really low, and the St. Augustine is not going to like that. It's going to have trouble competing with the Bermuda in that case. That's the best advice I can give you. All right. Let's see. Jose said, Ron said, no one's lawn looks like my lawn. Wait a few weeks. That's it, man. That's what I like to hear, man. I like to hear it. Challenge accepted, right? I start throwing out a little bit of trash talk and you guys are going to come knock me down. That's what I hear. I want to hear you guys like going at it and improving your lawns. It's awesome. Very, very cool. Let's see. Lawn to Learn says, how did you become addicted to mowing your lawn? Would you take a 2-week vacation during the growing season? How do you get addicted to it? I just enjoyed it. You know what? At first, when you first started out with mowing, it's annoying because you look at your lawn and it's just like, it's a weed patch. It looks horrible. You hate doing it. It's a pain. But then you start to see the results, right? You start to see how the lawn it's thickening up. It looks greener. The weeds are less. And you just start to take more pride in it. It's something you just enjoy doing. I think it's something that when you first start out, it's not something that most people do not start out mowing their lawn frequently and really enjoy it. It's something that once you start seeing the results, you just want to continue doing it. It's addicting. It's addicting to see the lawn freshly mowed, that stripe action looking really awesome, and it's a lot of fun. And the thing I like about lawn care is the same thing I like about martial arts, is that you can never get it perfect. Like I can do a lot to my lawn, and it will never be perfect. There's always something to correct, always something to optimize, always something to get better. And if you're the kind of person that is like that, like you're, I don't know, crazy, I guess you could say it, like a person that just enjoys the journey, enjoys not necessarily achieving a really like great, awesome looking lawn, but just the process that goes into that. If you're that kind of person, once you start getting results with mowing your lawn, you're just, it's going to be something you just do, and you enjoy it, right? So that's how I got into it. And it's good exercise in the morning. Every morning I get out there and I'm lugging this Greensmaster around. It's good exercise, good like brisk walk, for an hour. So that's another way to look at it. Some people work out every morning. I mow my lawn in the morning, right? So that's a great way. And would I take a 2-week vacation in the growing season? No. I can't tell you the last time I've had a 2-week vacation. It's been over 10 years. I work a lot outside of just mowing the grass. I can, outside of like going to Black Hat, which we can't because Vegas is shut down. That's like the most I'll be away from the lawn. And in that case, I just put PGR on it and I just cry when I get back because the lawn becomes overgrown. But yeah, I've never really taken a 2-week vacation, not in the last decade, not in a really long time. All right. So Kellen is saying, hey Ron, dude, I love your channel, love the content. How do you learn about and start using Miramichi Green products? Great question. So the way I learned about them is, one day I went into Site One and I was, I was saying, I really like the way my lawn is looking. I'm looking for a way to take my lawn to the next level and really improve it. And they said, there's this company called Miramichi Green. They make carbon products. They're not cheap, but they're really, really good stuff. And as a matter of fact, they make a granular carbon product called Carbon Pro G, which you guys all know about now. That is excellent. Like, it's an excellent product, and you're going to get really good results with it. And they also recommend some of their liquid products, like the Release Zero. Once I started using the stuff on their lawn, and of course, at first when I started using carbon, I thought, okay, it's another thing. It's like, okay, it's supposed to make your lawn greener, help the soil, whatever. Does it really work, right? So outside of like following their documentation, starting to do my own research, I did some testing of my own with the products. Like literally I took some parts of my lawn that normally every year struggle. Like there's some parts where that the water runs off when it rains. And when summer heat gets here, it tends to dry out, right? So when I got the Carbon Pro G, I said, okay, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to do an experiment. I'm not going to add any more water, any more fertilization. It's going to get the exact same treatment as the rest of the lawn. And I started applying this stuff on the Carbon Pro G on that section of my lawn. And literally in the space of 2 weeks, that part of my lawn went from like dry and not very good looking to literally the deepest color, best looking part of my lawn by far. And there's actually a video on it. You can actually, if you go to on YouTube, I think the name of it's called Carbon Pro G Results. If you look at that video, you'll see I do like a before and after. Literally, it's like 2 weeks before, you can see how it looked, and then I started using that, and it made a big difference with no other inputs. And it's like nothing else changed. It's got to be that. And then this year, as I've continued using the products, I've seen a lot of benefit from it. I did some research into their liquids, like their Release Zero, the NutriKelp, and the BioSpectrum. And then as I got to talking to them about it, because they're really cool people to talk to, and they'll talk your ear off about their products, about why they think they have a competitive advantage and why they engineer them the way they do. It just made a lot of sense to me, right? So it made sense that feeding the soil is really an important aspect to making the grass grow really well. And when I started incorporating that and started getting results with it, putting like really using less fertilizer in my lawn, I just stuck with it because it's working, right? Like literally, like most people, when you talk to most people, get on Google and like Google, like how much nitrogen does Bermuda need per month? And the answer is going to spit out is going to probably say around a pound of nitrogen per month. Starting last year, like last summer, I've been well under a pound of nitrogen in my lawn every single month, and it still looks great. And I could probably back it down even a little bit more, largely because like between those liquid products, the Release Zero, which again is like, it's almost like a supercharger. When you mix that Turfplex with Release Zero, like the uptake that you get from it is seriously enhanced. So it allows you to get more out of whatever you're putting in your lawn. So it's like I've gotten really good results with it. So I just have seen no reason to change. And then over the winter, when I begged and pleaded with them and saying, hey, listen, I really love your products, huge fan. we've got to figure out a way to make this available to my viewers, because right now the only way for them to get them is like these 2.5 gallon containers that cost several $100s, and they got to go to Site One to get it. And I'm telling you, if you trust the DIY community, they will start buying the products. And they did. They said, okay, we'll take a chance on you. We'll try it out. And you guys have responded. And I'm telling you, the carbon kit is like literally one of the best things you can do for your lawn. Like it literally is something that I will continue to do to my lawn as long as I'm cutting grass, because I really, really love the results I get with it. And the people behind it do great work, great research, and the products work. That's all I can say. They work. So that's my reasoning behind it. Great question, Kellen. Thank you so much for that. You said, Kenny says, will liquid aerating cause discoloration? Not to my knowledge. No, not really. I mean, you think about it, like the BioSpectrum product, like this product that is in the carbon kit. This guy, it's got like the microbial package in it. That is a way of enhancing microbial activity, which helps to break down thatch. And I've never had any discoloration. I'm not sure where you get discoloration from doing any kind of liquid aeration. So no, I'm going to say no to that, Lenny, without knowing more about into the question. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. Matt McAllister says, hey, I just jumped into real mowing world. I was just wondering, this time of year, how often should I be cutting low? I would think more time to train it at a lower level. Thoughts? Matt, the answer is you should be mowing as much as you can, as much as you want to, as much as you can. At a minimum, with your real mowing, if you want to get the really good results with it, so the tight turf and you're mowing it like an inch or lower, which is what I really recommend, it's going to require twice a week, right? So the sweet spot, in my opinion, for real mowing where you get like great looking grass, great weed control, and where it doesn't ruin your life to where you got to like plan your life around mowing, is around 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch to an inch is like the sweet spot for real mowing. And you can normally get by with mowing twice a week to do that, especially once we get into like June. If you're willing to spray some plant growth regulator on your lawn, you'll be able to just do twice a week and get a really good result. As far as mowing low, the height of cut, how low you mow your lawn is driven by how much time you have to mow, because the lower you mow your lawn, the more often you have to mow, the more frequently you need to mow it. So in a nutshell, really quickly to go in this, correct, is to not violate the 1/3 rule, right? Which means you're not going to cut off more than 1/3 of the grass height at any given time. If you are mowing your lawn at 1 inch, 1/3 of an inch is 0.33, right? So you means that, all things being equal, the grass will take 3 days, maybe 4 days to grow 1/3 of an inch, right? So you can mow every 3-4 days, no problem. If you lower that, so you're at 1/2 inch, the grass, and then everything else still being equal, same fertilizer, same inputs, the grass is now going to grow. Now 1/3 now represents about 0.16 or 0.17 of an inch. And that's going to happen in a day or two. So really, if you're going to violate it, and you don't want to violate that 1/3 rule, and you want the lawn to stay green between mowings, your mowing frequency has to pick up. So how low you mow your lawn, assuming you're not scalping and making a mess of the lawn, like assuming your lawn can tolerate being mowed low without scalping, it's all based on how much time you have to mow. Because the lower you go, more frequently you have to mow to keep it looking nice. That's really in a nutshell. And the answer is as often as you can. Is your lawn's gonna look better. The more often you mow your lawn, the better it's gonna look. Is the secret sauce. I don't change the height of cut of my lawn as summer rolls in. When we get in the summer months hits, it's the same height of cut that it is now into the summer. I don't alter it throughout the summer months, but I have the time to mow. That during that time. And I also use plant growth regulator to maintain that growth. All right, let's see what else we have here. Rinchard says, what spray tip are you using on your backpack sprayer? I'm using the one that the Flowzone came with. It's just a green tip that it comes with. It's a 25-degree fan tip. I've heard about this other one, like a T-Jet that everyone's talking about. That's a new rage. I've not used one of those as yet, Wind Chariot, but I use just the one that it comes with, mainly because in the Golf Course Lawn Academy, which you could find here, and when I talk about like application rates and flow rates for using the Flowzone and also the Chapin, I don't want to tell people to have to go out and buy the sprayer and then also have to go buy a different tip, because if you change the tip, it can change the flow rates. So I've gotten really good results just using the 25-degree tip. The T-Jet might be better, but I've gotten really good results using the one that comes with it. So I haven't seen a need to really change that, and also because I want to make it easy, right? If someone that's new to like getting a backpack sprayer, most people are already intimidated by it. They're like, oh, I got to mix water with this thing, and I got to measure all this stuff. And then if I go tell them, hey, you got to go buy the sprayer, but then you also got to go change the tip out and put another tip on it, they're gonna be like, forget it. I'm just not going to do it. And there's so much benefit to adding a backpack sprayer, adding a liquid program to your lawn care. to your lawn that I want to make it easy and keep it as simple as possible so that people aren't afraid of doing it and they give it a try, because it's literally one of the best things you can do for your lawn is to add a liquid program. So that's why I just use the standard green tip, and it works pretty well. Great question though, great question. I know a lot of people are using that different T-Jet tip, but I haven't really seen the need to change that just yet. All right. So D-Dom says, a tree fell on my Bermuda lawn and left a 4 to 6 inch deep ruts. How do you tackle filling those in? I'm in flowery branch. You have to do it in over time, man. You can do that with sand. I mean, there's a couple of different ways you can do that, Dom. You can cut the sod and pull it up and then like literally fill in the area a little bit and lay it back down, and then the grass is gonna reroot and reestablish. That's probably the easiest way to do it. 4 to 6 inches is a lot to build up with top dressing. Like, you're not gonna be able to get that done in a season. So I would probably, I'd probably look into like cutting up some of the sod, lifting it, filling in the ruts, and then laying it back down. That's probably the fastest way to get that area looking decent. That's probably what I would do. That's what I would do if I were you. Good to see another person that is in the Northeast Georgia area too. Katie says, what's up with Alex's lawn? What's next with Alex's lawn? I don't know. I'm trying to talk Alex into top dressing it again. I'm this close to getting him to do that, but his lawn is looking really good. Like, literally, last year we did all the pain. We did irrigation. We got rid of the weeds. We top dressed it. He's got a carbon program. He's now got all his soil testing underway, so he knows what fertilizer to be using. So really, all Alex really needs is now just to mow it. Once you get the lawn tuned up, like, there's really, like, the biggest thing I do on my lawn is the same thing he's doing on his lawn, is just mowing it a lot. You don't really need to do a lot to a lawn once you've got, your products figured out. Just mow and mow some more. So he may top dress this year again. I'm not sure as yet, but really he's just really doing a lot of mowing, kind of like me. It's mainly mowing is what we do. All right, you're very welcome, Matt, on the link. Thanks so much, no problem. And AFL George says, late to the live stream party, but pumped about picking up my Swordman from Real World this coming week. Woot, awesome. That's awesome, man. That's pretty sweet. Those guys do a great job, and I'm sure you will. They'll talk you all through how to work on it, how to service it. Congrats on the reel mower. You don't have it yet, but because we said you're gonna get it next week, we're gonna go and clap it up now. We're gonna give you a round of applause now for getting the new reel mower. Congratulations, sir. That's really awesome. All right, let's see what else we got here. Molecular scientist is asking me a question. Is Arden 15 versus Tifway 419 versus Monaco, which is better? I'm in Texas. I can't speak to Monaco because I've never actually seen it in person. Tifway 419, great grass. Arden 15, great grass. So I'll give you the advantages of Arden 15. If you were doing one, in other words, let's say we were starting with a blank slate and I could wave a magic wand and have one of them. I have never seen Monaco, so that one's going to be discarded. But out of the two, I would go with Arden 15. Reason being, color, gorgeous, right? Beautiful color. It almost looks like Kentucky bluegrass. It's really, really dark green. It does not look like Bermuda, which is why I like it so much. Second reason is that as far as going into dormancy and coming out of dormancy, it's a lot better than Tifway 419. Like, Tifway 419 is like green, 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 and it falls off a cliff and goes dormant. Arden 15 literally is a lot softer curve. It falls off very, very gradually. And some parts of my lawn last year never went fully dormant. And we got a couple of days where we had temperatures in the 20s, and the lawn like never really fully went to sleep. Or the Arden 15 just didn't. So as far as like them in the marketing material saying that it's more cold tolerant, it definitely is better than Tifway 419 in that from that respect. The negative to Arden 15 is if you're starting with a fresh lawn, seeding it is a lot more challenging. Like Tifway 419, you can go out and buy the sod, and a week later you've got a lawn, and you're mowing it, and you're all happy, right? It looks great. Arden 15 is a lot more expensive process to get it set up. But if I could just have one, like again, wave a magic wand and just have my lawn be all of one thing, it would be Arden 15. And again, Monaco I can't speak to because I've never seen it in person and never mowed it, but I'm sure it's fine too because it's Bermuda, so it's got to be good, right? Right. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Other questions? We're winding down. I'm about talking you guys out. And let's see. Brian Lower says, I'll make you a video via a cheap height of cut gauge. That'd be cool, Brian. I think there's a couple of them out on YouTube. And again, I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you must go out and buy an AccuGauge. You don't have to have one of these. But I'm saying there are advantages to it because it does a better job. Like if you're trying to get down, you're trying to get within 5/1000ths of an inch on both sides, you need an AccuGauge. Like it's really gonna be really hard to do that with like a ruler just kind of eyeballing it. You know what I mean? So that's my reasoning for it. It just depends on how picky you want to be with setting up your height of cut. All All right, let's see what he's got here. Josh Chastain says, how do you deal with the rainy season when you get multiple days of rain in a row and the grass is growing fast? Cut a wet lawn or wait till it's dry but likely overgrown? So, okay, a couple of things, Joshua, great question. Starting May, my lawn is going to get PGR, right? So it's going to get growth regulator on it, which is going to slow down how quickly it grows. And normally in Georgia, even though we have a rainy season, we don't typically get like days and days and days of just nonstop rain. Normally I can get like an hour or two where I can sneak out there and get a mow in, because again, my lawn drains really well. So if I'm able to get, let's say if it rains in the morning, I'm able to typically mow by early afternoon, or worst case late afternoon, on the same day without doing any damage to the lawn by putting like ruts in or anything like that, because the lawn drains really, really well. So I've not really had that scenario where I've had like, a week worth of rain and not been able to mow, but all I would do is I just cut it. I would just cut it and just get back to it. I mean, what else can you do? Yeah, it's not a common thing, but all you can do is just bring the lawn, how to cut back down and get the lawn back to where it was before. PGR will help with that a lot. Will help prevent that excessive top growth though. So I would not wait till the lawn is completely dry to do that, because I've literally mowed my lawn. I've mowed in the rain before. I'm not saying I'd necessarily recommend that, because it's not, especially on a slope, it's not smart to do that because it's dangerous. You can slip. But like the back lawn, mowing when it's like drizzling, as long as it's not raining heavy, I've totally done it. No problem. Which I get is kind of crazy, but I've done it. You asked. All right. Let's see what other questions we got here. Love says, thank you for answering my questions. I really appreciate it. I only have a 16 square foot lawn. Don't say only 1,600 square foot lawn. Think about it. If you have only 600 square feet, that means you have a much smaller area to make perfect. Like I got a picture from a guy from Hawaii, and if I get his permission, I'll show you guys. Literally, the picture is like he's got a section of lawn that is like 2-3 feet wide, and it's like some of the most pristine zoysia you've ever seen. So don't look at your lawn and say, oh, I've got a small lawn. All that means is you've got less to take care of, and you can make it baller with a lot less work, right? So there's nothing wrong with like having a smaller lawn. It's a lot less to take care of. So don't hate on that. All right. Wes Hernandez says, just found your channel recently. Are you a landscape professional by trade? No, I am not. I work in information security by trade. I'm a computer geek. I just do a lot of research into the topic. I know I have some friends that work in the golf course industry, and I've got a couple agronomists on speed dial that I can bounce questions off of. And I also do a lot of research. So that's how I've learned what I've learned about the lawn. Plus, I've made some mistakes on my lawn, so I've learned, what not to do. And if you learn what not to do often enough, all that's left is the good stuff, right? So that's it. But no, I don't work professionally in the landscape industry. Wes Hernandez, great question. All right, let's see here. Frederick Duke says, hey, Ron, I've sent you 2 emails containing my soil test results. Please check. Will do, sir. I will look into it once I get off the live stream. And let's see. Brad H. probably already covered. How has that top dressing turned out? It's turned out really well, Brad. That's what it looks like right now as of this morning. That picture was taken this morning. It's like 7 days later. As you can see, it's recovering very, very nicely. So very happy with that. No runoff from rain. It's doing really well. So yeah, it did really well. It turned out better than I thought it was going to come out. All right. And Cars and Exotic says, hey, Ron, is there a difference in fertilizer between the Sunnyland Professional Turf 1608 and the Humic Max 1608? Yes, there is. There's a couple of differences. One, the biggest difference is that the Humic Max contains 8.9%, almost 9% humic acid. So in addition to being a fertilizer, it's also improving the soil. So it's like you talk about something that's going to stimulate microbial activity and help improve the quality of the soil. Humic Max has almost 9% humic acid in it. So that's big. So it's like a fertilizer and a soil conditioner all in one. The second thing is the prill size of Humic Max is a lot smaller. So if you look at this stuff, it is it's called what Lebanon Turfs calls an SGN size guide number of 150. Well, all that really means is that the prill, meaning the fertilizer, if I get this to focus, come on, don't fail me now, do it. Yeah, there we go. Is very small. So you see how fine that is? It's almost like the eye of a needle. It's very, very fine. So the beautiful thing about that, why this is important, is whenever you have a lawn that's cut really short, what this is going to do is, and it gets dense, this is going to have no problem getting through the canopy, falling through the grass, and getting to the soil where it can be absorbed and begin working. So a finer prill is really important for that. Third reason is the type of nitrogen that they use in this is a methylene urea that Lebanon Turf calls Mesa. So what that is, without getting too scientific, is when it comes to slow release nitrogen, there's a couple different ways you can make nitrogen slow release, right? You can take the nitrogen, you can wrap it, like we can put like a polymer or a coating around it, and that works well. But if you step on the nitrogen or if it gets cut by a mower blade, then it's no longer slow release. Like whatever that coating that was helping it to slowly break down and release over time, that's gone. With the nitrogen that's used in Lebanon turf fertilizers, the Mesa that's in the Humic Max, the term is that the prill is homogeneous, meaning that even if you cut the piece of Mesa in half, it still releases at the same rate. It doesn't change it. So just on many levels, Sunnyland makes great fertilizers. I'm not believe me, I'm not knocking for Sunnyland, but as far as like a professional like fertilizer that really was really used in the professional turf industry, like Lebanon turf was really hard to beat. Like it took a lot of convincing to even get them to allow us to sell the Humic Max fertilizer to DIY. Like they don't, for the most part, they don't even really need us or didn't really see a big market for it. It took a lot of convincing. They finally agreed to make one of their high-end products available to DIY, and I'm really happy about it. So even though the nitrogen, the makeups are similar, so you look at the both of them, you say 1608, 1608, there are other additives that make it different. The makeup, like the physical makeup of the fertilizer, is different. And big thing is the nitrogen that's in it. The nitrogen source is different. So it's numbers aren't the only thing. There's a lot of reason why Humic Max is a great fertilizer and why it costs what it costs. Unfortunately, it's not cheap stuff, but it is the good stuff for your lawn. If you want something that's really good to put on your lawn, it's what I would recommend. All right. Great question. Owen McCout says, hey, Ron, first time on the live stream. Excited to learn from everyone. Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming to hang out. And let's see what else we've got going on here. Don Batista says, hey, if I want Tifway 419, so if I want to put down Tifway 419 where I have St. Augustine, will the Bermuda take over? Over time, given enough time, eventually, but it depends on how low you're mowing the grass. What I might do is, if you've not put the Tifway 419 in as yet, is I might spray out the St. Augustine. Like if you're going to sod the Tifway 419, I might kill off the St. Augustine first and then put the Bermuda down. If you're planning to just mix them, like you're just going to put it down anyway, I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, but if you're going to do that, the way to give the Bermuda an advantage and give the the St. Augustine a disadvantage is by mowing height. So if you're able to mow the Tifway 419 lower, so an inch and a half, like really low, St. Augustine is going to be hating life at those heights of cut, and it's going to give the Bermuda an advantage to spread and do better. Whereas the St. Augustine is gonna, it's just gonna be stressed. So that's one way you can kind of help the Bermuda to take over. But if it were me, I would spray out the St. Augustine and just sod it, and that way you don't have to worry about two grass types that look really different in your lawn at the same time. All right, let's see. Sonny from Williams says, how soon can we top dress new sod? Once it's rooted, you can go for it. There's nothing. A couple of months, really. There's not really a limit on it. Bermuda sod, anyway, I'll say. Once Bermuda is put in and it's rooted, you can top dress it. There's not really a negative. Other grass types with Zoysia, I don't know if you'd want to do that right away because Zoysia is, again, slower growing, but Bermuda, absolutely no problem. Once you got it in, it's established. You can top dress it, no problem whatsoever. All right, Tanner, I've already answered that one. Have you ever considered overseeding rye or anything else for the winter? I have, but I will not do it because of the headache that it can potentially cause. So no, and I said I want to mow in the wintertime. And let's see what else we have here. R&R BB chimes in, says, would concrete sand be good for leveling? Seems like I can get here is mortar sand, or another option is landscape supplier offered here. So if what they call concrete sand or mortar sand, if they're calling it masonry sand, so that's another name for river sand, yes, that can work well. What you want, RRB, is a coarser sand. You don't want to use play sand. You want something that's a little bit more coarse. So as long as it's coarse sand, like a masonry sand or river sand, you're good to go to use that for leveling. All right, let's see the rest of what's going on here. Wesley Lowe's says, what happens if I blast along with a bunch of Humic Max? Will there be benefits, or is it just not cost effective? You just wouldn't want to do that, Wesley, because you'd be over fertilizing it, right? So Humic Max has, even though it has 9% humic acid in it, it's also got 16% nitrogen and 8% potassium. So you really don't want to overdo it on those macronutrients in the lawn. So for Humic Max, what I'm going to say is put it down at the rate, I recommend 3 pounds per thousand, and couple that with a liquid program. If you want to have something you can throw down on the lawn super heavy and only improve the lawn and not hurt anything, get Essential G or get Carbon Pro G and go to town, because those have no NPK in them. They are going to improve the quality of your soil, and you're not going to hurt anything in the process. You know what I mean? So Humic Max, because it is a fertilizer, you need to apply it at the right rate. There's no reason to go super heavy. Like the formulation that Lebanon Turf has put together is for a reason. As long as you follow that, you're going to get a great result. Like don't go hog wild on Humic Max. Apply it at 3 pounds per thousand. Or if you want to go up, you go up to 5 pounds per thousand if you're not spraying liquids with it. But I do the spoon feeding program, so I go with the lower rate. All righty then. All right. Let's see. SMK says, Ron, where are you buying your river sand? The price per yard has gone up significantly with most vendors. Don't want to switch to Mason sand. So where I'm getting my river sand is from a place called Landscape Plus in Gainesville, Georgia. So go in Google and just type in Landscape Plus, Gainesville, Georgia. The guy's name that owns the place is Mike. Really good guy. He will get you river sand. They deliver it. And they will also mix it if you want. So if you want like a mix, if you want like a 70-30 blend, let them know, and they will mix it up and then bring it to you. They got a dump truck that can deliver it. I mean, like what the stuff that went down on my lawn and Alex's lawn last year was from them. So yeah, you can absolutely get it from them, and they will. I got some for the little spot top dressing project that we did from them today. So yeah, that's who I would go to. Landscape Plus in Gainesville, Georgia. Just look up their number, and they will take care of you, SMK, and they deliver. Great stuff. We got a super chat from Tim Borski, thank you so much, sir. He said, I almost missed this. Catch the replay. Have a great weekend, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Tim. All right. So you guys talking about electric reel mowers. And then LG saying, for real peeps, one application of Humic Max and Essential G took my lawn from so-so to whoa, all in less than a week. So there you go. You got someone, this is not a paid endorsement. He bought the products, he tried it out, and I have pictures of his lawn, and it looks incredible. Like, I wish I could pull him up here, but I mean, his lawn looks really, really awesome. I don't have the pictures where I can actually load them up too quickly, unfortunately, or I would. But yeah, the product works well. Again, not inexpensive, but it's really good, right? So give it a shot if you're trying to use something new in your lawn that will work well. All right, let's see what else we have going on here. Let's see. Guillermo says, if you've got Poa annua, do you still mulch or bag? I don't have Poa annua in my lawn, so I didn't mulch or bag it. I could tell you that after we sprayed it, here's what happened, Guillermo. It's a great question. What Alex did is the first mow after we did the image, and then later on we did the negate. The first mow after that is he did put the catcher on when he mowed over those parts of the lawn. I mean, the POA was pretty much dead or dying, but he still caught those clippings for that section of the lawn. Since then, there's still some POA in there, and he just mows it. He doesn't catch the clippings anymore because what's there is dying or is going to die. It's already dead or it's dying. So I would, for the first time you do it, if you want to catch clippings, especially if the POA hasn't fully died off as yet, that would be, that's not a bad idea. But once the herbicide has taken root and the POA is beginning to die, you can just mow and not worry about it. It's gonna go away. Especially when we get more heat coupled with herbicide, it's going to be hating life. All right. Two Shots of Vodka says, could never get tired of hearing you talk about grass. I don't know about that. It's been a long night, but I want to get you guys questions. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Molecular scientists, thank you for the responsive suggestion. Arden-15 versus Tifway. To get rid of common Bermuda, should I use, I think you're saying glyphosate, wait some time, and then seed? I'm trying to convert from fungusine, common Bermuda. Yes, if you're trying to go straight Arden-15, or TIF, spraying glyphosate to get rid of the existing grass is a great way to knock them back and get rid of a lot of it. Here's the thing though, don't be surprised if the common Bermuda still comes back even after the glyphosate. Again, Bermuda is incredibly difficult to kill. Like unless you do like several rounds of glyphosate over the course of, probably a couple of months, it's hard to get rid of it entirely. So if you can just, knock it all back, kill the cyanide off, to where they're all pretty much suppressed, and then you put in you spray you put down the Arden-15, it's going to root and it's going to become the dominant grass type. But I don't want you to think that just by spraying a single glyphosate application that St. Augustine and the common Bermuda will be no more. Like they will probably still rear their ugly head here and there, but the Arden should become the dominant grass type by far if you kill off the existing grass. Great question. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Let's see what we got here. I think we're almost out of question, guys. Craig Dill is saying, hey, my True Cut 27 is on back order from Real Rollers. Are you to blame for the trust on True Cuts? I don't know. I mean, I talk about True Cuts a lot, but the thing is, I mean, I will tell you this, Real Rollers sells as many mowers as they can get, and they sell a lot of mowers. Like, I've been there when they've gotten like their shipment in, and those guys are working like gangbusters to get them all checked out, get the options put on them and sent out to you guys. So I know that if the mower's out of stock, it's not because they're not trying, it's just that they just sell a whole lot of mowers. The pricing's really good, and they sell a lot of them. So, but they will get you taken care of. Don't you worry about it too much. And then Dan Tracy says, Ron, thanks for all the tips. Started sand base leveling for this project this weekend. By the way, I've been watching you since your Focus RS videos. Thank you so much, sir. You're a viewer that started from like the RS, from the car stuff to the lawn stuff. So I really appreciate you hanging in there. That's normally pretty hard to pull off. So I'm glad that you stuck around through all these years. I really, really appreciate the support. Owen, okay, I think this is gonna be our last question tonight. And he says, I've got nutsedge pretty bad in my Bermuda lawn. I've tried Image 5 weeks ago, but not much luck. Any suggestions? Okay, so you can do another application of Image, Owen. Image does take a while to work. I'm pretty sure it did yellow it some. It's just you may not realize that it's not fully dead yet. You can do a follow-up application now if you want, or you can use a product called Negate. The issue with Negate is the way you have to mix it is very particular, and then you end up with a lot of herbicide that you have to dispose of carefully. So if it were me, I would go with another application of Image. That's what I would go for. Or if it really is irritating you a whole lot, and you can find like a landscaper or like a spray service in an area that will come out and do like one treatment for you of Negate, because they may have it already mixed up. That's a faster way to go. But for a homeowner, people ask me to create a video on Negate, and the reason why I haven't done it is because I don't want people to end up with a bunch of herbicide that they're going to end up pouring down a drain or doing something crazy with it. So as far as one of the better products that's cost effective for killing off nutsedge, or killing off actually no, you're talking about nutsedge. So Image is a great product for that. And what else can you use? Sedgehammer is a good product for nutsedge. I was thinking of POA. My mind kept going to POA, but just do Image again and see what you get, man. Image does work. I use it on my lawn, and it works well. That is what I would go with. Anything else is going to be more complicated and more expensive, and you really got to pay attention when you use it. So, thanks so much. Thank you so much, Autumn, my baby, chiming in for the super sticker.
Chat received.
I appreciate you. Hope you're feeling well. I know you're a little bit under the weather, so hope you're doing a lot better. And I think that is it, guys. Except for Dom, he's saying he ordered a soil test kit last night. What would you recommend with low pH or high pH? Is it possible to make a difference this season? Yes. So once you get your soil test results back, D-Dom, send me them here. Email them to me here, ron@golfcourselawn.com. I will look over them and we'll formulate a plan of action. You're not going to have low and high pH at the same time. It's either one or the other. Send that to me. I will help you out, and we'll come up with a plan of action. But yeah, as far as just get your soil tests done. Send them to me, and we'll get you all taken care of. And I think that is it, guys. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys, on your way out, be sure to hit the like button if you've not done so as yet. Again, it's free to you guys. Help support me, help support the channel. For your Humic Max, for your golf course lawn product needs, be sure to check out the Golf Course Lawn Store. Be sure to take advantage of that Essential G, guys, because it's on sale till the end of this month. I don't know how much longer Miramichi Green is going to allow me to keep it at that price, but while it's there, get it while the getting's good is all I can say. And for any of you that want some more personalized instruction and feel like you want to get like a course, be sure to check out the Golf Course Lawn Academy. $97 gets you lifetime access to it, gets you access to the Facebook group. And as more content is added to it, you never pay a dime more. So there's always that. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. Get out and mow your lawns this weekend. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Have a great weekend. Take care.